Join us live right here on the FearFishing Experiment. Join us live right here on the FearFishing Experiment.
Tonight on the FearFishing Experiment, we're back in the studio and ready to kick off 2020 with a bang. BassMaster Elite Series anglers Cory and Chris Johnston are in the house. It's time to cash in on the bet. Kyle Cruthers is here to fill us in on the Peterborough tackle swap and fishing show. This and so much more coming up next on the FearFishing Experiment. Hit it.
Report suspicious activities and call 911 for immediate response. Expect delays, searches of personal property, and restricted access to public buildings. Expect traffic delays and restrictions.
Oh, jumping like a football man on a small number of bass.
Hold that up. Jump! Oh my gosh, that's a big fish.
You know what? It turned out into like cinematic.
The idea is just keep rolling.
Navigating your way on and off the water. Now, here's your host, Ian West.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first show of 2020. Woo! We got a big night planned.
Oh yeah.
Marky Boy in the house.
I am.
Back from Florida.
Woo! With a semi-tan.
Semi-tan. Semi-tan, you caught a bass. I saw rumors on the social media that you caught a bass.
I
You're like
did.
your second cast down there, no?
Yeah, third cast, buddy.
Third cast.
Biggest one from the pond.
Right
Wow.
from the back door.
Did you get that on a dinger?
Come on, don't even
Come on.
Hey,
Is it any
he came back smelling like dingers.
I'm the king of the ding fling. What can I tell you?
That is one of the questions I'm going to ask our guests tonight.
Yeah.
If they've ever fished a dinger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I already know the answer.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
There's no way because they win tournaments. There's no way.
We'll see.
Hey, Hunter did pretty good this year.
He did.
Yeah, I did.
You did
It wasn't
really-
all on a dinger either, man.
Come on now.
It was-
You got 7 rods with dingers on them,
And a
All
Zara
different
spook,
colors.
right?
7 dingers and a Zara spook.
And a buzz and cane toad.
all
and
on
a float.
all on spinning rods.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, man.
Well, at least we started off 2020 where we left off 2019. Give Mark a hard time.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, thanks.
He takes it well.
Are you
I'll
guys
take it to
excited?
the bank because we're all taking it.
Yeah, you cashed more checks than any of us last
Yeah,
year.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm just putting that
Whoa,
out
whoa,
there.
whoa.
You did well.
In what?
Hey, can we bring up that?
No.
post
In what?
Everything.
In fishing.
What,
talking
are we
fishing.
talking club tournaments?
No,
Everything.
we're talking fishing.
for money.
Period.
term.
Whoa. How many
Anything.
CS Elbow checks did you cash?
How many did you cash?
One.
One.
Whoa!
None for me.
Whoa!
None for you.
I made up.
How many
Buddy, I'm
first?
still
how-
riding all
in
the way
your
home on 8th place.
in your club series? How many wins did you have?
I only fished 3.
Well, I don't care
think I
how
got
many
2.
you fished.
I got
I
2.
wasn't- I was-
I got 2, and I caught.
I got
a
4.
second.
I got 4, and a second. So I don't even know what you're
Second
talking
was-
about.
One of the seconds was you on
To
your,
me.
on your favorite lake.
I totally wish
Yeah.
I could be
Yeah.
included in this conversation.
Yeah, you
but
can. Yeah.
I'll just sit over here and drink some whiskey.
Are you guys excited about tonight?
Oh yeah.
Excited
Yeah.
to be back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I am.
It was a bit of a stretch that we didn't have a show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Couple
Well,
weeks.
we did a lot of work.
We did a lot of work. The new
Yeah, you
studio
did.
is
It was
up.
worth the effort.
Woody's got it all hooked back up. It seems to be. Woody, is it working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to get that look?
Oh yeah, no, it's working perfectly.
Oh,
Awesome.
good.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's the Woody
that's
we
the
know.
new editing studio in the back there. Mr. Cruthers is sitting on my couch.
Yeah. Look at that.
There he is.
We are. I'm excited to have our guest tonight. First off, before we get into this, if you're watching, like, share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, we got a big show.
And hit the
We
bell.
got a big show.
Oh yeah.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
The bet is finally coming to term.
Yes, the bet is
Yeah, we didn't
happening.
even have to travel, Sean.
It's actually coming live to term.
Yeah. We had a big bet last year. Which Canadian would finish higher in the Angler of the Year points in the BassMaster Elite Series? I chose first. I picked Cory
Yeah. So did I.
straight off the bat. And we're getting our signed shirts tonight.
Yeah, we are.
I'm excited about that part too.
Yeah.
Are you going to wear them? Or are you going to
No, I'm gonna hang mine up in my new studio.
He's going to make a
I'm,
pillowcase out of
I'm
his.
telling you, I'm awfully proud of this.
Oh yeah, me too. I'll put mine on tonight.
Live on air.
I'll get naked for the cause.
So we're excited.
Where's the lineup
I
for
hope
that,
everybody out there had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But do we want to bring them in, Woody? You want to roll the bio?
Yeah, we could. We're definitely having some audio issues out there.
Are we?
Yeah,
Well, that really sucks.
it does, but it is what it is.
Do you want us to talk and you try to fix the audio issue, or do we going to just go?
It sounds perfectly fine in here,
Yep.
so it's getting garbage out there in the internet somewhere.
The
Oh, no.
interwebs?
In the interwebs.
Is that on Facebook or YouTube?
Could be both.
You want me to Ricky Gervais this shit right now, or what? Because I'll make it happen.
You very well could.
Hey, we'll all walk out of here fired tonight.
Oh, my God.
We didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, well, I think people
just-
know.
okay.
First-time listeners, I'm
Just
Ian
saying.
West. If you've listened before, thanks for supporting. If you're new, thanks for coming.
I'm Mark Hunter. I'm known as the Eye Candy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Amber Philp.
Nice. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming, honey.
Hey, no problem.
You made
And
it all.
I'm Sean McCall.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's me. That's just it.
What are we going to roll that bio?
Yeah, you want to roll it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Cory and Chris Johnston grew up in Peterborough, Ontario, and at a young age started competing in Canadian bass tournaments where they reached heights at every level they competed in. After this, they headed south to fish the FLW Tour, and now they're anglers on the BassMaster Elite Series headed to their first classic. All this while balancing family and home life. That's the bio. We on yet? There we go. Boys, super excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Thanks for making the big drive down.
Yeah.
Nice masturbator koozies going on.
There you go. About the best here.
Right?
Exciting year for you guys. So exciting last year, but we're rolling in the classic season. You both have qualified to fish the Bassmaster Classic in Lake Huntersville. You guys have had some success there in the past. Let's start off. Before we're going to start off with the Classic, the most recent thing we got going. And
Are
then
you going
we're
to introduce them?
Well, I think everybody knows this Cory and Chris.
Probably, yeah.
We have lower thirds somewhere. Do we have those, Woody?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got, don't worry. Like, they're superheroes of Canada.
True.
Royalty.
So we're going to start with the Bassmaster Classic and how you guys, if you guys are excited, and then we're going to roll this all back to how you guys started fishing. So let's hear it. What do you think? Are you pumped for this Classic?
I think we're both pumped. I spent the last few days organizing tackle, putting orders in, just like you guys.
Let's back up for a second. Chris's organizing tackle is atrocious.
That's why it takes me a few days.
He is
It's
the
piled
biggest
up.
disaster you've ever seen in
whatever.
your life.
But to defend myself, Cory just buys brand new tackle and throws everything else aside.
I'm coming to your tackle spot.
That's funny. So how did you guys actually get into fishing? Not tournament fishing, but where did it all start? What age did you guys get going?
We kind of grew up into it. Our dad fished tournaments for many years, and we were lucky enough to be able to grow up in a bass boat with him and be able to spend the time on the water. He would take us practicing with him, so we got to learn everything that he was learning at a very young age, and we just kind of kept it going, and here we are.
Now, your dad back in the day, was he a big-time largemouth guy?
He was, and back then we didn't have zebra mussels, we didn't have gobies, so it was all punching mats, it was flipping heavy cover, and that was his kind of, what he liked to do, and that's how a lot of people caught him back then.
So that was your original wheelhouse.
It was, and it's kind of came full circle now to where he doesn't even know how to tie a drop shot on or anything like that. So we're teaching him. So it's when you look back on everything, it's been pretty cool.
Now, here's a question: does the old man ever talk about how much things have changed?
Oh yeah, all the time. And just to recap, growing up, we used to always go practice with him, and he loved flipping and punching deep weed lines.
Yep.
And I used to hate fishing deep weed lines because we'd fish for 6-7 hours, find one good spot, but when you found the spot, we'd catch two, we'd leave. We'd be like, well, this is no fun. Let's sit here and catch them if we found them. But back then, there was no GPS to show you like weed points or rock transition. Now he shows up, he's like, well, it's easy. Look at your GPS, and it's so much different compared to how we learned and stuff. And I fished my first tournament when I was 11 years old, and it was on Crow Lake. I'll never forget it. I think, Cory had fished the year before, and he was supposed to fish the day before he got grounded. So as punishment,
I was in trouble.
yeah. So as punishment, he had to sit at home, and I'd practiced with my dad that week for the tournament. I got to go, and we caught every one of our fish on a pop bar. I don't know how much we had, but it was a blast. We caught 30, 40 smallmouth giants, and yeah, that was my first win.
So the first win you had, you won on smallies.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And your first win?
My first win, I think, was Curve Lake, and it was a long time ago. And we caught every bass flipping reeds in the bottom end of pigeon.
Largies?
Largemouth, yeah.
And both first wins were with your old man.
Yep.
That's epic.
Yeah.
Now at this age, when did you guys know you want to be tournament anglers?
I mean, yeah, we did. And I mean, back in the day, I'd tell my old man, he goes, "What are you going to do?" So, well, I'm going to fish for bass. I'm going to,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a living fishing. And he's like, "You are stupid."
He still says that though.
Well,
Really?
yeah.
That's funny.
He's not wrong when he says that.
Maybe about different things now, but
So you guys were like young when you caught the tournament bug.
yeah, and we both grew up being competitive. He played hockey, I played hockey, and
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to transfer that competitiveness from hockey into fishing, and you can do it for your whole life. And we always grew up with the mentality: if you're not first, well,
Or last, like Ricky
Bobby. But I want to learn how to beat that guy that beat me. And
Yeah.
If in hockey, if I have to go for the next week and do skating drills, whatever, well, in fishing, it's just I'm going to go and spend the next week on that lake to see why I didn't win or what I can do different. So,
And now, how old are you guys now?
I'm 34.
Okay.
30.
30, 34.
I had to ask my wife yesterday how old I was.
Right.
I was actually.
You feel older or younger?
I'm kind of feeling older, I'll be honest.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's actually kind
Really?
of weird. I was doing a bio last night for a sponsor, and it's 19 years since my first tournament. And people are like,
That's
"Oh, you're so
crazy.
young."
Wow. Yeah.
Tournaments, but when I look at it, I've been doing it for 19 years now.
I'm crushing it.
It's hard to believe.
It's a lot of time you read like Jonathan Taves, and you think he's been in the league forever, and then you realize that he's like 32 years old.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys have been in this game forever.
Yeah.
Now, here's my next question. How did you guys make the transfer from fishing tournaments with the old man to fishing with each other?
That kind of just came along. Like back in the day, Dad fished with Bob Gardner.
Yep.
And then they, kind of went their separate ways, and not in a bad way. Just Bob kind of got out of it a bit, and Dad still wanted to do it, and Dad knew that we wanted it. Like that's what we wanted to do. So I kind of started fishing with Dad a little bit, and then I started fishing with a few different people, and Chris jumped in and started fishing with Dad. So it just kind of evolved.
And then once we got old enough that he had a license, he would drive to tournaments. I'd jump in with him.
That's crazy.
And away we go.
So how old were you guys when you partnered up?
Yeah, like the first tournament when you guys were like on your own.
Oh, I don't even remember, but probably
there was tournaments where Dad had to drop us off at the boat ramp because we couldn't drive.
Yeah, I still remember one. We were doing the New York Open, and we take for granted how lucky we were with our parents supporting us. And I was fishing that New York Open. It was for $100,000, and my parents were taking me to the ramp every morning, dropping me off because
you couldn't drive.
Yeah, so
that's insane.
Fishing for 100 G's before you got your license.
So
that's crazy.
So back then we had one Ranger. No, sorry, we had one Stratos.
Yeah.
And him and I were arguing about who was going to fish.
It was a battle.
Really?
We both wanted to fish the tournament, and
Dad got
we only
so
had one
pissed.
boat.
He's like, he went and bought us a new boat.
No way.
So you had a second.
Both of us.
That's
did.
awesome.
That's a solid move. Now look where you guys are today.
He did say we're gonna have to pay him back, and we better. But he had a little confidence.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Wait till that classic win.
Wow.
Write the check.
That's the ultimate.
Right?
Yeah, I bet she's listening now. I think, I forgot about that little bet.
Yeah.
Made it cost yourself some cash, boys.
Yeah.
So at what point, now here's the question. When you guys were younger, and I've always wanted to know this question. When you guys were younger and you were tearing it up in Canada, in the wintertime, were you guys sneaking south to start learning the lakes?
No, we're playing hockey. We're, partying with our friends.
Yeah.
The day, and we're hunting in the fall.
Yeah.
So it's, it's one of those things when we're done fishing, we're done fishing.
Yeah.
It's family time. It's hockey. It's hunting, and then right about now we're
gearing up
again.
Now you guys are big time outdoorsmen. Like you don't just fish, you hunt hard.
Yeah.
And it's not just one property. You guys got properties all around that you watch all year long. You got up and comers.
Yep.
And you leave properties for a couple years.
Yep.
Right? And then you go where you know there's good shooters.
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure consistently for a long time now, at least one of you has dropped a smoking nice buck.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot like fishing to us.
Do you think so?
It is.
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
It's
drop waypoints out in those fields.
Man,
Cell cameras now,
right?
Like,
with the cameras, and I mean, knowing how these bush lots are, and how the deer funnel and where the deer come from and what's living in those bush lots and what's living around them, what's going to come in during the rut. There's so much to it. And
managing your deer.
And managing
that's
the deer.
That's huge.
It's the biggest thing.
It's like I didn't shoot a deer this year. I had a
Don't feel bad, neither did I. It's okay.
But I had my chances. I passed up a 135 9-pointer. It was a beauty deer, and I had the bow up on him. Like he can have one more year. But
Good on you.
if I had a shot him, it would be a decent one. But next year, if he makes it through the winter, and
he's going on the wall.
He's gonna
right.
But
and you shot a 150 plus, right?
Yeah,
this
it
year.
was a big one. It was a
And
big
you've been
deer.
following that deer for how long?
4 years. We've been trying to kill him for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
We've sat, I don't know, combined, I don't know how many days for that deer. It's
Stupid amount of hours.
Yeah.
Is this where like the competitive part comes in, where you're like, I'm just shutting everything down and this is happening?
Oh yeah, I mean, where we hunt, the bush lots are so small and there's so many hunters around that how these big bucks maneuver through the hunters and maneuver through the bush lots without getting shot just blows my mind. Like it shows you how smart these things actually are.
Absolutely.
To give you an idea of where we hunt is probably one of the worst parts in Ontario to hunt, but we do hunt hard, and there'll be one mature buck within probably a 5-kilometer radius.
That's his home range.
And that's his home range, and there's no other mature bucks. So you got 10 other hunters that probably have the same deer on camera. And it's hard hunting, but we enjoy it. But by the time hunting season's winding down, it's fishing season. I'm ready to go. Like, we're getting tackle ready. Our boats should be here any day, and it's going to be rigging full on fishing.
And how many hunting properties do you manage through a year?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot.
yeah, and through permission and stuff, and
Yeah. I mean, we're always, trying to get new properties, and, there's so many properties that we know are going to suck for, 3 years to come. So, we're still going to put cameras on them. You never know when the straggler
Do you
comes
still
in.
feed there?
Sometimes, yeah. Generally, we'll put a camera on it and see what happens. But,
Yep.
I mean, for the years coming, we generally know where there's going to be shooters.
You know where you're going next year already.
Yep,
Yeah.
right where I passed that. I'm calling that spot. There was 2 nice 9-pointers that were coming into that every night in daylight.
So you guys are using these cell cams?
Yeah.
Yeah, we use both, depending on the property.
Is it like heartbreaking and sometimes you're sitting and then you see?
Well, what's really a killer is you have a cell camera, you go in, or you can't go in that morning, and the cell camera's there, and it shoots off. The one was there at 8
Exactly
o'clock.
why I won't have a cell camera.
But
Yeah.
it's usually you didn't go in because the wind's wrong or something. But we have, I think, 4 or 5 cell cameras. We won't put them in to a spot unless that's where we're looking to go kill a big one or something, so you know when he's around. So
Yeah, right on.
so yeah.
That's insane. That they like the level of commitment that you guys have to pull this off. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday when you guys have probably spent more time on the water than I spend a lot of time on the water, and I was telling you I drive by that Indian Creek all the time, and you guys are already there. How much over the years have you put into pre-fishing? When you were younger, and what are some of the things you've had to give up to make this happen, to make it to the Classic?
I mean, definitely family time, but back then when we were putting in all the hours, we were singular. We had a girlfriend. We didn't have kids, and we'd go out in the water all day. We didn't have to be anywhere. We'd put the boat in. We'd go out fishing all day, and that was that. And I mean, now around here we don't even practice.
You just go.
We just go because we spent our time years ago
Putting in.
finding everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, for us to go out and burn a fish or two, it's not worth it. We know where we're gonna go. We know where they live, and we just go fishing.
In saying that, though, lakes are changing, and at some point there's going to be anglers that get an upper hand on us because we're not on the water as much as we used to. Like we're traveling when we're home now.
Yeah.
It's family time, and now 5 or 6 years down the road, the little ones are going to want to go back in the boat. We'll be out on the water every day.
Yeah.
But look at Rice Lake, for instance. It's changing crazy. I heard the weeds coming back. I didn't even fish there all summer, but there's people that are going to go out and figure it out before we do, and we're probably going to get our butts. We're going to get our butts kicked, and then we'll do that. That'll happen once or twice, and we'll probably go back out there and relearn it.
Ian and I had a conversation about this yesterday about the sacrifice that you guys must have, having young families, newly married. You know what I mean? What's that sacrifice like?
I mean, my guy's 1.5 years. Chris is 2.5 years old, so they're old enough now to know when we're gone.
Gotcha.
And it makes it hard to leave. You know, before we'd leave a week earlier than we normally would, and you know, go to a lake and figure out what's going on. Like if we're going to Florida, you know, it's warm, get a feel for things. But now we're dragging it out and leaving at the last minute, just because I mean, family time is so important, right? And I mean, happy wife, happy life. Right?
Yeah. Hey, they got her figured out at a young age.
Yeah. My goal before I leave for Florida right now is to try and get the little guy skating. So so spending time, kind of 2-3 times a week, get him on the ice and do that sort of thing.
And you got a rink right in your yard, don't you?
I got a little pond that hasn't been any good lately with all the rain we got, but I got to clear it off the next couple of days and go at it again.
Right on.
The family ever come down with you?
They probably do. I don't know if we have 8 or 9 events. They'll do 2 or 3 just to break it up, and hopefully they'll come down south for one.
They go to the warm ones.
Yeah. They pick and choose.
Now you guys are leaving your rigs down south and flying home in between events?
Not all of them. A lot of them we drive back home.
Yeah.
Just because we got so much tackle and rigging and whatnot to do. So a lot of them will just drive back and forth. But the first few, I think we're definitely going to leave them down there.
Gotcha. Do you feel that it's a disadvantage being that this is home base compared to the other anglers who are more centrally located?
No, I don't feel that way. The only benefit that those guys have to us is, in my opinion, the bait fish and what the bait fish do. And there's shad, there's so much stuff that we don't know a lot about.
Yep.
And when the spawn is for different bait fish, and
you're talking like reservoirs, lakes we don't have.
Yeah.
Lakes we don't have.
No grass sort of lakes. And
Which is a lot down there.
It is, and it takes you a while to figure all that out, but I think we've kind of caught on to it now, and I think that's the only advantage that those guys really have.
So now you guys go from hammering things in Ontario, you start doing Costa series events before you fish the FLW tour. How did you, like, not having a ton of practice on those lakes, how did you guys speed up the process to be successful so quick?
I don't even know how to answer that. I fished the first Costa. He was working at the time, and believe it or not, he actually had a job at Hydro 1, which is a pretty good job here in Ontario.
Yeah, it is.
And I was just finishing hockey, so I was just working part-time at my dad's store. So I had a little more flexibility. I went and fished my first Costa on the St. Lawrence. I'd never been there before, and ended up finishing second, I think, to Mike DeForge.
Yeah.
And then I ended up winning Angler of the Year in that division, had a pretty good year. And he wasn't going to sit in the sidelines for very long and watch that. So all of a sudden he quit Hydro, and he got
fired. I applied for a leave of absence, and they're like, "Hey, no problem." And then like 2.5 weeks in, I get a letter in the mail, and like, "Yeah, your leave didn't get approved." So my old man's like, "You're out of there." It's,
we'd already paid our entry fees.
That's awesome.
We're already committed.
Pot committed. Yeah.
So, do you feel that bass are bass? Like, if you can catch bass here, you can catch bass, like...
To a certain extent. But, I mean, when you go from Lake Okeechobee to a reservoir where there's not a stick of grass, it's a different game.
Yeah.
But, again, a bass is a bass.
Now, in saying that, there's more educated bass than others. If I go on a lake up here, I can throw a straight braid into a bush or a tree or something, and you get a bite every time. You go down south, the fish will look at it and be like, "No, seen that 10 times."
Even with the same water clarity?
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
I wouldn't have believed if I didn't see it myself. Is downsizing line is a huge factor on pressured fish. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most pressured lake you think you've ever fished?
Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's a pretty pressured
I got my
one.
personal best in Kentucky.
Yeah, you did.
Lake Fork, it's a good fishing, but it's probably the most pressure I've seen. Gunnersville. It's unbelievable. Like Fork, you're right there. There's guides on every good spot all day.
Yeah.
We've been to Fork.
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, I fished Fork 5 years in a row, and it was tough every year. Chocolate milk. You got to find that clear water.
In our head, we went down there for the Houston Classic and then spent a week at Lake Fork, and we thought, oh my God, they're going to be on the beds. This is going to be so easy. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Mark and I saw like a legit 9-pounder on a bed that we fished for hours and couldn't get to bite.
Yeah.
And it's one of those.
You're like, blows your mind, because if you were in Ontario and you ever found one on opening day on a bed, it wouldn't even make it to the bed, and he'd be on it.
For sure.
I got a pretty good rumor. I heard.
This sounds like a good one.
Yeah, we're putting this out there. If you guys see a fish, 90% of the time you'll catch that fish.
I heard that too.
Put it out
Did
there.
you
Let's
guys
hear
had
it.
said this on some kind of like podcast or in a magazine? Is this true?
We've got her pretty dialed in.
Up north.
Up north?
100%.
So if you guys are on Trial Lakes and you see a 4-pound smallmouth, you guys think you're going to get them?
Probably.
There's a good chance.
No net.
There,
We throw cast now.
75% of the time, I'd say, but it's getting harder every year.
Yeah.
100%.
Can you like?
Lake Simcoe.
Do you like
But
back? Do you have to back them? That's the key to back.
up a bit, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we see one, I mean, we can generally catch it.
Yeah.
But around here, we very seldomly try and fish shallow.
Really?
Very seldomly.
Unless it's like Simcoe or
unless it's
Yeah.
Well, you said your old man brought you up fishing deep weed, right?
And
That's the jam, man.
Now it's my
and
favorite way to
honestly,
fish.
75% of the tournaments that we've won in the Cruthers or anything have all been flipping deep weed.
Really?
And to an extent, deep might be 5 feet. You can't see bottom.
Can't
but,
see 'em.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this sight fishing scenario. We're on Shamong Lake on the sand flats. You guys see a 4-pounder, right? He's swimming by the boat. What should we do as anglers? Do you cast to him? Do you try to do like,
If it's a tournament, back off. Let me come get him.
Yeah, wave us over.
So here's what I like. I would like try to not look at him and do like over there, but it never works. I might get
those are the hardest ones to
13%.
catch.
13% of those fish.
So in saying that, there's fish you see, and you're like, I'm gonna catch that fish.
Yeah. I
Pretty well
got
call
you.
it. If you see a fish and it's like, books it, I'm out of here.
No.
You're not catching them. It doesn't matter what you throw. But if you see one, you're like, oh, that one looks like it might be interested in something. And
Yeah.
catch
Gotcha.
it.
The key is to get like to see them before they see you. As far away from the boat.
Yeah, well, that 100%.
Yeah,
That
right?
helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
100%.
kind of brings into this story. I heard another story on Shamong. Forget who it was. It's funny, but I forget who it was telling me the story that they were trying to work this fish on a dock, and nobody could get it.
remember this fish.
And they pulled out. I bet you do, because somebody else came by and worked that fish, couldn't get it. You guys came out, were like 70, 80 feet away, skipped from that far out, like you threw a frisbee perfectly right under the dock.
Must have
and,
got lucky.
and yoked it.
No. Are you talking about? Okay, so Justin Party told me that he was with you on Champlain, and there was a whole bunch of guys trying to catch a smallmouth on a dock,
Okay.
and they all went through, and he was with you, and you skipped her under there and got it on the first cast. I'm just talking.
Maybe. I don't remember that one. But, no, but if
See, I want to be that good at fishing that I don't remember these fish. I'm like, yeah, probably not.
You remember the one that I'm thinking of on Shamong?
Oh, yeah.
Where I flipped a jig on her and I was like, I missed one and I was like, that was a good one.
But he didn't know. It was like a tap. He's
It was
"That-
like a
it was
tap,
a weird.
but I knew it was like a, it wasn't a little one. And then we're like looking and Chris is fishing it, and there was a boat like 2 docks up and we're like
They're
5
coming at
minutes
us.
on it and they're coming on it. Finally Chris hooks it and it was like a 5.5 pounder and they're just like, what just happened?
It was a mess because it was on like 8-pound test and it jumped. It hit the top of the dock.
Oh,
no. It was a nightmare. We were lucky to get it in.
So you flip docks with 8-pound test.
That's what I
Whoa,
just
whoa,
learned.
whoa. You caught me, all right?
I'm just trying to.
The rumor mill.
Remember?
See,
remember
you know what?
we
If he says that, everybody tonight's going to be like 8-pound test.
Well,
Oh,
we
yeah.
we just talked about how downsizing line makes a big difference
Yeah.
with pressured fish. So, yeah.
Between the lines, guys. Yeah.
There's something very fulfilling about catching a big fish in front of other anglers. I can remember a specific fish with me and Marley, and we wanted to fish this one tree on the Otonabee River. And Mike Williams was cutting across the river, and these guys were coming up, and I long bobbed the flipping jig about as far as you could possibly. And as soon as it hit the water, I just watched her drag out the tree, and I set hook, and it was like a 5.9. And they were closer to the fish than I was. Like when it jumped, it almost touched her trolling motor. And I'll never forget Mike Williams laughing.
He's a beauty.
He is a beauty.
It's a weapon.
I love that on Simcoe, especially when you get buddies around. We know so many people that fish like the Canadian Open or something, and Clemson comes to mind, and I always love it when he comes around a point or something, and I'm fishing for them. I'll fire one right under his boat. That's when I want to catch a 6-pounder. It's happened a few times. But
That's
he's got
awesome.
us
He
once
did
or
it to
twice.
me once though.
So it's no fun when it happens to you.
How do you guys handle with so many boats around? How do you you always seem to pull up the giants, and everybody else is just like standing there stunned. They're like, what are these guys doing?
Like
just fish,
people
man.
ask
Is this the hydro wave?
People ask us that same question all the time, but it's one of those things. You grew up on the water your whole life. Like every summer we spent on the water, and you just see how these fish react different. If it's clear water, you can see them. They react different, and you can figure how to catch them. Or I don't know. It's just people like say people
in the right spot.
People say we work our jig different, and it's just like I don't know. That's just how we throw our jig. Like
8-pound test, but
Yeah.
that's the difference.
We were on Quinny at a B1, and they were filming us, and someone put a video up of us flipping a jig, and everyone was like, what are they doing with that jig? And I didn't get it, because to us, it's just flipping a jig.
Yeah.
But apparently, we do it different.
And we have a buddy on the Potomac River, Brian Schmidt. We gave him the black Punisher jig that everyone throws up.
Yeah.
We've taken down there and done well. And he fished beside Brian before we knew him. This is years ago. And he absolutely smoked him on this flipping a jig. And Brian's like, dude, like, can you help me out and give me some of those? And he gave him some. I don't think he's caught a fish on it.
Yeah.
Punisher
Still.
jig.
Yeah.
Dude, he's been in my boat. He's been beside me.
He didn't believe him at first.
And he's like, you're absolutely lying to me about this jig.
Well, here's the thing about the, like, I can remember when I stopped steelheading and wanted to bass fish. It's really hard to get your first fish on a jig.
Yeah.
Like, but as soon as you it's kind of like the lure where you got to put all the rods away and you got to flip this thing until you get a hit, and then you're like, oh my God, that's a jam. That's how we're gonna get them. But I talk to anglers all the time who are like, I never catch anything on a jig, and I'm like, well, you just got to figure that there's something, there's something, right? They like
if we're flipping milfoil, we're always flipping a jig.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
And it's just because there's smallmouth here, and it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
Largemouth. I find those smallmouth will eat a jig better than they will plastic.
I got a
Find
question.
that they're obviously bigger fish if you're throwing a jig, and you're looking for those bigger bites.
For whatever reason, the bigger fish like jigs around here.
Favorite color, straight black?
Yep.
Yeah, we have 2 jigs, black and green pumpkin.
There's no
There you go. You heard it here first.
So now here's my question: do you think a lot of anglers are overthinking it at all?
100%.
Yep.
Like
if people looked at our tackle box, they'd be like,
We have
these
every one
guys,
of those.
these guys are stupid. They're hiding all their baits.
So there's this really famous video where Swindle has Van Damme at his house, and Van Damme's sick, and he thinks that Van Damme's got magic baits, and he goes through Van Damme's boat, and he's like, he's got the same thing I do. Yeah, right. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's all about where you throw it.
for sure, and that makes Now let's talk about Garmin units. Well, I made the switch to Garmin last year. I got all big Garmin units on my boat. How much has that helped you, and how is that game changing fishing?
I mean, we've had Garmin's now for, what, 6 years?
Yeah.
And we've kind of came up with Garmin and the new technology and what they've been doing. And there's 2 things that are game changers with those Garmin's. And the first is the pan optics. I mean, everyone's seen it now. They know what it's about. And the second is the depth shading. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you go to a body of water that you've never been before, and you can set your depth shading for, the fish are in 4 to 6 feet, and you can set that depth shading and look on the whole lake. You can cover so much water so much quicker by just looking at your graph and going in the 6-foot range.
Now, to add to that, we don't get into this too often, but live scope, I don't use it all the time around here, like grass lakes and stuff. I don't use it flipping a jig, but you said it yourself. If you can't see a fish and he can't see you, your odds of catching that go up like 90%. So on clear lakes like Simcoe, Lake Ontario, you can't always see 50 feet.
Yeah.
You turn that thing on, if you can see a fish out in front of you, you catch it 9 times out of 10.
And now
It's
live scope,
absolutely-
it's got like that 20% beam, so you can really pinpoint that fish a lot easier, right?
You can cast your bait out, see it sinking down to the fish. If it's a moving bait, start reeling it, and see the fish coming up and chase it.
When I fished Lake Ontario this year, it made a huge difference because you could see the fish way before you, in 20 feet of water, way before you ever got to them.
Yeah, and I was in a Costa fishing out deep on Lake Ontario. There were some boats around. The fish were pressured. You get on top of them, they wouldn't eat. Turn that live scope on. If you cast it on one 30 feet in front of you, you'd catch it every time. First cast. So
The other thing,
it's a game changer.
I really noticed too that a lot of times in the Kawartha Lakes, you pull up to smallmouth spots and they're either there or they're not. Your live scope, you don't have to waste a lot of time because as soon as you get what you're looking for, you don't have to spend a lot of time there because they're either there or they aren't. You know to fish or to move on.
For sure. I mean, there's so much structure out there now with weed edges and brush piles and rocks, and if you can pull up and scan that and be like, oh, okay, I'm just off of it. It's just over here to the left, whether it's a rock or a clump of weeds or whatever, and you can flip to it. I mean, it just makes your time efficiency so much better.
Yeah, we don't use it for brush a lot here, but down in the States, brush piles is huge.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
And you can't fish those brush piles now without live scope. It's almost impossible. Like, it's one of those things like before GPS came along, you're like, how did I do it before without it?
Yeah.
You can scan the tree, make sure your bait hits it on the fall. You can see if there's fish in it. It's just
You can people who've never used it before. You can also tell how they're reacting to it.
For sure.
Like it was fish that you will chase it up and then stop, and then you make a little adjustment, and then you catch that fish. It is absolutely changing how fishing is. Now we've talked about this on the show. At what point do you think they're going to have to be like, okay, you can't have that on your fish finder?
I mean,
Sean, tell them what you envision first. What do you talk about every time we turn on the Garmin unit?
I think this is going to happen.
This is good.
I heard a rumor.
Trust me. The military already has it. I know it. So I think it's going to come up. It's going to be like a 3D screen. You're going to be able to look. It's going to show you depth, right? You're going to be able to pitch it, but it's going to be like a holograph.
But think about like the your Ranger boat. Your dash and your Ranger boat cut out so that when you look through it, it's like 3D imaging.
So you see them swim around the weeds.
I want a glass bottom Ranger is what I want.
That would be yes.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
But that holograph graph.
Every time I turn the units on, he's like, we have this discussion in the
It was a 3D.
Maybe in 20 years, you never know.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll see them ban technology on a GPS because it's the industry, like Garmin, Lawrence, all those guys sponsor tournaments, and that's how they make their money. So
for sure,
with the new technology, people are buying it. That money goes back to the anglers. So
yeah, but look at the A-rig. Catches so many bass, they ban it.
Yeah, but that's not electronics. A-rig doesn't do anything for the tournament.
Whatever.
They're
you guys throw
A-rigs?
Yeah.
You ever throw A-rigs?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate them, but yeah, you throw them.
Yeah, I hate them, but they catch fish. There's no doubt about it.
So you guys moved from the Costa to the FLW Tour. You're doing really well there. What was it like to get the phone call for the BassMaster Elites? Well, like shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And then you guys got the opportunity.
It was, I remember what we were doing. I was actually up on a ladder cutting a tree down that I probably shouldn't have been cutting down on a ladder that Chris was supposed to be holding.
I was on the phone.
And I cut my hand wide open after Chris was, whatever he was doing, the ladder
Different
closed him.
story.
Anyway, but that's when I got the call, and it was actually from FLW first. And, you know, they wanted to get us to stay, so we had a lengthy conversation about us staying, and you got the call from Bass.
Yeah,
shortly after.
At the same time, and FLW was great. They said they appreciate us fishing, they want us to stay, and so on. And that was kind of before we talked to Bass. Like, well, we haven't heard from them. But they had got a list prior to Brad said this is what we're going to do. So they reached out to us, and
but did you kind of have a knowing it was coming, the call?
Yeah. But I mean, in saying that, there was some other people that thought they were going to get the call and didn't get it.
Nothing was for sure.
Nothing was set in stone.
Rumors.
Yeah, and we fished FLW, and we had a blast, and we made some money, and good friends and stuff. It was fun, but we always wanted to fish the BassMaster Classic.
Yeah. That was going to be my question. Was this the plan?
Stanley Cup.
Yeah, and we had fished. I'd fished the Open once. We did it 1 year, but we fished the FLW and the Costas with young families now. It's a lot to do the tour and do the Opens to qualify for bass. So we're kind of on the fence about going to qualify, and this.
And you were doing really well in FLW.
Yeah, we were making money, so it's hard to throw that away, right?
So at the beginning, why did you guys choose to do the FLW route instead of going right to the Opens?
To us, I mean, we want to fish for as much money as we can.
Yep.
And I mean, when we're spending time away from our families, we got to justify it.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the Opens they don't pay well.
Gotcha.
If you want to fish the Opens, you're there to qualify to try and make the Elite Series. And for us, the Costas with Ranger Cup, it made it worth it. You're winning almost $100,000 if you win a Costa.
Yep.
So it made it worth it for us with the Ranger Cup to fish the Costas, and same with the FLW Tour. I mean, they pay well.
And to add to that, they're a Northern Division that fit right in our wheelhouse.
Right in your wheelhouse.
So contingency prizes, they're big for you guys.
Absolutely. Like, we're there to make as much money as possible. So when we drive a Ranger, we have Ranger Cup.
like the amount of money Ranger Cup has paid out over the last few years is unbelievable. Like I finished second in points to Andy Morgan on the tour one year, and because he didn't run a Ranger, the highest finishing Ranger gets a new Ranger. I don't know, was it
19 or
footer with
18
a 200
footer.
horsepower? That's like a $60,000 rig just for running the right product. He won two.
It's a
Costas.
no-brainer.
Yeah, he won 2 Costas. It's an additional like $100,000. So how do you not run that product?
Here's a great question that I really want to know the answer to. How many boats have you guys won?
That's a pretty good question. I don't know.
We've actually, Marley and I've had this conversation while fishing, and we were like, and we start adding them up.
I picture
right?
their
like
lawn.
I know
15 boats on the lawn with.
we've had this conversation too, where like, are they hoarding them or are they selling them?
Oh, I got one for sale right now.
If anyone wants it.
Yeah.
I fished all year in one of their prize boats. My buddy Mike.
Yeah, Mike got one.
Mike Carney.
Hashtag Mercer Marine bring the new Garmin's on it for him.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
18-footer.
The 18 with the 150 four-stroke.
You've won so many you can't remember what ones they are.
That's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing at all.
Hoping to go to Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, and try and sneak one more across the.
You know what?
That'd be
Actually,
great.
Marley and I are considering on going that road trip this year.
Early bird's open.
We've always wanted to do that. It's like a bucket list for us to do, and we've been talking about Marley and I making the drive.
Is the Sturgeon Bay going to coincide with your tournament?
We'll be at Sturgeon Bay.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. I think Gussie's going. I think Fighter's going.
Nice.
And it's a good trip. The fishing, it's different. When we go practice there, you can catch fish. Like
You're saying it's going to be a shit show. You got all.
Yeah,
these
like
guys going.
yeah. In practice,
Usually
you
is
catch
with all
fish.
of them.
Amber, do you want us to tell your Seth Fighter story?
No,
I would
No?
love to hear it.
It's a good one.
not at all.
It's a pretty.
It's a really
I
good
bet
one.
it is.
It is
Tell the
really
story.
good.
No, I'm not telling it.
Was there drinking involved?
Yes, there was.
A lot of tequila.
I would love to hear it.
Classic Amber.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
I'll get Fighter on the phone right now if you don't want to tell it.
Go ahead. I can't do it.
Mustache
When we have a
rides for
break,
everybody.
it was good, like real good. And it was in front of the Daiwa people before I'd signed my Daiwa deal. It was beautiful.
That's funny.
It is like absolutely amazing. And the best part is Seth knew exactly who she was.
That's great.
No shame.
It was. Well, she also humped Steve Kennedy's leg that night.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
he's a good-looking dude.
I've never. I first had to restrain Amber from jumping over the cornrow pit to meet Steve Kennedy, and then when I finally found her, she was dry humping his leg, and you guys know Steve, and she's like, "Steve, you just look so happy while you're fishing. I just love watching you on Bass Live so much." Yeah, you had quite a go at that live party.
That was a good one.
South Carolina, Amber.
South Carolina, Amber.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny that Amber remembered nothing of the night. We had to call Ike on the way home for he could explain all of this to her.
Awesome.
It was phenomenal. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Fire them out here for the boys.
All right. Brent McGinn wants to know what was your first boats.
First boats. The old man back in the day was sponsored by OMC, so we. I guess we ran Stratos, way back in the
Javelin, I
day.
think.
Javelin, Stratos, way back in the day, and then our own personal boats were, I guess, for that Newark Open when one of us had a Stratos, one of us had a Ranger.
You used to have a white Stratus.
Yeah.
Stratus.
White
It
Stratus.
was a nice. It was a nice.
The
boat.
201?
Yep.
Yep. No, it was a 200.
Yeah.
200? I got a 201 XL.
Yep.
I love my
Yeah,
boat.
they're awesome.
Yeah, they're super awesome. They're good on deep water. They're super quick.
And actually, before we got into the bass boats, there was kind of a break where we fished some 75 and unders when we were
Yep.
like 13, 14 with our dad, and we were with low boats. So we
Yeah.
actually didn't have any glass boats. We were running aluminums for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And so we fished 115s and unders for years, and I fished with Greg Hammond. He fished with my dad at times, and we kind of really fished every circuit growing up. And
Yeah, we did it all.
yeah.
That's awesome. Great. So there's an 18-year-old kid listening to the show. What boat should he start tournament fishing in? Does he need to go right to the big stuff, or
I mean, you don't need to go right to the big stuff. There's no need for it when you're fishing like a lot of the Quarthas and stuff like that. And for us, Rangers came out with an aluminum line.
Yep.
And I mean, those boats are absolutely incredible. There's so many videos out there of them having holes cut in them and still floating. And Ranger makes a quality product. They got everything right from aluminums to 18, 19, 20,
Yep.
21, 22 foot boats.
RT 178
Yep.
is. We actually talked about this a few years ago with Ranger. We were thinking about running one for all the tournaments right
Yep.
here because people see all these big bass boats and think, well, I got to have
You don't
one of those
need
to
them.
catch those
Yeah.
fish. You can run that aluminum, and yeah, we were doing it for years.
I always tell everybody the first, like we started in Timbo, and we just had like a multi-species boat, and I was like, when you make the jump from that to a bass boat, you spend your first year burning so much gas going fast, like
No doubt.
right? But when you have the smaller boat, if you know you can only run so far, you really know that area where you're fishing a whole lot better. Because if you're blasting off in Bewdley, you're not going to Hastings.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to Peterborough. You're going to learn your area. And it probably took Marley and I a couple of years. We made some big runs on that boat.
I got a question. Have you guys ever thought about running different size boats when you're out pre-fishing for an elite event, so people kind of don't know?
You can't. You have to run your boat with your wrap.
Oh.
Yeah. So
It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is what it is.
I'm sure you guys are getting spectator boats around you now.
Well,
How's that different? Like, that's totally new to you guys, right?
Yeah, it is. But I mean, for the most part, people are really respectful and they keep their distance. But you know,
it's nice when you're down south because let's say you're on, I don't know, Kentucky Lake. You're fishing there for 1 week, and they come watch you and they're looking at your spots and see how you're doing and stuff. We're not going to fish that spot again for another 8 years. It probably won't be good. It's different if you go out to Rice Lake and you had 5 guys coming to follow you. Well, you're probably going to fish that spot again in 2 weeks, and then they're going to fish against you. So for us in the States, it's not a big deal. It's kind of cool to see everyone out following you and cheering you on and stuff.
We learned that lesson, eh?
Yeah.
There's nothing like struggling to get a limit, and then a guy messaging on Instagram on Monday morning tell you how he willed 60 fish out of that bed on the day before you were there.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
gotta love
Like we didn't really. Before this was popular, we didn't take into effect that we had just given everybody our fishing spots.
Yeah.
And
We had a guy one time, and Chris was in the boat, and he always yells at me. But we had a guy following us around, like, you know, and I knew who it was.
Yeah.
And he was stopped like 400 yards back, and like after the second spot, I said to Chris, I'm like, pretty sure this dude's following us. He's like, well, let's give it another spot. So we go to another spot, and the guy stopped way off, and we ran into Pigeon, and remember this?
Oh yeah.
We ran into Pigeon,
And said, let's stop in the middle of the lake.
and I said, Chris, I'm going over there. Like, I am going over there, and we're gonna have a chat. And Chris is like, just stop in the middle of the lake. If he stops, you can go over there. So I stopped in the middle of the lake, and
It's awkward.
he stopped.
Right? It was
Yeah,
awkward.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, like, you look way back, you see him coming, and then all of a sudden we just stop in the middle of the lake.
Yeah. So I
And it's,
drove
like,
right
awkward
over to him
because
on
he had
plane
stopped.
and stopped right beside him and called him a bunch of names and explained to him that it's not the same if you do it, you know, when you're looking for spots for the lakes. It's just not the same
It's
as you
not
go
the
down
same.
south,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's just not the same. And
no.
It's different. Like we put a lot of effort into finding those spots.
Oh, yeah.
It took years, and we'll hit 40 spots on the Cruthers. In a tournament.
In one tournament in a day, that was going to be one of my questions. You guys run and gun.
Oh yeah, we fish 1,000,001 fish spots.
And that was in the first hour. We had already hit like 5 or 6 spots, and this guy, like, he's marking everyone's spots. You don't want.
We caught on to him early though, so we wouldn't go to the juice.
He didn't go to the juice.
Secondary stuff, and it's just you don't want to lose those spots because they're one fish spots. If another boat's on them, you can't even fish them.
I got you.
I got more questions.
Fire them away here.
I got lots of questions.
Fire them away.
S. Turner has been flooding it. Most memorable moments on tour. Which pro had the biggest impact on you, and how do you prep for a tour event?
Chris Grow had the biggest impact
He's
on
a
me.
beauty.
He told me that we should all quit fishing and we should start posing for Playgirl.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
way more money in it.
Was it last year that he was partying with it? Oh yeah, he's a great dude to party with. So last year there was mile-long waits for beer. So I walked by Chris and I'm like, I got to get a beer, bro. And he's like, here, do you want a 6-pack? Sean bought a 2-for. And he's got, Chris has got 4 6-packs of open beers from the bar, and he's like, here, just take a 6er, man.
Absolutely. That's the kind of guy.
He's a beauty, eh?
He's one of the good guys.
He's super great dude. We met him in South Carolina.
Yeah,
Best
he was at
chassis
the
in the
party.
league.
He was at the egg party, yeah.
So you guys were
I was
with
at
Fighter,
Knoxville, wasn't
Bro, and Gussie.
Yeah.
Is there anybody on YouTube?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
No.
Nobody else.
No.
It'd be nice to have a couple more guys. There's a few guys we'd like to room up with, but parking 5 boats at an Airbnb or something,
Yeah,
it's a
sure.
nightmare.
Sure. So who's the house mom?
Gussie.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Who's the best barbecuer?
I got to take that.
Yeah, but he doesn't, I don't know if he's good at it, but he doesn't clean up anything.
No. I mean, I cook and clean.
I feel your pain, Chris. I feel your pain.
Who's the first out of bed?
Gussie. No,
And who's the last?
I'll take
Chris.
All right, this is a perfect chance for this rapid fire.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
Mark's got some rapid
questions for
fire.
you
Fire 'em
guys.
out. Let's
And
do it.
This is real simple answers. It's either Chris or it's Cory.
Okay.
All right,
Let's do it.
Let's do it quick. Who's the power hook set?
Cory. He's got a lot more weight.
Who's harder on their boat?
Chris.
Cory.
Better hockey player?
Me.
Cory.
Who reties faster?
I don't know. Cory's probably retire quicker.
Who had more dates in high school?
I don't know.
The wives are listening. We better
Okay. We're gonna have a safe word. If you don't want to answer it, the answer is Gussie. All right.
All right.
Gussie did not have the most dates in high school. Absolutely not.
He does have the tightest jeans on tour.
Hands down.
Yeah. After a tournament, who has the messiest boat?
Chris.
While hunting, who's the better shot? Bow,
Cory.
rifle.
Cory.
I had a bad couple of years, right? It wasn't good.
Cory
Into
is
this
a
if you
big,
want
you should
to.
be on the Family Feud. Cory. Cory.
Hey. He just shouldn't suck so bad.
All right.
Hey, one time in 4 years, he beat me on the tour fishing, so that counts
Hey,
for something. He's got
place
some
your
making up
bets
to do.
tonight, boys.
Okay. Who's more badass?
I am. I'll take it.
Not a chance.
He's a lot louder and more annoying, though.
Who's more social?
Cory.
Yeah.
Who switches presentations more? Like when you're fishing, who's throwing more?
I'll just go with my old faithful.
Who's the better dresser?
Cory.
That's up. That is up for debate.
Who takes the longest to do their hair?
Who wears cowboy boots that up to a family dinner in Canada?
Everybody.
That's a good sweater, though. I have a couple.
Wait.
Yeah,
Over
yeah,
the
yeah.
jeans or under the jeans?
Oh, he probably under.
Under. Overs Texas.
Do you throw a Senko style bait?
No.
I just threw that in there.
Yeah,
There you go.
Really?
St. John's River.
One.
Dinger ever?
that's true.
Not a dinger.
No?
Yes, we do. That's a lie. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. Who's Lynn's favorite son?
Chris.
Which one of you would be more likely to be called the net man?
Cory. Definitely.
Who's the best dancer?
Probably
I'm
me.
not.
Probably me. I'm a pretty sick dancer.
Who wears lucky underwear?
Can't say I do.
Can't say I do. Actually, that's a lie. I have a donut underwear. Wife bought them for me. She calls them the lucky ones.
All right. Who's more superstitious?
No, I don't think either.
I
of
don't
us
think
are.
either of us.
No.
Really? Neither of you are superstitious?
No.
Really? Not even over scissors?
No.
No.
You can't steal scissors. You cannot steal scissors.
I think he took them out of my boat
No.
though, and he made that. He fabricated that.
Absolute lie.
I had a pair of scissors in my boat, and they disappeared. So I took.
We'll go
his.
back to the
He actually
organizational skills that he has. There's zero.
Did you check Grove's boat?
said- This was before Grow.
All right. We're almost done here. Who can hold their liquor better?
Cory.
No, definitely not. Chris is valid.
Who's the
Cory
best,
just drinks way more.
Yeah.
Who's the best singer?
Cory.
Prove it.
Have you ever?
Scared? Come on, you go first.
I'm not a good
What do
singer.
you want me to sing?
I am not a good singer.
Have you ever heard of Ian West?
No.
Who has the best poker face?
I'll take that one.
Who's the biggest sandbagger?
Chris.
And Sean already touched on this, but who's the barbecue master?
Cory is.
I don't know. He cooks the odd burger.
Oh, my gosh.
Judge me.
Who's the better hunter?
Cory.
I'll take that.
Get out of bed in the morning.
We got another rapid fire question.
Who has the bigger
Who's
deer?
the best parker of the trailers?
Oh, that's a good one.
Chris can't drive.
Ouch. I got more questions.
Okay,
here.
fire him away, honey.
How do you both manage entry fees and winnings? And do you pull it together, pay your fees, travel expenses? And what are your favorite lakes in the U.S.?
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But we started fishing tournaments in Canada. We fish as a team, as everyone
Yep.
does here. And we started a fishing business here. We kept it going, and we fished the coastas. We just pooled our money together, and that's how we were paying for our tournament entry fees was winnings from Ontario and anything in the coastas. We were very fortunate that way, and just kept we kept paying for tournaments with winnings. And then what was the next one? Favorite lake in the U.S.?
Yep.
Okeechobee was one of my favorites the last couple of years. All the grass died. That's a good one. That St. John's River, if it fishes the same as the last one, that was pretty fun.
That was fun.
That was a good one.
I guess.
U.S. side of Thousand Islands.
Yeah, I actually, when we, there was a little scare from the MLF that, you know, they were going to be the big show in town. As soon as I watched day one of the St. John's River, I was like, "There's no way they're competing with this." It was unbelievable.
It didn't matter who was catching.
It didn't matter at all. It was just fun to watch the whole jam. And I had just watched, like, I was going to give both series a fair shot before I could be impartial. I just watched the MLF event, and I watched day one of that, and I was like, Bass is king.
So MLF, it's probably the best thing to ever happen to you guys.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Right.
We would never be where we are right now without that series change, and those anglers left, started a new thing. Bass changed a couple things, and we got invited, and it's the best thing since sliced bread for us.
So how does that make you feel, knowing that now you guys and Gussie, you're Canada's skin in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's we don't really look at it that way. You know, a lot of people ask us, "Oh, you know, you guys are fishing the Elite Series. You guys this." I mean, to us, it's just fishing. It's what we grew up doing. I mean, we don't take it for granted. I mean, we just like to spend as much time as we can in the boat. And
so how do you stay so humble?
It's just fishing. You know, it's just like anyone. Like, I mean, a good example's Dustin Bufflin. We've got to know him extremely well, and he is the most humble, down-to-earth guy, and he's never going to play hockey. He's going to work. I'm just going to work. Just going to do my thing. I love the game. Just going to work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is for us.
It makes sense, though, right? Like, you got to separate pressure socks. And if you make it for that it's pressure-free, you're going to fish way better.
And one of the times I really noticed it was on the Thousand Islands when I was pulling in on day 4, and there was a whole shoreline of Canadian fans that had come across the border. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
All the support, like, we see it after the tournament. You don't really think of it too much during the tournament, but after you get all the posts and messages saying great job and we're following along, and it's really cool to see a bunch of anglers that we used to compete against that probably didn't like us because we were fishing against them and maybe taking a few paychecks.
Well, it's no secret. A lot of guys don't like to go if Chris and Cory are showing up because they feel like they're donating.
Yeah.
You know, I got no problem donating to your pocket.
Yeah. I'd rather lose to you guys than to a guy with a dinger.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I wish everyone had that mindset.
And like, what's it called? And you got, like, here's the thing with fishing. Everybody thinks they're the best angler in the world, and we hear it all the time. And you hear behind closed doors. One week somebody will be like, "I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Look at my tournament jersey." And then the next week you hear, "Well, I don't want to fish against Chris and Cory." And then all I say is, "Well, you can't be the best and not beat the best."
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. There's some guys that we know very well, and that's what they say. And you're just like,
why?
Why? You're a great angler. You've won how many tournaments? And they're, well, I'm not fishing it because they're fishing it. Like, that makes me so mad because, I mean, us growing up in a competitive nature, not just fishing, but hockey, it doesn't matter, cards, everything, money's on the table. Doesn't matter what it is. And I just want to beat the best. I don't care if it's hockey, if it's lacrosse, if it's anything. And to me, it just doesn't make any sense that guys are in the sport and don't want to compete at the highest level. Mm-hmm. Like, it just, I know capiche.
Well, you know, like, you know, if you're fishing a tournament and you guys show up, and you if you can't beat you guys on Rice Lake, you don't have a shot of fishing down south. Do you know what I mean? Like,
people ask us, like, should I go down and try fishing in the U.S.? Yes, it's a great experience. There's all different kinds of level, but they're like, I want to go and beat the best down there. Well, if you're not beating everyone on home lakes, you're probably not going to go down there and beat those guys. You got to hone your skills here. And to add to Cory's comment, people that don't want to fish against us, we're not going to win every tournament. And it's gotten to the point now, some guys are great. They're like, hey, I'm going to a tournament. I just want to beat the Johnsons. And I have nothing but
for sure. The first tournament I ever won was the Top Bass event on Lake Scugog, and you guys had 3 fish.
Yeah,
and we were jazzed. Like, first we won, second, those guys are missing 2 fish.
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for those guys. If I finish 10th and they finish 9th, then I'll shake your hand and say, good job, you beat us.
And that's the other thing. When you guys are on a roll, everybody talks about this. But when you guys have a bad tournament, you never hear, like, anything. It's just dead silent.
Yep.
Right? Like, it only seems like that when you guys are on a roll or you have a good season, that everybody's on this bus. But if you guys have there's a few years ago before you guys made your jump down south, you had a really tough year.
Yeah.
Like, I remember you'd like straight up, and then the next year you come back. But that quiet year, everybody wasn't bitching and whining.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and you're right. Like, if you're not competitive enough to deal with it here and deal with the losing part, fishing is it's a lot of heartache.
Yep.
Like, you're not going to win every event. I think that Van Dam's the winningest angler ever, and he's won something like 3% of his tournaments.
Yeah.
You got to learn to deal with the losing part to move on to the next event.
100%. And when you do lose, I mean, you got to look back and say, okay, well, I made this mistake, and go out and correct it. I mean, maybe not in the next tournament, but it's, making sure it's in the back of your mind. So, like, the next time you're on Rice Lake and you know how the guy won, I mean, go, do something different. Guys that just throw a Senko under a dock every day.
Mark Hunter.
I mean, sure, you're going to have a good day. Sure, you're going to catch 20 pounds one day, but you're not going to do it 2 days in a row.
That's right.
So it's...
And that's the other thing. And it shouldn't be in Ontario a case of if you have really good, like Mike and Dwayne did really well. And then the next thing you hear is nobody wants to fish against them. Well, that's not how it should be. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's some 17-year-old kid out there who lights her up this summer here, is everybody just going to be like, well, he's out of this, we're not fishing against him?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a mindset that so many people have. If it's not us, it's, Mike and Dwayne, or if it's you guys, or whoever.
Do you guys pay any attention to any of the bullshit?
No. Zero.
No.
Yeah.
And
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, we've heard some pretty funny stories over the years.
What's the best one?
What's the best rumor?
The best one I heard was probably like 2 years ago. We've done pretty well in the Tri-Lakes, obviously. And I heard a rumor from a legitimate person. They're like, they were telling people we were going around and stacking fish under docks. I'm thinking,
I got a better one.
No. But that's like, why would I, on my home lake, need to go and catch fish from another spot in the lake where I know there's big ones and then go put them under dock? Do you think they're going to stay there? They're going to swim away. Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's a good rumor, though.
Well, you don't
I did
fish
hear
the
that one.
release spots if that was the way it happened.
Yeah. The one I heard was we were feeding docks.
Well,
what?
So we had fish feeders on docks.
Really?
Yeah, that was a good
Wow.
one. We must fish a lot of docks.
Yeah.
On docks. I
We
gotta
must go
try that.
through a lot of fish food. A lot of flipping jigs
We
with
should
no
try
hooks
that
on
one.
them.
I wonder if that's
We're
in
on
the
to
rules.
something.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Elite Series, here we come.
But no, it was really cool. We had a lot of people that would say that stuff, and then whatever, our dad was finding us fish back
that was
when we
a
were
good
younger. That was a good one. But he's like, man, I appreciate it. I got more credit than I've ever had in my whole life because people think he was finding our fish.
But then
Here's a good one. Here's a good one. There was a classic on Lake of Bays.
Like a base.
And so we're in the classic, Chris and I. So mom and dad rented a cottage on the lake, and my sister came out with a friend, and dad had the other boat. So he'd go out in front of the dock and take the girls tubing.
Yeah.
And do a circle around the dock, and we got disqualified.
No,
Because
we got threatened to get disqualified. Because yes, there was
Anyway,
a hard debate.
Anyway,
he
there
wasn't
was a
out in the water.
huge thing where Lynn
my
was
mom-
out,
my mom lost.
looking for guys to tell them where we were
yeah.
fishing. Like it's
That
heard all
sucks.
kinds.
Like,
My mom lost her mind because she's like, oh, this is a nice little vacation.
She might have.
I was fishing a tournament, and I was fishing off the dock with my son, and somebody complained.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And I didn't get disqualified, but I got like a threatening text.
Yeah.
And then I texted back. I was like, you go right ahead and do this.
Well,
Good.
I got a TSN turning point not too long ago.
Is that hashtag?
Yeah.
Hashtag?
Okay.
Yeah. So not too long ago, you guys were put against a lie detector test,
Many times now.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but in Canadian
Yeah.
fishing,
Yep.
right? Through
He's
the
done
CSFL.
He's done one on
Right?
Tri-Lakes. I did one on Simcoe.
And
Yeah.
and everybody was like, "Oh, the Johnsons are going against a lie detector test." And all of a sudden, all the chatter stopped.
Yeah.
Right? You guys come out with their flying colors, cashed your check,
Yeah.
and nobody's
But
talked shit since.
to be honest, I think it kind of stopped about 4 years before that stuff down south of the border where there's amateur marshals with you and stuff against us fishing and saying they got to be cheating or something.
Yeah, but
Anytime
it was-
somebody
it was
ever
almost-
asked me, do you think Cory and Chris are cheating? I looked them right in the eye and I said, I wish they were because I'd feel a lot better about myself.
right? But it was all the chatter about, the family stuff. Oh, their dad's going out and helping them. They're doing this, they're doing that. All that local stuff stopped.
Yeah.
Right? Like right after that.
And it's nice
You didn't
because
hear another rumor.
A lot of those guys now are our biggest supporters. they grew up now. They're like, hey, I fished against those guys. They took my money a couple times, whatever.
I think all of us
good.
have had our asses handed to us by you.
Hey, we've taken a few though. We've taken a few.
You still hear it. Like I was at a few Christmas, dinners and parties and stuff, and you still hear it. Like it's the people that I keep hearing. The people that are closest to you are your biggest complainers. And you're never going to end it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's us, if it's you guys, if it's the next Cooper, whoever. It doesn't matter. But there's always going to be those guys. And
people just hate you to hate you.
Yeah, well,
I hear it all the time. Like,
I hate
people
Cory
are
at
up
times
to,
too,
you know.
I don't blame them.
I get stupid messages all the time where I like when I was younger. It used to bother me. Now I just feel bad for the person.
Right.
If you took the time to write some message about how much you hate me because I made a fishing video, right? I just feel bad. And if you need to talk, I'll talk to you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I didn't say you couldn't make a video. Go make a video, have a podcast. Be happy to help you if you got any questions.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like I watch people all the time who get a GoPro for Christmas. They're going to make fishing videos from January 1st to the 15th, and then they realize how hard this really is, right? You got to catch these fish. You got to go home and edit all this stuff. You got to think of things to talk to. And it's the same thing. I feel like every year we get a pile of new people who are going to win every tournament on the planet, and then by tournament 3, they're like, I've made a big mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
I need a co-signer.
And then you kind of need, but at that point you kind of need somebody to shit on, right? Like you need like you can't just say, well, I didn't do well, right? I've never had a tournament. I remember when you guys did the lie detector on Trial Lake. Somebody walked by and they were like, Cory and Chris are doing the lie detector test. And I looked at them, I was like, I wish I was doing it.
There was almost as big as the crowd.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, well, sign me up.
That's our ultimate goal every tournament is to do a lie
detector test. Yeah.
But there was almost as big as a crowd hovering around as there was when you guys did your first seminar at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show a few years ago.
Yeah. That's pretty cool to see. And a lot of people were listening. And we shared some of our top secrets on how to sight fish and stuff. And it's good to see. And we're kind of revealing more information now because we don't fish as much as what we used to. And we're trying to help people out more and show them better ways to catch fish around here.
See, this is it. This is all about growing the sport, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's a huge part for us because, I mean, not only do we want to grow the sport and we want to see younger kids get into it, but we want to have a part in it as well. You know, we want to be, not just remembered as good fishermen, but someone that helped grow the sport to where it is.
So, yeah, we're trying to do some more bass club talks and young guys, get them into fishing.
I love it.
Yeah, no, and that's what it's all about, right? And it's growing that pizza pie. The bigger more people we get into this, it just grows and grows our fishing market. And right now we're in like a downward slide because we got other things to compete against. But we really need to the more young people catch fish, they're going to want to go more. If they're not catching anything, so it's my tournament career might have bit the dust here because of making these videos. But the messages that we get from young people who went and got their first boat.
Yeah, the kid show up at your door.
Yeah, I did. Last week, I never talked about this. I had a kid about 7 years old knock on the door in the gutsiest move ever. And I answered the door, and he was like, "You're my favorite fisherman. I watch your YouTube channel all the time." And I was like, "You just wait a second here, young man." I went downstairs, and I got him a Tatua reel. And I'm a whole bunch of baits and a whole pack of FearFishing stickers. And if you come to my house after this, I'm not giving all my stuff away. It's a one-time deal. But you know what? And I was really like, man, he was just a little tiny kid. And I was like, you know what? You're halfway there because I was like, that's a gutsy play to come up here and knock on the door.
Yeah, I had a kind of a similar thing. It wasn't knocking on my door, but when we were practicing.
Peeping through your window?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably his buddies doing it.
But we were practicing for the AOI championship on St. Clair. And
huge event for you.
Yeah, and we were launching at the ramp. I forget what it was called. In
Bell River.
In Bell River, by the Bell River hump there. And I got off the water, and there was a young guy, probably 12, 13 years old, and he came running up. He's like, "Man, I've been waiting here for 3 hours for you to get off the water. I want to shake your hand." And I'm like, "Dude, hang on. Let me get you a hat. Let me get you some shirts, whatever I could find in the back of my truck."
But that's so huge to a kid.
You'll never forget that, right?
Absolutely.
But he was dedicated because he stayed another 40 minutes for me to come off the water because I was working harder to find some more. He's still waiting for me to come off just to get both signatures. So it was really cool to see.
That's
huge. Whoa, back up. I bailed him out big time.
Yeah,
you
you
cannot
did.
brag on that one.
Yeah,
I
you
floated
did.
around St. Clair for 7 hours.
So did you guys, as youngsters, go back to your kid years when you were fishing? Who were your idols?
Well, I was going to mention that before. Like, people say, oh, like, some people want to beat the best, some people don't. We always wanted to beat the best. And when we were going to tournament at that time, it was Bob Azumi, Wayne Azumi, Rocky Crawford and stuff. And you may not beat them very often, but when you did, you did something, right?
deal.
Yeah, it was an accomplishment. You might not have won, but hey, I beat Azumi, and you kind of.
There's something special about Bob. I don't get nervous to talk to very many people, but when I see that Bob's calling, I always still get nervous.
I call him my little short-peckered friend.
I always get excited. Yeah, I always get excited to talk to Bob.
So how does it feel now being the Bob Azumi, the Rocky Crawford of the tournament?
I don't think about it too much, to be honest. I just kind of do my own thing.
But do you know that? Do you really like?
Not really.
No.
Honestly, no.
Really?
No, we're pretty laid back about it. We like to fish and we go fishing,
and
that's our thing.
We love the tournaments. Like, I don't think I'd fish near as much if it wasn't for tournaments. I just
like
wanna
we're addicted to competitive fishing.
And you guys are a hardcore 5-fish limit, put them in the boat, take them to the scale kind of boys, right?
That's all we've ever known.
That's all we've ever known. It's I'm sure MLF does their thing and does the most fish or whatever it is. And I mean, I get that. I mean, I could see where guys would like that, but it's just not my cup of tea. And for some guys it is. But
so would that totally change your style of fishing if you had to?
100%. I throw a lot more. What do you call them? Dingers?
That's right.
Yeah.
You know
like,
it.
people have asked me, like, on the St. Lawrence, like, there's a big tournament coming up. It's going to be an MLF style. Like, what would you do? I'm like, I don't even know. When I fish there, I get 7 or 8 bites if I'm lucky, but they're usually all over 4 pounds. I'm like, I wouldn't do well in that style tournament. So you have to change your game plan a lot.
100% you would.
Yeah.
Even on lakes like Rice Lake, Tri Lakes, we don't catch many fish. Like, you're only getting 7, 8 bites. Used to get a lot more. Like,
why do you think it's changing? You like
pressure.
Scugog's terrible now. Scugog used to be my favorite lake, and that lake is just about ruined.
They need to pull the plug on that lake.
Yeah.
Trainer.
But they're like that Curve Lake tournament back, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. There was one tournament we had, I don't know, probably 30 fish before.
We kind of got this thing actually with Greg McIntyre. You guys know.
Yeah.
He always fishes that one, and there's a couple other guys.
He shot a nice buck the other day.
He did. Yeah, my arms are still sore from pulling it out.
Oh.
It wasn't that heavy though. It wasn't that big.
Really?
No,
It was a small
nice one,
body.
kidding you. But we caught like 20-something pounds by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we're sending pictures, like letting fish
That's
go,
funny.
and Greg lost his mind.
Yeah, no doubt.
He freaked right out. So now it's became an annual thing where he's sending us pictures, and
That's
it makes
funny.
it fun, right? Like
Absolutely.
it's a
If
fun
you can't rib your buddies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what it's
Especially a
all
tournament
about.
like that. It's fun. You go, you have a beer after. And have
Like, don't worry. After this, we're going to be sending you pictures.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're going to be sending.
Yeah.
Well, we followed the whole year. We before the season started, we started the bet.
Yeah, we did.
Let's get into this.
Are we doing this?
We're getting
we
into
are.
this. So we had a bet who was going to finish higher in the AOI points.
You guys heard about this bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard of it.
Well, we did because I was texting Cory to pick the game up at points, and at the beginning of the year I was a little nervous, right?
Slow start.
Shaky. the
Right?
second
Yeah.
I had a full-
Greg and I had a full meeting at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show about Team Cory and how we need to turn this around. I even suggested that Chris got him off the paychecks.
Buddy, I had a life
Right?
size
Like,
picture.
this is what it takes.
I'd go home and I'd high five it every time.
We were leading everything.
Chris was in the lead at the beginning, and then you found a gear somewhere.
What would make you pick him?
Because
He picked fruit up.
Whoa, no.
No.
The last 3 years, I have beat him. So it was.
Well, that came into my thinking too.
This is it.
We've already established I'm a better dresser, better not tired,
But not a better angler.
and better angler,
Better singer.
No,
Better
never-
singer?
Better
never been a
barbecuer?
better angler.
better drinker.
Better tire.
So this played into it. You had a good run, and I thought, "There's no. This is Cory. He solid run." And I was like, I knew Cory from river fishing and everything, and I was like, we had this discussion. I said, Cory is the most competitive guy I know. There is no way he's going to the Elite Series to let his little brother beat him.
Not a chance.
It got a little scary. So it got It was close. Now, it got so intense on our side that when you were on the St. Lawrence, I got a text message that the engine broke down, because I'm keeping track in my head points, right? Like I know we need.
We are
like it was like
each other.
So I'm filming. I get a text message that your motor broke down. I get a text message that you got a new boat. And then Greg sent me a picture, and he says, Cory's holding his trolling motor. It's not looking so hot.
That was crazy.
It's too bad that new boat didn't come with a watch.
I was just gonna say, it's too bad he can't tell time. It's really too bad.
That one stung.
Yeah, no doubt.
That one stung.
Was that the deepest cut for the whole season?
Absolutely.
Ever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Because that literally cost you the Angler of the Year. I'm going to put that out there. That's what did
that
it.
cost me the Angler of the Year, and it potentially cost me winning that tournament. Because
Right.
I was on him like.
So you're talking $200,000 American.
Yeah.
Which is what, Canadian? Like $1 million?
Pretty
Close?
Yeah.
Close.
Right? It's a house.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
So it was so
small
bad.
house.
I heard Zona went in your boat.
Half your brother's house.
got permission to help you try to hand screw it in.
Zona said there'll be a day when he's gonna play that footage, and it's a mess. Like
Really?
Like it's a debacle.
Now, was this boat you borrowed your friend?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have their troll motor boat at all?
So I'm blaming Frank Jansen and Ernie Jansen for this.
Oh! Are they still your friends?
I hate them. But so let me tell you the story. So it was the Thousand Islands Open.
Yeah.
Previously, their boat broke down. So McMillan gets him a boat.
Yeah.
Says, here, borrow our boat, no problem.
They were going back at the tournament. And this McMillan,
Yeah.
nice guy, said,
Bob
"Spare
McMillan, shout out to him, because that guy is one of
He's a beauty.
He's a good dude. He'll
He's
do
a
anything
beauty.
for you. And I feel bad because he didn't know. Like, he wouldn't have gave me that boat, or he wouldn't have let that problem sit there.
Jansen's ran the boat for
Anyway.
Thousand Islands Open and didn't put a nut on the trolling motor or whatever. So they used it, and McMillan, he just put it in his driveway and never
So
did
it was Bob's boat?
Yes, Jansen's didn't know that there was an issue.
Yeah.
Like, they just drove it back, and it must have happened on the way back to weigh-in. So Bob didn't know that there was a problem with the boat. So when I call him in a panic, I'm like, dude, I need your Bass Cat. And he had a Ranger 522D sitting there beside it. And he's like, I'll bring the Ranger. I'm like, no, dude, it has to be a bass boat. Like, you need to bring me the Bass Cat.
Oh, you suck.
So he backs up to it, drives it out there, fills it up with gas, deletes all the waypoints out of it when he gets there, and
Yeah, because that's huge, right?
yeah, has to be done.
could've
Like,
been- you
I'm
could've
talking
been
to Trip on the
disqualified.
phone, and my marshal's like making sure that everything's deleted, fish are switched over, live wells checked,
And in deleting those waypoints, it resets the entire graph, which puts you back on Chinese time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
No
Exactly.
daylight saving.
And
You
the
came
worst
in on
part
what,
was-
Tuesday?
It was the worst part was when it reset, it was 1 hour, so it's not like I know.
Yeah.
I got so much going
Yeah,
on
I got
that-
you. It wasn't like enough that you were like, there's something wrong
No,
here.
and the worst part about it was I remember driving up the lake and thinking, check your phone. And I never did.
But when the sun set and then
there was no-
rised again.
And there was no other
Right.
boats.
So
There was no other boats driving down the
Right.
St. Lawrence River. Like, oh no.
Wow, it's a starry afternoon.
dude, and it was
They're on fire right now.
shooting stars. Like,
So it was almost 8 o'clock at night.
like it was bad, and I mean, Zona's helped me fix the boat.
So how are the rules for that? Somebody else can help you fix the boat?
We had to call Trip,
Yeah.
and Trip said like it was kind of an emergency situation,
Absolutely.
and with the current and everything. So Trip's like, yeah, go ahead, help him do what you need to do.
And now for those who
I got
don't
that
know-
in a text message too. Zona's in his boat, so I'm trying to film and be in a good mood on video, but in between this, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, we're not losing like this.
I'm like,
yeah, he's texting me updates.
we were
and I'm
looking
like,
good,
oh my, what do you mean Zona's in his boat?
Yeah. And so how fast is the current down there?
It's
Why
like
are you trying to do
it's like 2-3 mile an hour. Like it's pumping.
It's the
Yeah.
wind that kills you.
and it's the wind too, right? Like it wasn't calm, and so I
And you didn't take the 22D?
no, I couldn't. It had to be a bass boat. It has to be as close to your boat as you can get it. It can't be all.
I
right?
got
So
you. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a tournament rule.
So it wasn't a choice. It was a requirement.
It was a requirement.
Okay, so you don't-
Long story short, I'm in the boat. Zona's in my boat. and we're in like 14 feet of water. And I look down, I go, oh God. I go, Zona, don't move. He goes, oh God. It's a big one. Like, it's a big black one, right? And he's like looking over the side, and I like throw out to it with the tube. Comes right over, eats it. I set the hook and break it off. And like I had some bad words. And Zona's just like, oh God. Like, you know how excited I was, right? So I grab my drop shot and I pick it up, and it wraps around another rod, and I like freaked out. Like had a huge wig out. Zona's like, just relax, man. And I untangle it and I throw over to it, and it comes right over, eats it, and I catch the fish that I just broke off, and it was like a 5-pounder.
Nice.
So, you know, that was all good. And the last thing that Zona said to me, he goes, dude, just, you're good, relax, just make it back to weigh in on time.
Oh, no!
They're like, we got to get out of here to get back. And like, at that time, I looked at the graph, I'm like, oh, I got like 3 hours. So I like fish
3 hours. Oh.
I fish around. I go get gas. I'm like idling over spots. You know, I get to the bridge.
You're looking for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, because I got like 22 and a half pounds. So I'm like, I got so much time. I get to the bridge, and it's like 1 boat goes by, 2 boats goes by, 3 boats goes by, and I'm like, this isn't good. Like something. I look at my phone. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, instant panic, pulled the trolling motor up, it had 1 bolt on it, and I drove that Bass Cat as fast as I could drive it to the check-in.
How was your scrutineer?
Scared to death. Scared to death.
I'm never going in with that guy again.
Oh my God.
That trolling motor was held on by 1 bolt, and if it came off, someone was dying.
Wow.
But,
That's crazy.
yeah.
So did Santa bring you a Garmin watch for Christmas?
You know he did. I got one for each hand.
Awesome. Ankle?
bracelets, everything.
Yeah.
There you go.
I once fished, and speaking, this just came to my mind. I fished a tournament with a co-angler, and we were in a big rush, and I put the net down and put the strap over it, and we were flying down the Autonomy River, and the strap came off, and in my head, slow motion, the net came up, and this bugger reached up and grabbed it and pulled it down at full, like,
Pretty good.
as soon as it flipped up, I was like, I saw it in slow motion, and it came back at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and he like matrixed it, grabbed the net, and pulled her in.
I'm that good.
So, Sean, before we have a break, hopefully you guys are going to stick around after the break.
Absolutely, yeah.
You guys will keep going. We'll bring the other one in here. We got a plan. Don't worry, we brought
we
a
got all
plan.
night. We'll be here.
Sean, I think you have you owe Mark and I something, and I think that you need to ask
Yeah,
Cory
Sean, take care of it.
as part of the bet.
Amber tube, please. Amber tube.
So, as part of the bet,
I'd be embarrassed trying to get his signature
the,
too, though.
the,
No, I don't blame
the
you.
bet
Chris
was
has a hard time spelling his name, so we'll
is
be
that if Chris, you would have won, Mark and I would have had to get you to sign our
That's what it
shirts for
should have
them.
been, right? Yeah.
It didn't work out that
Not
way.
this year.
really
He tried to
easy.
get me. He was
Next
like,
year.
he won, you lose, go to his house, look
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there.
yeah, I know.
Hey,
Some
that's
of
what I
us was-
thought was coming.
I was bringing like a camera crew and
Absolutely.
everything. Yeah.
That's what I thought was coming.
And then, yeah.
Well, you had to wait for sure.
Like, he's a hunter. He'll peg me at 28 yards.
No. So I never even thought about that. But the bet ended.
Garmin's
We
011
won.
right on you.
The next episode, he gets Melton. And he was like, I wish we had something else. And I was like, I bet you Cory shoots a bigger buck than Chris. Like, right down. And so I'm a double winner.
Last year I shot a
killing me,
giant.
bro.
Yeah.
You're killing me.
Hey, I saved one for next year, though.
There you go.
I saved
There you
him.
go.
I even gave Chris a 2-day head start on me this year.
He did. Greg and I talked about
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, we did. Chris, what happened?
A 2-day head start?
This should be motivation. Next year, you should win every Elite Series
I
event.
plan on it.
A two-day head start hunting.
He will never hear the end of it.
I was on power pole doing my thing down there, doing a little saltwater fishing, product knowledge, and Chris was hunting.
And
for
speaking
nothing.
of that, those cell cameras, opening morning, that buck that he shot was at the stand where I wanted to sit, but the wind was wrong. I couldn't go in there. I would
Not my problem.
Yeah, that's the
Not
game.
But
That's
that's
the
part of the game. Because I was going in there because that's the one buck we wanted
So
to
do you
shoot.
guys like paper, rock, scissors, or do you go
No,
every
it's
other
usually-
year?
It's usually like every other sit.
Or
if
who
I-
crushed
I got
each
you.
other?
Yeah.
Chris is the last one out of bed.
I'll call my spot
we
the
had
night
like
before.
team meeting in the garage, right?
Right.
So, you know, we all
Yeah,
pick
yeah,
one
yeah.
way the
You
wind's
gotta-
blowing.
yeah.
You know, someone goes here, someone goes here, and it's, you know, all over the place. And Chris is usually the last one there. So
I'll call my spot before. I have seniority.
Okay, Sean, before we have a break, I think you have something to ask Cory.
you can get down on one knee.
I just want to point out that somebody said that Sean looks at Cory like Ian looks at Bass.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'd be worried.
Hashtag bromance.
I gotta ask him for his name on a shirt here.
Sorry, Sean.
And dinner.
I'd like mine signed on the crest on the sunglasses.
On the Masturbator shirt.
Yeah.
So,
We got hooked up by the boys.
So we're going in here, Masturbators.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did this all start?
You guys
This is
gotta
a funny
be.
story. This
You
is a funny
guys
story.
gotta be close with this asshole.
Yeah. he is the king of assholes.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
Yeah.
They call him Gator. He'll appreciate this because he'll get a shout
Cheapest
out.
prick.
Yeah.
He's the cheapest guy we know.
That's why they're cotton.
All right, so for those who don't know, go to check out Masturbator
On Instagram.
Right?
Yeah.
So his name's Gator?
No,
Yeah.
well, I'm not gonna spill his real name because he's like he tries to be all cool and hide his face. Like he's a super loser. But anyway, we'll let him flow with it.
I like the videos where you can hear Greg's voice at the beginning.
God.
When he's running the camera and you can just like kind of, you know what I mean? Like, okay, go.
So I'll
He's
give,
not
I'll
the
give you
smartest
kind
guy
of the
either.
backstory of this. So we have a group chat that started out with probably 6, 10, 12 of us, and through the years it's grown, and there's Cody Meyer, there's Gussie, a bunch of us, and a bunch of our
If Fighter
friends.
would get an iPhone, he'd be in it, but he won't get all the time.
Yeah, Fighter won't get an iPhone, but
Anyways, a bunch of our buddies, we
Yep.
all shoot the shit, and one of the buddies, we had this group chat, and there's always names floating around.
Gator.
Gator.
Yeah.
Name the group chat Masturbators.
No, I think it was
Might have been
Doe.
Doe?
Doe named the group Masturbators, and it just stuck. So
Yeah.
someone thought that was pretty creative, and then Gator thought, "Oh, I don't have Instagram, so I need to put up Instagram, so I'll use Masturbator's name." And I don't know, he just keeps running with it. I don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's
Do
beauty.
you guys ever look at it?
we get the group text, and he's always asking me, "Can I post this? Can I post this?" So
When you're
You
doing
guys
the
let that
trailer
shit go
thing,
on?
I never laughed so hard in my life.
the what?
With the trailer, when you're undoing the trailer from the thing,
Dude,
and
that
yeah,
trailer was a bastard.
Oh my God, I never laughed so hard when I saw that.
That made me look so stupid. But it was the way. It was the way that the trailer was. Like you couldn't actually crank it around. Embarrassing, but whatever. I'm over it.
That's good, though. It shows you guys are really good sports. You're just a couple of dudes. You let this stuff get out there because this whole thing is you really want people to like you. Like we're in the social media world. We're all out there in the public eye. We put ourselves out there. You know what I mean? And we're just regular people, right?
That's what you got.
Nobody's perfect. Have you guys seen when I just about flipped out of the boat on a fishing net and a Yeti cooler?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That's my
My
screensaver.
favorite.
Listen, I'm at the back of the boat.
Yep.
Right, I turn the camera on. I go to the front. He likes to take the Yeti cooler that we use and put stuff under it, so it's not flat. Screw you.
I
Right?
like where your head's at.
Right? So I step on the cooler. I do one of these, and my next step in my flip flop, I catch the net. I flip the net like over my head.
True story.
And I land in the front of the boat perfectly, and he can't even breathe.
You come out of that smelling like a rose.
Yeah, that's what you can hear that in the video. You come out of that smelling like a rose. But when we have the break, I'll show you the video. It is priceless.
And in my head, I'm thinking that's would have been way funnier.
I got a couple funny stories about Gator.
Yeah.
Anyways, you guys gotta sign your.
Yeah, sign my shirt.
I thought we were getting away from that.
No.
We can talk about this after.
Yeah. Corey, you sign our shirts.
Hey, just wait. Turn around. I wanted to sign it on your back.
All right.
Are we doing this right
We're
now?
doing this right now.
With a black shirt or a black Sharpie on.
Yeah, I would like it on. I would like mine on the sunglasses.
Put it on the white.
Yeah, please.
Put it on the white.
I'm gonna hang it up on the new
Where's
studio
your
wall.
silver Sharpie?
No, we're going on the sunglasses on the
okay.
white.
So, or here, whatever.
Do you want me to
Yeah,
sign
we're-
your chest?
Turn it around.
Got rid.
Oh God!
The bromance.
You got one?
Oh, he's got.
What are you doing?
He's got the woo. He's got the fighter on, don't you?
Going for
Do
the
you?
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Oh, baby! Whoa! There it is.
All right, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
You're going on the face side.
Yeah, I'd like to go face side. I'm gonna hang it up in the studio. Yeah.
Face side.
Where do you want it? Like on the floor?
Chris, if you work really hard next year, this could be you.
I want to see if Corey can actually. I want to see if he
On the
actually
glasses.
spell his name.
Or stays in the lines.
If you draw a penis somewhere,
Yeah, that would be great.
awesome. Greg Digger on the penis.
I really appreciate this, Corey. Good work this year.
You have no idea how much this stings right
It's
now.
No doubt.
It's embarrassing.
It's quite therapeutic. For
If you're going to be mad
Thanks
at
for taking
if you're
one
going to be
for the
mad
team,
at anybody,
Sean.
be mad
Yeah,
at
it's my
Grant.
fault. Sorry. Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
That's on you.
It won't happen again.
We are going to take ourselves a couple-minute break, and we will be right back.
There for you too.
We got a ton more. Sean McCall, you're going to give away a Daiwa reel.
Yeah,
aren't you?
we got a crazy giveaway. We're going to give away this
Thanks,
Daiwa
Cory.
reel, and I'll
Appreciate
tell you
that.
something.
Oh, yeah.
When you get this Daiwa reel in the mail, it's going to blow your mind.
We will be right back. Don't leave. Mike Carnegie is a financial advisor at Northstone Well, providing insurance solutions to protect you and your family. Investment solutions for all your needs, like your kids' education and your retirement. Get good advice from a good guy and also a fellow angler and trusted member of the Fear-Fishing family.
Hi, I'm Mike Carnegie. If you want a little direction, give me a shout. 905-925-0663. See you on the water.
How did the Jack Links people find me? Look at this. Look at all the Jack Links. Just arrived on the water, loaded up for the rest of summer. Cases and cases of Jack Links beef jerky. I think we're ready for a little fall fishing. Nothing better than jerky and fishing. Made it to deer camp. Absolutely crazy how warm it is for December 27th. Still way above seasonal temperatures. First thing we're going to do is shoot the bow a little just to make sure it's sighted in. I haven't shot my bow in at least 2 weeks. So we just want to make sure it's still sighted in and that we're good to go. So let's fire a couple shots here and make sure we're still in the game. See if that's in there. First shot was deadly. Second one was off a little. Couple more shots. We'll make sure we're in. Those are right in the money shot. Beautiful. Always good to shoot your bow a couple times. If you haven't been shooting in a while, it really makes a big difference. You owe it to the animal to make sure that you're on point. I'm excited to get out in the tree stand. It's been a while. Hopefully this is either going to be amazing. I checked the trail cam and it's been lit up over the last few days, or I may cry when I get there. So we got to get dressed. Still ultra warm out. We got to get in the woods. Fingers crossed. Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do if there's no deer on that camera at all. So fingers crossed.
Pepper! Pepper! What are you doing? Pepper! Pepper!
Pepper is in the house. Leaf game is just about to start. 2 does, 2 fawns tonight. Still no bucks on that pesky trail cam. But, in other cool news, so I told you guys on the last vlog how we were redoing the FearFishing Experiment studio. Well, last night on the way home from my mom's house for Christmas, Amber and I pulled the hammer and bought ourselves a new TV for the living room. We got ourselves a 55-inch Sharp TV. This one is going in the bedroom for Amber and I, and the one in the bedroom is going downstairs to help with the studio so that I can edit on a bigger screen. Hi, Pepper. If I didn't tell anybody in the last vlog, this is Pepper. This is Mark Hunter's dog. Mark is in Florida. Pepper is hanging out. She's a little upset about the camera, but Pepper and I are becoming buddies, becoming friends. So I'm going to make some dinner, Pepper. We are going to wait for Miss Amber to come home. Amber and her mom are such beauties. They went back to the store because last night we had a full car, and they're picking up the TV to bring it home. Our girls are eating. Billy, there's the chillster, and I'm just waiting for the lovely Amber to return. Oh, Christmas was good to Mama and Papa. We are back. It is Saturday morning. I have been watching the World Juniors with the puppies. Last night we got the new TV in. We got everything switched back around to how it used to be. With the great help from Amber. But now we've just been hanging out watching hockey. Let me know in the comments, are you a huge fan of the World Junior Tournament? Ever since I was a kid, I used to play a lot of hockey when I was younger. I've been a gigantic fan of the World Junior Tournament. I watch it every year. Right now I'm watching the Germans beat up on the Czechs with Miss Pepper. She's been really good this morning. Today's plan, we're going to the deer stand, but we're going to go in a little later because I believe at 12:30 the Team Canada game is happening, so we're going to watch a bit of that. Then we're going to hit the stand. I'm really hoping that a buck's going to show up. I'm not sure what stand I'm going to sit in today, but life choices need to be made, Jelly. We're running out of time. We need one. We're really hoping one just comes strolling through. Pep, you like the camera? You like being on camera? So that's what we're up to this morning. Amber's at work. Bailey is having a nap. Let me know. Big fan of the World Juniors? Or would you be hunting right now?
To watch, not just in the way that Russia has dominated, but also because Canada looks so good against the Americans. It doesn't look remotely like the same team.
We are a little depressed. a little sad and a little late. Team Canada World Juniors game is not going to plan. I stuck around. I'm late to the stand. I'm not even going to be able to sit that long. But it is 6-0 Russia. I'm leaving at the beginning of the third period because I can't take anymore. I thought maybe we were going to get one of those comebacks that it would be worth missing deer hunting over. But it seems as though the miracle of having a giant buck show up tonight is about the same chances as the Team Canada coming back from a 6-0 deficit in the third period. Goes to show, though, how tight international hockey is getting. The Russians lost to the Czech Republic. The Russians are beating Canada. This morning, Germany beat the Czech Republic. It's tight. And we beat the Americans. So Germany's in this. Can you believe that? 10 years ago, that would have been something nobody ever said. Again, we are late. It's like 2:30. We have like 45-minute drive. Let's get north and pray on a miracle. Not only that we get to see a buck, but Team Canada comes back. It's hard on the soul losing as a hockey fan, especially at the World Juniors. That is officially a bummer. I just heard Team Canada lost 6-0 to the Russians. Who would have thought we would go down like that? Made it to the deer camp. The deer camp is further down the road. So mild out here over the last few days that, like this, it's all flooded down in deer camp, so it's too hard to put my boots on and not get soaking wet. So we're parking a little further up the hill. Right now it's 20 after 3. We're basically going to slide in.
Fishing, making moves.
We are back. Make sure if you're watching to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, get your questions in. We're going to keep the show flowing. Sean, do you got that reel?
Yeah.
No, you don't, do you?
He doesn't.
Yeah, I totally do. It's right over there by Woody.
Can you throw me that, Amber?
Yeah.
Holy jumping! So we had a break, and that's you and Cory were so in your.
I was over in the corner, kind of.
We're talking about Chris and Livesey wrestling.
Because I just got 2 signed shirts on my back.
Yeah, that should be the question. Who wins in a wrestling match between me and Livesey? Whoever answers it right gets it.
There you go. That's it. That's probably the most.
Okay, wait a second. I missed that part of the conversation.
All right.
So I'll tell the story.
We were being foolish.
We're at the Bass meeting, 3-4 weeks ago in Birmingham, Alabama.
So this is recent.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's a pretty laid back atmosphere. Everyone's kind of talking about the upcoming season and partaking in a bunch of beverages. And at one point, Polinick was there, and we got talking about wrestling, and he actually wrestles.
Yeah. He's hard into this. Yeah.
So
he's a machine.
Idaho State champion.
Really?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah. Wait till you see him in a J-string.
Yeah.
He'll come at you like a spider monkey.
I'll be run the other way.
It's over.
Chris would. He would run. He's usually runs when there's a fight.
How come you didn't wrestle Lee?
Because I would beat him up. Here we go.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Lee Livesey is no small dude.
No, he's a big dude. He's like 6'3", cowboy boots, fatty. You know,
Fatty.
He's a big Texan.
He's a big boy.
You don't miss a meal.
So we're sitting at the bar, and we got talking about me and him wrestling. I said, I would absolutely kill you. He goes, no, you wouldn't. I said, no, I would. And I go, I'll do you one better. I'll put $20 that Chris will be your.
Oh no!
I was minding my own business. Wasn't even in the conversation. Having a beer.
The fighter's sitting beside me, and he goes, I'll put 20 on Livesey. I go, all right, who else is in? Like, so there was this room down the hallway. There's a bunch of tables and chairs. So we went down the hall.
We had to get away from the public.
Cleared this whole room out, and then we let the activities begin.
And you were good enough. You were like, nobody's taking my brother's $20 because half of that $20 is mine.
Oh, no, that's all separate.
Right?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just didn't want to get sat on.
Is that the actual? What do you got there?
No, I don't think that'd be a good bet. We can show you the video, but it's indecisive who wins.
Sean,
There's no
I'm going to introduce our guest who's going to join the table. You think of a competition. What do you got there to give away?
I got a Daiwa baitcaster. It's a left-hander. We're going to give it away tonight.
Yep.
We're going to give it away. And we're going to give it away. We're going to think about that for a minute because
you got 27 seconds.
It's funny. We're going to do the bio.
We're going to do the bio.
Woody, bring in the bio.
Not ready. So you're going to buy yourself a couple more seconds to come up with a contest.
I think we'll.
How about the most amazing thing somebody's done with fishing line other than fishing?
That's a good one. Put in the comments.
How's it saved your butt?
The best thing you've done with fishing line that isn't fishing.
What about the best rumor somebody's heard about the Johnston brothers?
Well, why don't we do that? That's even better. Good one, Amber. The best
do we have
rumor.
to verify that we've heard this rumor before?
As long as one of us has heard this rumor.
All right.
Yeah, right?
All right,
As long as one of us has heard the rumor.
So to win this reel, you have to tell us.
All you got to do is tell us
rumor.
the best rumor you've heard.
There could be some
And one
good
of us
ones.
has to verify it.
And one of us has to verify that we've heard the rumor. That's a pretty good one.
Why is everybody looking at me?
You get creative.
Well, you started
I'm
most of the rumors.
All of a sudden, I got Kyle Carruthers beside me, and I am.
I was just judging you on how much whiskey went in there.
Why is somebody coming?
I was impressed. I'll be honest with you. It looks a little light to me.
Oh! They call me doubles for a reason. It's because I will drink double of what you do in the night.
No, it's because you're going to have twins, man.
That sounds like a good challenge.
Don't even do that to me.
Run the bio.
I can tie it off.
First one night.
Sean Heintzman.
Kyle Cruthers is born in Oshawa, Ontario, and since 2014 has worked in the outdoor industry with Greywood Sports, repping such companies as Under Armour, Gaiwa Canada, Garmin, Winchester. Not only is he an avid outdoorsman, but a family man and the brains behind the Peterborough Tackle Swap and Fishing Show. That's the bio. Mr. Cruthers, welcome to the show. We got to squeeze you in there at the end.
There we go. Come on over.
A little tight in here. I don't have enough room for all my hand talking I do. So
You do hand talking. You're a hand talker?
Work with me. Yeah, I got a bright light.
I feel like I got to put it in the mouth guard.
So. Someone
All
might
right.
lose some teeth.
Amber, where were you at?
Sean Heintzman just says thanks for the autograph. It was his girlfriend that you bought deer feed from.
Oh, yeah. I met them at the co-op while I was loading up on my deer feed. Signed an autograph on the checkout.
Did you sign a bag of deer feed?
No, I took the deer feed.
That's next level.
I signed the... yeah, right, that was $11.
What's the craziest thing you guys ever signed?
I don't know.
I don't
You got a good one. I see it in your eyes.
No, I don't know. I don't have
Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
Really?
No.
Wait till the end of the night.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
I think I'm getting out of here before that.
My best is a dude's chest, but it's not a good story.
Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been 2 years. You keep telling me to come and do it. Say, yeah, I'll come and do it. And then you get the A squad and make me the B squad. And
Dude, you're the
Big
headline.
Box Slayer Kyle.
so I guess you guys were my opener.
Is there any way we can put a picture of your buck up?
My freezer's full, but I don't think Chris's is.
Oh, there we go.
Or Sean's.
Wait,
I'm starving.
You shot it.
I'm just saying.
I'm not a meat hunter.
There's only 2 guys that shot bucks at this table.
Yeah, but it was only half a deer.
Take it. Hey, it all count.
Oh, that's funny.
He picked it up and put it in his pocket to bring it.
Actually, I drove my truck right to.
There you go. Enjoy your pepperette.
Kyle, you're in the industry?
I am. I work for Greywood Sporting Group full time. I've been doing it I'm going on my 6th year, believe it or not. It's been a while. So, yeah, it's been a ride. I've really enjoyed my job and the guys we work with and all the great brands we represent. So we do Daiwa Fishing, obviously, Garmin, Under Armour, Winchester Ammunition, Battenfeld, and a few other lines. So it's, yeah, I can't really complain. And I wake up every day, love my job. I travel all over the place and meet a lot of cool people like yourselves. And
Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
Cool.
That means a lot coming from you.
I just got a shirt
really
really on my
appreciate it.
back. I don't feel that cool.
all right, I don't got to do this politically correctly. We can turn this up a notch if you want.
I heard your boss is a jerk.
Which one?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Both of them.
So, not only do you do that as a full-time gig, you took over the Bowmanville Tackle Swap.
I did. So me and my wife took that over from Peter Cito last year. Kind of came together over a year of just, talking about, helping Peter out and working with him and stuff. And then we decided to kind of go full plunge into it. And it's been really cool. Like, I never really did it because it was, it's not really like a money-making thing or anything like that. I've just always wanted to kind of put something together for fishing. So in my old life before, I was really involved in motorsports, and I worked for like the Snowmobile and ATV power sports shows and a bunch of Snowmobile magazines and the Motorcycle Super Show. So I always had like trade shows in my background. And I just wanted to have like, you go to that Bowmanville show, and it was always just like so much fun. It was a lot like your guys' OBN night. Like, I just want to bring everybody together for one day in one spot. I just want to talk fishing and have a good time and be gone.
Well,
one day.
you're a networking machine, and you're not just a networking machine. You suck in so much information about product, it'll blow your mind.
I do. I don't know. It doesn't matter what it is.
Do you have a photographic memory?
I do. Very good. I remember stuff like from little kids that my friends like. How do you remember that? So
It's a good thing you remember because I don't.
Yeah.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So anyway, so like it's for big changes for this year. We ran it last year. You know, it was a stressful mess. I mean, it worked out awesome. We had a great show, even with the bad weather. We actually had an attendance record. And we're going to Peterborough this year.
Peterborough.
Yeah.
Peter Pass.
Big moves.
Big moves.
Some big moves for sure.
Well,
So-
how come you moved it?
Well, I'll be honest with you, a couple weeks before, or maybe a couple months before the show last year, we actually got a notification from the school board that we were no longer going to be able to use the school. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because it's just something we just took over. So a couple of reasons. One, we were just too big. The crowd was just too big for a facility like that for community events, as well as a church group actually rented it, and they wanted it every single Sunday. They did not want to give that weekend up. So I kind of going into the show last year, I knew we needed to make a location change. Unfortunately, that time of year, which is March, you're going up against like playoff hockey. So everybody's like, well, why didn't you keep it in Bowmanville? Why aren't you in an arena and stuff like that? But it's really not that easy, because to get the ice pad at any of those arenas, you're like $20,000 for the day.
You're going up against the Bassmaster Classic bike.
So, buddy, I'm a week after.
He's gonna have the trophy at the.
Yeah.
That's the rumor.
So, yeah, you mark my words. If one of these guys pull this off, I will be on the phone so quick with Peterborough Tourism, and there will be a parade.
A parade.
That parade will start at Peterborough Battery, and we will go right down to the Memorial Building.
I want your boss there with no shirt on.
Yeah.
We can arrange that.
Tarps off party.
Oh, we get to be in the parade now.
So
We're coming. We're coming to the parade.
Yeah,
So
we are.
I think we're flying home with the boys.
The private jet. I heard that too.
If one of us wins that, we're definitely chartering a plane home.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Kyle's paying.
If you guys,
Kyle's paying.
yeah. Well,
He
You heard
knows
it
a
here
guy.
first.
I did hear somewhere in the crowd that he knows a guy.
I mean, I can expense it.
Talk to your boss.
Yeah.
Talk to your boss.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in Peterborough, the
Yeah.
Morrow Building.
So it's, you know what? We're actually really excited about it, because when we announced it, I believe it was back in September. You know, I just announced it early, get the feel. My phone went crazy. Like, literally, people are like, get me a booth, we're coming, get me a booth, how is it? So we got some guys that, you know, they're not returning vendors because they were maybe pretty far from Windsor or something like that. It's far away to come. We got a lot of new guys coming. We're going to have over 150 booths between tables and booths to fill. And I'm pretty freaking excited about it, because it's going to be one day, fast and furious. A ton of cool people are coming. There's going to be a lot of
I
people
think
to hang out
Fast
with.
and Furious is an understatement.
Man,
It's
crazy.
going to be insane
It's
fishing
insane.
show. You're going to want to be there, because really this is the last fishing show on the planet, I think, that you can go and get a good
deal.
Yeah.
You can buy used stuff. You can buy new stuff. You can meet cool anglers.
Yeah, so there's
Like, it's got everything.
How much stuff are you guys going to have there?
Well, you know what? We talked about Cory's organization, and if we just take half the stuff that he throws out, we could probably fill half.
Tournament
those
entry
booths.
fees? Hey?
Don't judge me.
Don't judge.
It's
Boys, are you guys coming to the show?
Yeah.
You're coming to the show? Is there going to be a Peterborough Battery
We're
booth?
we're actually gonna have a booth there. We'll be around, maybe working it for Peterborough Battery, and
So your booth is going to be Peterborough Battery.
Peterborough Battery booth. We're gonna try and get a bunch of Group 31 deep cycles and whatnot in there for
Give
the
them away?
And folks at home,
You're going to give them away?
there'd have to be some sort of challenge to give them away.
Yeah.
when you guys are home, you guys are working at Peterborough Battery.
If you ask my old man, he'll have a different answer. But
Well, I've been in there to buy batteries talking to your old man, and you guys were making deliveries for him.
yeah, but it's changed a lot recently, to be honest, because we're so busy fishing.
Yeah.
It's turned into a full-time job with our kids.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gone so much when we're home.
But in the past, like,
100%.
yeah, dude, like,
And I'm still in
yeah,
there like twice a week for a couple hours a day and doing that sort of thing.
So it's a full-time, twice a week?
Yeah.
Twice a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey?
My old man said today, he goes, hey, jump in my truck. And we gotta go to the shop because you probably don't know how to get there.
Vinny just texted me and told me if it ever doesn't work out for you guys, you have a job at OK Tire.
Yeah.
I was like the king in shop class of doing tires.
No, I take a
You're
lot.
going to swap them out, eh?
Unbelievable.
Pass me an impact, Rich.
Yeah. Chris left me all
And a
alone
drop
on
shot.
the 401 with
It was a 407.
407 cars ripping by me, tires blowing up. No big deal. Just fired it off. He kept
Wasn't
going home.
stopping.
Idiot.
I get a lot of stuff fixed. I'm really hard on equipment. I take a lot of stuff to Vinny at OK Tire. I actually picked up one of my vehicles from there this morning, but if I saw you guys in there, you don't think you'd have my business. Sorry about that.
Oh, wow. So I actually got to take my truck in to get an oil change from Vinny this week.
Yeah.
So
You guys are going to be at the show. We're coming to the show. We're going to do one of these podcasts live from the show. Hopefully you guys will sit in. Maybe you can get your old man to sit in with the three of us.
Hopefully they sit in with a classic champion trophy.
That would be even better.
No pressure. I'm just saying, bring that shit to Canada, boys.
Who do you guys think is going to win the Classic?
Well,
Cory.
I hope.
Are you guys starting bets?
Yeah, I hope it's
now?
one of us, but obviously we're competitive. We each want to win, but hopefully it's one of us.
If it's not one of us, hopefully it's one of our buddies.
Yeah.
We can definitely celebrate with them.
I want to touch. I want to touch on this. You guys room with guys.
Yep.
You don't just room with guys. You work with guys.
To an extent, yeah.
Right.
Chris and I, work together, and everything's 50-50. It's our information, it's our how we go about practice. But the guys at the house, in certain instances, it's we share a lot of information, how things go. But
It's more so if a guy's struggling, you throw him a bone.
throw him a bone.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
It's not like, hey, go to this
Just say
waypoint.
throw you a bone because Gussie threw you a pretty big
Oh, yeah.
bone.
Yeah. So, yeah, like he gave me, I was having problems on that lake when my chatterbait opened up. I didn't have a heavy enough swivel, and he had the newer one. I said, do you mind get me one of those? And I ended up beating him on that bait. So, no, yeah, he threw me a bone, but I'll try to help him out too. And,
And Gussie's a beauty.
especially
Great guy,
bait. So,
right?
yeah, he'll do
Great
anything
guy.
for you. And same with the other guys, Fighter, Grove, they're all good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's worked out really well that way. And with us working together, it benefits us sometimes, but sometimes it's like he goes into pocket. He's like, hey, I found like a top 10 spot in here. He's like, don't go anywhere near this pocket. I'm like, it's 5 miles long, and I'm not allowed to go in that whole creek. So we get in some battles over that stuff, but it works in the
But
end.
that's important. You guys still sit back and talk about, hey, listen, like
for sure, and in
we
that,
got water there too, right?
right,
Yeah.
and within that creek, I'll tell them, here's the good spots. If you need to go in there, go in there. And
Yeah.
But we try not to fish for each other's fish.
Yeah. So yeah, well, like Champlain's coming up. We know all the same water on Champlain.
Yep.
Just from over the years of fishing it. So hopefully one person goes north, one person goes south, so we don't see each other. Like we don't. If you're fishing for the same fish, you're not going to probably win the tournament. If you're both fishing for those.
Exactly. But in this last year, we've seen how tight a house gets. Like you guys all rooming together, spending the whole year together.
Yep.
Right. Fighter. Are we going to call Cory in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%, and that tournament is a little different than the regular tournaments.
A lot on the line.
A lot on the line.
You have a lot on the line, but you don't have much to lose.
Yeah.
So that would have never happened in a regular tournament because Cory had a chance at winning AOY. Fighter, even if he
but
caught,
he still made the call. He's got enough respect for you. He's like, hey, I got nothing to
100%.
lose.
And
we got to make sure that my boy,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Our house,
Yeah.
we're a team.
Yep, 100%. And we talked about that before the tournament even started. And during practice, we're calling each other, and I found them out deep, so I told Fighter and Gussie and Chris, and and Fighter found that fish, the school of fish, late in the day, the first day. He called me up and said, hey, listen, I found a huge wad of them in shallow. This is where they're at, and it worked out.
And he was cranking the shit out of them.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Like every.
I would love to
there's
know how
another
many
one.
fish were down there because it was disgusting. And then
Right.
Gussie got on that pod late in the day and called Fighter over, and then they called me over, and they were all big ones. It was
Right.
just stupid.
Right. Now, after the tournament, what happens when you guys all, after the weigh-in's done and everything, and you guys all go back to the house and you're talking, and you're all just minds blown, and you've all worked together so well, and you've dominated that event? How do you guys feel about working together?
I mean, it was good, but it's not one of those tournaments where you go back to the house after. Everyone's gone home.
Really?
It's the end of the year, and Chris had already gone home. Gussie'd gone home.
Oh,
and
I was sick of floating around the middle of Lake St. Clair when he used my boat. No, but that tournament, it's the last one of the year. Everyone been on the road for a couple weeks, so you get a couple hours on the road. It's not like you go and party and have beers.
Do you guys, do you think having more anglers in the house, you're motivating each other? Like if somebody has no,
we don't share too much.
No, but I mean like if Seth does really well, does it motivate you guys to get up and like
not really.
No.
I mean, you got to have that drive. If you want to do what we do and fish at the highest level, if you don't have the drive, don't even go.
It's your own thing.
It's your own thing.
It's not like here where I don't know if you have endless amounts of day to go practice. So
Yeah.
If you want to show up the ramp at 9 o'clock, you just go fish for a couple hours. Pretty well every angler is at the boat ramp for sunup. Like, you are waiting for the sun to go up, you put your boat in the water, and you get off the water at sundown.
So do you guys
it's not
have
like
a certain time in the morning
Yeah.
before you get launched?
Yeah. So we're allowed like a half hour before sunrise. So we're in the water. Everyone's in the water at that time.
Yeah, same as hunting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, what about how many fish are you stinging during pre-fish?
Well, that all depends, but not many.
Not many?
Very few.
So largemouth to smallmouth, does it vary?
Yeah, a little bit. Like St. Clair to
more smallmouth to largemouth.
If you're fishing like a flooded lake or something and you're flipping bushes, you might stick one all day. If you're fishing Lake St. Clair and you're fishing grass, you're going to catch way more. Like, it depends. If you're fishing for specific fish, you're not stinging many at all.
And if you're fishing for groups of fish, you need to know if you're fishing for 4-pounders or if they're all pound-and-a-halfers. Like, you mark them on the graph and be like, I don't know, you got to catch one or two to see.
So do you find that this is the definite 100%? You got to sting a few. They group together in their size. Smallmouth to largemouth. More smallmouth.
No, I'd say more largemouth.
More largemouth. So you sting a couple big largemouth. That's your go-to spot. As to you go to smallmouth, you sting a couple. There may be some big ones in there.
We've got it dialed in enough with the smallmouth that you know.
It's so hard to say. It depends on each lake. Like, it's not so much the species. It's a lake. Like,
it's a lake.
When you're in St. John's, you're probably not going to stick any because you know they could be like a 7 or 8 pounder.
Yeah.
So
that could make your tournament.
If you shake off 10, 2 or 3 of those are probably going to be 5+ pounders. It really depends on the lake.
I got a question for you guys, for both you guys, from an angler side and the manufacturing kind of deal. How do you guys go about getting sponsors? How do you, like, from your side of things to yours? Like, I know how you deal with this, but
well, it's
what do you want to see, right?
Well,
like, what should an angler do, and what are you looking for?
I'm going to give a little bit of advice here. And the next person that messaged me and says, how do I get on Team Daiwa? Like, delete. There's
a ton of those. That won't work.
Dude,
it's that easy to get on Team Daiwa.
So
what if they buy you a bottle of whiskey or something?
That helps. But anyways, no. In all seriousness, I think right now I'm going to talk 2 different levels here, right? These guys are obviously a different level, so I'll let them weigh in on it. But something that like more like, myself or Greg or Graywood would kind of handle, being more regional. There's so many guys that, oh hey, like you have, like I had one guy like, hey, I really want to fish Daiwa. You have a lot of guys on your team that don't cash checks. I can beat them. Like, that's not really what we're always looking for, right? So, we're looking for a couple things like, who are you? What's your reputation? Do you fish our products now, whether it's Daiwa or Garmin or whatever one you're applying for? And why do you want to be on our team? Do you have a good relationship with a dealer? Stuff like that. It's not always about winning tournaments. Like, that's obviously one avenue. But if you're kind of looking just to get some support for the Ontario scene, winning tournaments doesn't necessarily have the weight it would, say in the elites. So.
And I think another big one for you would probably be, how can they help you sell product?
Exactly.
Well, that's what it all comes down to, is selling product. Like, I think the big misconception out there is that sponsorship's kind of a dirty word. It's more like an advertising partnership.
And I think like the biggest thing of guys need to remember, and this is not to disrespect anybody, because there is pros who are pro staff, like Canadian pros, but pro staff actually stands for promotional staff.
Sure.
And we have guys that, I will go on like record right now saying we have the best like pro staff regional team in Ontario. Like, the guys are phenomenal.
Well, there's a bunch of beauties on the pro staff.
Yeah, we are a bunch of good guys.
I wasn't talking about
you want to talk about Saturday night?
I wasn't talking
Kyle,
about
thank
you
you
three.
for like floating our boat here, but we are a bunch of good guys.
Let's wind it back in. Wasn't talking about you three. No. Actually, you're actually the perfect examples, to be honest, because we got guys that are going to promote our products in different ways. We got guys that will win tournaments. We got guys that are the first one to show up and work a dealer event or like an OBN night or something like that too. We got guys that help us at trade shows. We got guys that come in like a Dave Bairstow that helps us pack for trade shows, organize this stuff. Like if I'm gone or Greg
Diamond Dave's a beauty.
Oh, he's OCD.
Dave's in there. The whole booth set up.
Dave.
Like it's, guys like that are phenomenal. So, we get a lot of guys too that apply and they got everything you need, but we try not to take everybody, and we can't, right? So there's some guys that take it personally. So my biggest advice is if someone turns you down, don't take it personally. keep sending in your stuff, updating them of how your season's going, and there's always a chance for next year. You know, we had one guy kind of approach us a couple weeks ago, and I've known him for a few years, and he's a fantastic guy. I would love to help him. I just simply don't have room or any kind of budget like that right now. For
Mark, you're fired.
But like,
sorry, bud.
For lack of a better term. But he totally, I explained that to him, and he totally understood that, and he went out and he's bought some Daiwa product. He's going to start fishing it this year, and that goes a long way, right? To know, like, hey, I've used your product. I really want to be on your team. I think people got to remember, it's such a small industry, and we're all friends. Like, we have great respect for the guys at Shimano. You know, FearFishing, like, we all get along. We all do the same shows. And nothing's worse than when, like, you find out that guy is applied to everybody just because.
Yeah. It is very small.
I think you see that great respect, like, from our OBM night.
Yeah.
How all the different companies put their trust
Work
in
together.
us. They were like, okay, these guys are doing a good thing. We're going to put their trust in us. We're going to put our brand. We're going to give them stuff. We're going to let them represent our brand for that night. Look at all the different companies we put on that check over there, and that big check we were able to give away.
100%. And I think another big thing is that if you apply for something and somebody tells you no, it should just motivate to work harder for that they say yes. I've heard way more no's in my life than I've heard the word yes. But if you just quit, then you're like before, where you get the GoPro for Christmas and by January 15th you're done. It takes more than that to build a following, because when this comes down to it, it is about selling product for the brands that you represent.
Yeah.
Well, the no's like 90% of the time, no?
I thought you were just going with the ratio. If I ask 20 guys, if I get 2 yeses, hey, I'm doing well.
Where's the lineup for that ride?
Yeah. Hey, do we have any rumors?
We do, but they're...
You got talking to that microphone.
Sorry. We do, but people are starting their own rumors. The Johnstons.
Well, let's throw them out there.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah, they could be real.
So are we gonna let these guys confirm those, or no?
Any of us? If any of us have heard confirmed.
Okay, I'm not commenting.
I heard Chris wrote his number on the back of his new bromance brother. I think he meant Cory.
Yeah. That does happen a lot. We get mixed up with who's who, and I don't know how. He's way uglier. So.
I can't even comment on this.
Who'd win in an arm wrestle?
We could prove it.
Corey, he'd be sucking wind after 30 seconds.
If I lost in an arm wrestle, I just beat him up after.
Okay. Now
wait. If you were on skates, though.
Hold on. You got more?
Yeah, I got more.
Okay, fire a couple more out for we can confirm or deny. But I know where this is heading.
Yeah.
Best rumor was that Cory outdrinks Chris 3-1. Floating hair jig
There's
finesse.
no deny there.
Whoa! I want to hear that one.
Okay, floating hair jig finesse Carolina rig is the best rumor.
That is funny because someone, I forget who it was.
I've played with that. It didn't work.
Hey,
I did
give
try.
me eyes. Give me it. Say
Someone
it
asked
again.
me, they're like, do you throw...
I did not.
Oh!
No.
It might have been on Stray Cast, actually. It was on Stray Cast, and the guy...
Great guys, friends of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
great
like,
dudes.
dude, what's with the Carolina float and fly thing? I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. And he probably thinks I'm lying to him, but I have never heard of that ever.
Have you tried it since?
I really
played
like
around.
marabou jig
It was
fishing.
like 3 weeks
and
ago.
I tried a Carolina rig with a marabou jig and casting in deep water, casting out as far as I can,
You
and
gotta
trying
follow
to
moss?
and trying to steady retrieve it.
Oh no.
I tried drop shot in a marabou rig.
Yes, you
gotta
did.
have
You
a
did try
special
that.
kind made to drop shot. Like they got to be made special for.
Sean,
just
Sean and
throw
I
a
fished
drop
tournaments
shot bait.
together the last 2 years. I've never fished a pre-fish where he didn't show up with some ridiculous rig that he read about in the Chinese.
I seen the Johnsons were using this, and I thought we'd try it.
He'd been up for it till 3 a.m. on the dark web, and he's like, I'm gonna catch fish on this, and I'm just like,
I
go right ahead.
I do have one of those rigs in my boat, and it's for smallmouth, and I got outfished on it, and I can't even say the name of it because we just made it up.
I made it up.
No,
Don't give it a name.
no, it's inappropriate. We can't say it.
We need to hear about that after the show.
Shut down.
Just put your money in the swear jar and say the name.
No,
That is the swear jar, by the way.
no.
We owe
Anyways,
that money. We owe that swear jar a lot.
Yeah.
anyways, it's a stupid rig, but I got outfished so bad on Lake Erie on it, and it was I think
Really?
By who?
by the co-angle in the back of my boat.
Oh,
It was bad, but I went and got something.
You got any more rumors?
Yeah, I got lots.
Really?
Rumor has it Ian is going to join the Johnston brothers in the Classic. Sorry, I couldn't
Well,
stop laughing.
this isn't really a rumor, but you guys remember when you were on Ike Live?
Yeah.
They called me ahead of time to try to get some information on you guys. So I was the one who threw out there.
Did you give them the skinny?
I pretty much did. So I gave them everything I knew, and then I was like, make sure you ask Cory about early bass fishing. He'll love that. Yeah, about opening the season early. Do you remember when the carpenter asked you?
No.
No? You guys are way
Refresh my
too big.
memory.
But anyway, yeah, I was like, yeah, make sure you ask Cory if bass season in Canada should open in March. And you were totally.
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
I think our fisheries are where they're at today because we protect the spawn.
Yeah, well, we've seen it on too many lakes in the south. It's
Well, that's
great,
huge, 'cause it never-
But their whole economy thrives
Lives on bass.
on bass fishing these
Ours
areas.
doesn't.
So you can't do it, but it definitely hurts the fishery. If they shut them down for 3 months a year, they would have some of the best fisheries in the world.
They have Florida strain bass everywhere, and I mean, if you protected the spawn down there, it'd be disgusting.
But their fisheries are like they have shad. They have way more bait fish.
They have stocking.
Yeah, so if you go to a
programs,
place
they have all
like Lake
kinds of
Fork
stuff.
or
Yeah.
They're moving all the time. Where I feel like our fish, we don't have near as many fish as people think. The population, it's great, it's healthy, but there's not the numbers that you think where there's 30 fish out chasing a ball of froth.
Yeah. It isn't the same. I don't think that we should have early season on every lake. I just don't like the fact that I got to go to, if I want to fish in Ontario, that I got to go all the way to Sault Ste. Marie. There's got to be a way that we can rotate some lakes up north here. I don't think you should do it on.
It would be cool to see an ice out season till I don't know.
Yeah, I would be on, and I brought that up before too, that I would give up the whole month of June to have, March, because sometimes on the March break you got open water. If I could have March, April, and May, shut June down.
I would say shut down May, but before May, do a catch and release.
Yeah, for sure. And I like you and I have argued over the years a couple times online about this, but I didn't mean like that we should just have a free for all.
Yep.
I just want more opportunities for more people.
Yep.
Right? Like it really seems that in the fishing and hunting world, we lose more than we ever get.
That's it. So you guys go down to the States now and you're fishing pre-spawn,
Yep.
spawn. So if you had those opportunities to fish here, that kind of situation, do you think that would benefit you going down south? It would help you capitalize on a couple more W's?
No, I think it would help a lot of people 100%. We got pretty lucky going down. We learned quick on the fly, but 100% because people don't fish pre-spawn fish here.
Yeah.
What do you?
And we don't have a real crankbait season here, right?
Right. Yeah. What do you throw? When do you ever throw a rattle trap early season?
Yeah.
You don't do it. So I think it would definitely help anglers learn.
I don't think that we should ever open the series in early on Lake Ontario or Lake Simcoe.
I think a catch and release season.
I don't think that we should do that at all in those bodies of water.
No,
but I
think they're too vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
they school up too much.
Just leave them right alone.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some way within a couple-hour drive of this location that we can get some early fishing in, take some pressure out. Like, honestly, if bass was open here in March through that catch and release, I would probably hardly fish walleye or anything else.
For sure. But
it's got to be done in a smart way, though.
For sure. And one thing that I see that I don't like is in the fall time when guys are going out and those fish are catching, you're catching them at a 30, 40, 50 feet.
And you're live welling them.
You're putting them in the live well. People don't realize what damage they're actually doing to the fish.
Terrible.
Hey, but I'm getting a good picture at the end of the day, bro.
That's what I want to bring up. Me and Ian have talked about this all the time. Is like, how do you guys feel about like the live well pictures? Like, there's so many guys because of Instagram and Facebook. Like, I always like take a picture of my one fish and I put it. There's very rarely unless I'm in a tournament, I take it.
I do a lot of social media posting. I would say that 95% of my fish pictures are just screenshots off my GoPro.
Yeah.
Because I catch the fish and I try to get it back as soon as possible.
Like my wife
all the time.
Sometimes in the summertime, if I catch a big largemouth off a dock, I'll throw it under it.
For sure.
Right? But and if I get another one, I'll get the double picture. Yeah. But I always make sure that I take them back to the general area where I pulled them out, right? Like I try to get them back. But Marley and I, right at the end of the year, were out at Erie catching fish in 35 feet of water. And it is like crucially important to get those fish in and get them back.
Absolutely.
And like fall, it's more important.
Yeah.
They, from what I've heard, the research done, they spend so much energy getting to their fall spot and they have to have that reserve. If you pull them up, take them 30 miles or whatever, 10 miles away, they burn so much energy trying to get back to the spot. Most of them die anyways. So.
For sure. And you can if you put that fish in a live well, it's going to turn sideways. You got to get them back. It's just like, it's so important to get them up, get the hooks out, and just back in the water.
100%.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff. There's like miseducation, there's probably more ways to learn about this kind of stuff now through YouTube and stuff, but. For the general angler, like this is important information that we need to find a way to get to them so that they know.
For sure. And one thing that that Bass did last season on the Thousand Islands tournament, which was awesome, was made every angler take a fizzing course before the tournament.
Smart.
Oh, that's amazing.
They had a bunch of guys, if you catch a 1 or 2 pounder, bring it in. They had the live release boat there. And every guy had to fizz a fish, so they knew how to do it.
Gotcha.
And it was almost mandatory that you fizz your fish.
That's another thing.
That's amazing.
Like learning, like it's not something you want to be practicing. Like I fished fishing Lake Ontario and that stuff, but it like you got first off you got to be pretty confident because when you're going to stick them, you got to stick them.
Yep.
And but the other thing is that like the first one I ever did, I never had like a warm up. I just like watched the Queen's University video and give her shit, right?
Right. But a lot of people get in a tournament, and that's when you got to fizz it. And
in this rough water, and it's different, right?
I'll throw it in. Hopefully, it makes it to the weigh-in.
And in no way are we suggesting that you go out and fizz fish to practice.
Right.
Like that's not smart play either. But it is.
But if you're gonna fish tournaments in deep water, you probably should. If you go out and practice, box a 2 or 3 pounder, let them sit in your live well for 10 minutes, open it up, and you got time, and just watch the videos and stick it.
Yeah, it's very easy to do. Once you've done
a couple, you can do them.
It's
once
so
you've done
easy.
one, then you in the tournament, you're like, I can do that. No problem.
Yeah,
Do
for
every
sure.
one.
It just becomes second nature. Like, this Thousand Islands tournament that's coming up, like Champlain.
You guys fish
St.
a lot of
Clair.
fish, eh?
Yeah, we catch a lot of our fish deep, and I mean, in team tournaments, it's awesome because one of us goes back there, fizzes it, the other guy keeps
It's usually
fishing.
him because I'm catching him.
Here we go.
He's a net man and a fizzer.
You heard it here first.
That's not what the shirt says.
Is that a penis on your shirt?
Yeah.
Do we have any rumor updates?
Yeah, we got lots.
Keep them
Didn't
coming.
even get through half.
Get them coming.
Rumor has it the Johnsons were contemplating getting USA citizenship to save on taxes.
False.
No.
That's a good rumor.
Okay, well, we
Rumor
talked
has
about
it.
That's
we
a solid
talked about
rumor,
this
though.
before the show.
Proud to
We
be
talked
Canadian
about this
yesterday.
before the show. How you guys run your team as a business, and you bring it back here. You pay your tax. You pay your Canadian tax. Right,
Yep,
you still have your write-offs.
Yep.
It's not like you treat it as winnings. You don't bring it back here tax-free. You do your part for the Canadian economy,
For sure.
right?
Yep.
And you still put back into your government.
We
Yeah,
do.
government gets their cut. It sucks.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah,
eh?
you can't get around it.
I know they're bastards.
More
Got more?
rumors?
Yeah, more rumors. That's a good one, though.
Rumor has it the younger brother uses a longer rod.
He does have a
or
longer
use
rod,
it.
yeah.
I feel like
It said uses.
Yeah,
All right.
that's true.
Use
All
it.
right. We're pulling in the 22-incher. Throw it off.
false.
You got more?
Another rumor is that Cory and Chris almost came to blows on Lake Ontario.
Oh,
I don't
Nah.
Just
Yeah.
on Lake Ontario?
That's false.
False.
you were headed. You were headed here. You might as well go. We
I
have
got
this
a
discussion
couple
lot.
of brothers. I love my brothers. You guys got 4 years between you. My closest brother to me is 11 months and 3 weeks. Okay?
busy.
We get it on.
Yeah.
Like when it's on, let's go.
Yeah.
So
the problem with that is he's softer than a soup sandwich.
Oh. Tasty.
I got
a little bit extra toast.
I get paid to score the goals.
There you go. So my brother, the worst thing he's ever hit me with, he tried to make me eat a toaster. Okay. What's the worst thing your brother has ever hit you with?
I can't wait to hear this.
I don't even know.
Bring it out.
So hang on. Let's back up a bit to when we were kids.
Yeah,
no
this is
idea
good.
on how much shit that I got in for hitting Chris. And
Oh my God! I grew up
You
like
know,
that here.
Of all people,
Yeah,
Kyle,
my brother.
you know him better.
My
He
brother never got in
deserved
trouble
every
for
bit.
anything. He was just.
Kyle's only known me for a few years. So.
Yeah, but he knows.
My God,
he knows
like
your personality.
my brother would be like, Ian hit me. Ian
Yeah,
fucked
it would be
me,
like
Ian-
this.
oh.
You did hit him.
I did hit him.
He'd cry.
Yeah,
No.
because that's my whole life.
Because my
he hit me with
old
his
man was
vagina.
getting in
Really?
trouble.
My brother's name's Sean. Yours is Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Corey,
I feel
Corey
your pain.
deserved what he got.
Yeah. So
It's like when he wasn't
doesn't have
when he wasn't fishing his tournament on Crow Lake, he deserved it. I don't even know what it was for, but he would have
Exactly.
deserved it.
Do you
So it
remember what
wasn't
the
very
drowning was
memorable.
for?
No.
Yeah, what
Do
did
I
you get
look
drunk?
like
Your
that?
dad probably hitting Chris.
Probably hitting Chris.
Yeah.
So what's the worst thing you ever hit each other with?
Did you ever get revenge?
Probably a stick.
My brother got revenge once. I was down in this exact basement when I was a kid playing Blades of Steel on my Nintendo. My brother came downstairs, looked at me, kicked the Nintendo. Right? I gave him about a 3-second head start because I was a fair brother before I killed him. I ran up these stairs, I ran down the hallway, and he had got into his bed behind the door, and as soon as I put my foot over the door, he kicked the door shut, knocked me out cold.
That's funny.
That's the only time he ever beat me at anything.
Yeah, but you know,
That's a good one.
I never even got the hands up. I ate her right in the face, bloody nose. He's pretty proud of himself.
Only time I've ever been knocked out, my buddy hit me in the leg, gave me a Charlie horse, knocked me out cold, buddy.
Really?
I ate her.
Wow.
I
So-
ate her. And I could take it. You give me
Chris,
one right
did you
now, I'll
ever
take
get
it.
your revenge?
For what?
For all the times your
For
brother
life.
beat you up. Is there that one time where you got the better of him?
Oh, fishing all the time. I bring it up constantly. I got the biggest buck. I got more
go.
tournament
Here we
wins.
go.
So biggest buck. How big is your biggest?
173 it scored.
Woo. Points?
That's a big.
15.
15.
Yeah, that was a good one. I got
Wow,
it at
non-typical?
17.
was a big one.
Yeah.
I can't argue it.
Yeah. So.
Giant, eh?
Giant.
And were you both after that same buck that year?
No, that was before cameras
This,
and all that
this is a
stuff.
long
Really?
time ago.
Yeah.
My buddy, well, one of my good buddies, was we were hunting this spot, and he goes, "Dude, I seen like a giant." And he tells the odd story. And I'm
be a
like,
fisherman.
He may not know what a big buck
I'm
is.
like,
Yeah.
all right. And this is going back what?
I was 7, so probably 12 years ago, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
We were bow hunting,
You got a shoulder?
and
what's
Is
that?
it shoulder mounted?
Yeah.
so yeah. So anyway, he's like, I seen this giant. It was like a 15 pointer, 16 pointer, whatever. It was like 30 yards behind me. Couldn't get a shot, and I'm thinking like, it's probably a good one, but it wasn't what he's telling me,
Yeah.
right?
A duker. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
so
got
To be
you.
honest, he told
Yeah.
us about it. We're like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
We didn't hunt it that hard.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a 5-pounder you
Yeah.
seen underneath
Yeah.
that dock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he saw it
We've all been there.
through the brush. It was behind me. It was making noise. I saw like a bunch of points. It was a big one. This is like 2 months before. Anyways, I was done hockey one day. I went at like 3 o'clock, sat in the stand, and this giant walked out. It was, and back then, like,
Early, too?
Tell him how he called it in.
no, I don't want to tell my secrets. So like I was young, so
We already heard you throw a dinger.
yeah. So come on. It was after shotgun. It might have been after muzzleloader or in between, whatever.
Just turn the rut.
Yeah. So this buck comes out like 10 minutes before light, and I see it 200 yards away. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting this deer in front of me in time. So I grunt at it, can't hear me. I keep grunting. All of a sudden, it looks up, and it just starts heading towards me. I'm like, perfect. It walks around the edge of the field, comes to like 70 yards, goes back in the bush. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm running at a light. I'm panicking. I'm like, and I can't tell how big it is because I'm losing light. I'm like, it's a good one. So it goes in the woods. I call, nothing. I can hear it kind of walking around. I get a doe bleed out, nothing. So I got a bunch of tree branches behind me. I start cracking, breaking tree branches. Like there's a deer.
Yeah.
That's some of the best. That's some of the best actually deer technique you could use.
100%.
So I start cracking these branches. I sit there. All of a sudden, it's here, and it just runs literally right out, right on the fence line I was sitting on, 10 feet in front of me, and it was all over.
That's awesome.
With a bow?
That's a great story.
It was a crossbow.
I think I got the
deal.
winner.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, you got something good?
I got something great.
Let's hear her.
Sean Heitzman says, rumor has it Amber catches more fish than all the boys put together.
Wow.
That's a false rumor.
It's not a rumor.
It's a false rumor.
I totally catch more walleye than you.
That's false.
More than me.
Well, that's not hard, Mark.
Yeah.
We got to have a winner soon.
No, we can go all night.
Rumor has it that the Johnston boys have a new motor sponsor.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Was that one of
What
the
are,
rumors?
what are we running this year?
Yeah.
We're running some Mercuries this year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We're really excited
Big
about
ones?
it.
Big ones?
Big?
Nothing but
Does
big.
that mean Sean wins the reel?
No.
No,
absolutely
no, no, no.
Looking forward to keeping that real.
No, we
He's trying hard.
we've been very fortunate this off season. Actually, throughout the year, we've picked up a couple new sponsors, and we're really looking forward to working with some of them. We can't release some of them yet, but
So you got some secrets.
next couple weeks, we gotta get better at our social media, and they're gonna do some releases, and we're gonna kind of do them joint and stuff. And
So that's the thing. Now you guys are Elite Series anglers. Have you noticed that you have to do more on the social media public aspect of it all?
I wouldn't say because we're elite anglers. That's kind of on us. For
No, you're Elite Series anglers, boys. Wow.
no, what
Yeah,
he's saying is you have to do it. You should do it regardless.
Like I hate computers. I suck at social media. So my wife's like, she's kind of on it a bit, and we've been slacking with the little guy and stuff. But we definitely need to step our game up on the social media standpoint just for our sponsors, because I mean they're so good to us, and we need to do a better job at helping them out more.
And it goes back to Kyle's thing, and this is one of the things I want to bring up. Like, young anglers have social media as a tool now.
Yeah.
Every sponsor we go and talk to, the first thing they ask is, what are your social media numbers like? Whether it's YouTube, anything. And you don't have to be a pro to have a social media following. So even if you're not looking to go pro in the next 10 years, start it now. Do your little clips, whatever you do, and if you get 5,000 followers, that's something to start on.
For sure. In all the meetings I've ever taken, not one person's asked me about my tournament stats.
Yeah.
All they've asked about how big's your following.
Yeah.
How many watch minutes you have on YouTube, and that's it.
And
that's
you
what
guys find that kind of learning curve, because you came into this so many years ago. Even though you're so young, you've already been in the game for 20 years.
Yeah, but when you guys started, there was no social media at all.
No, and that's kind of why we've snuck by with lacking on our social media, because we have the numbers for tournaments and whatnot. And we're young, but like Chris said earlier, we've been around the game a long time. So we've kind of piggybacked that, and now it's coming to the point where it's social media numbers. It's
it's a big part of it. They get the extra
100%.
Right.
That's what you say. If we want to go to the next level, and with sponsored dollars and stuff, we have to have those numbers for them.
I was in buying batteries from your old man one time, and he was like, "Boy, I wish the boys could talk like you." And I said, "Boy, I wish I could fish like that."
Right?
So
but another thing to add to that I was astonished by is we fished FLW. We made good money. We're like, I always heard the saying, if you want to get rich, fish bass. You want to fish for a living, fish FLW. And whatever. Like, bass had more entry fees. There's more expensive.
Make sense.
If you want to.
It makes sense.
Sorry, if you want to be famous, fish bass.
Yeah. I got you.
Sorry, that's what it was.
That's why I'm the smarter one.
Yeah.
Another one for Cory.
SMRT.
It's just a rumor.
But Kyle knows better. But we made good money, and sponsors, you had to work for it. And I was kind of astonished when we went to Bass, the new sponsors that were kind of knocking at your door.
Yeah.
There's so much more publicity over there, and we get to piggyback some of their numbers from when we go to meetings for sponsors, their live numbers, and
for sure,
all of a sudden you're getting into millions of viewers, whereas we never had that before. And
right, you guys were a little bit overwhelmed at the start too. Like when you first went to Bass, all of a sudden you were like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Well, these guys treat us like rock stars.
And the first weigh-in, there was 4,000 to 5,000 people at the first weigh-in.
That's crazy.
It was all of a sudden you're like, unbelievable how many people were at the St. John's River for the first tournament. Like, it's like,
how does that make you feel?
Man, it's incredible.
Like, you've done something.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it is. Like, it's a first tournament of the year.
Like, it's all worth it, eh?
100%. Like, when you get up on stage, it's that moment when you're like, I've done it.
Wait till you guys roll out into that classic arena and you see that sea of red and white.
Can't wait.
Oh, man. Canadian flags are going to be...
So any more pressure? Like, look at World Juniors yesterday. Like, Canada felt like we won. Like, there's so many people rooting for you. Is there any more pressure? No,
100%.
100%. I definitely felt more pressure on the St. Lawrence. Like, St. John's, I was having fun. I wanted to win stuff. But the St. Lawrence, I felt like
home.
Like, this is
the closest it's ever going to be.
Everyone's expecting me to win this. Everyone was there, and I felt way more pressure there. And with the Classic, it'll be more because I know of so many people that are already going down.
We're going.
They're going to be I want to have a whole bag full of them in the live well to take up on the stage. Yeah. So you don't want to disappoint people.
No, for you,
At the same time, like my first Forest Wood Cup, the second day, I don't think I weighed a bass in. And
You weighed one fish over 2 days.
yeah, and it was.
How'd you end up?
It's tough though, right?
Is that humbling?
Well, let me tell you- let me
is
tell you the
humble.
story to back me up a bit. So, I race. What's his name?
Michael Neal.
Michael Neal to a spot. He pulls in right before me, and the fish were loaded there.
Yeah.
And
Corey, let me back up. This is how smart Corey is. He races down. Michael Neal had a bullet. It does like 90 miles an hour. He passes Corey, goes to the spot. It's a point. It's a point. And Michael Neal's fishing. Corey pulls up, and he goes, "Can I work with you on this point?" He goes, "No, beat it." Corey's like, "Well, you know I'm gonna beat you tomorrow. It's the same rules." He's like, "No, you're not. I just passed you driving down. I'm gonna beat you again tomorrow." I said, "No, beat
he
it."
never said no, you're not. But after I was like thinking about it, and I was like kind of chirping him a bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a total idiot.
You definitely said I'm gonna beat you
Oh, I
tomorrow.
totally
with the same
did.
thing.
Absolutely, I did.
Those are fast boats. I remember one time, my Stratus is a pretty fast boat.
I
and
should
it
have just
shook-
fought him.
Right? Yeah, because I can
I
remember.
think they should allow fighting and fishing.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
The radio.
Whoa.
Canadian fishing.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Can't
once
hear you listen. CSFL Fight Club.
I once had somebody.
I like it.
We were
don't
catching
talk about
smallmouth, Marley and I. Really good. I watched somebody pull the trolling motor up and drive down the lake, maybe 150 yards, and stop right in front of me, cast their line within casting distance of me, and I threw a rod at them like a spear. And then I tried to board their boat. Marley had to restrain me.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like, Marley's the quietest, nicest guy in the world. He's like, I don't think you should do this. And I'm on 100%. I've already thrown a rod, right?
Yeah.
And I've already threatened that I'm boarding this boat, right? I don't care about the limit now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you got to have those moments. Nobody ever tried to cut in
He
on
always
me
yells
again.
at me, but like I'm a firm believer in. I mean, if you don't tell them, they're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe not to the point where it gets sometimes, but you gotta let people know. And I mean,
There's a way to do it politically correct.
No. You're too nice.
Yeah.
So
do you think there should be like?
Let me tell you a story.
Okay, go.
And he's trying to clean up the mess.
I'm with Cory here.
Let me tell you a story. So we're on Sturgeon Bay.
Okay.
And
funny.
we're on the biggest community spot in the whole lake.
It's called the Cedars.
It's called the Cedars. And I still laugh to this day about
There's
it.
okay. Give you a set the picture.
shut up.
There's 30 boats, 40 boats that will fish this one spot.
Yeah.
It's probably 400 yards long at times.
So we come around the
There's like
point.
7 boats on it right now.
Okay.
Come around the point, and there's Gussie, this other boat that is in tighter, a couple other boats scattered around. So we pull up, and there's a break that we're fishing. These guys have no idea that's there.
Yeah.
So we're fishing down this break, and this boat's like on 100, like coming at us.
So they were fishing and they were on the troll moor. So I was driving and they're going one way. So I pull in. I'm gonna go behind them and go the other way. So then when I'm just idling, they start going this way. So I'm like, okay, I'll go behind.
Yeah. I got you.
And they just weren't having it. So
They're doing the cut up. Yeah.
But this is the biggest
know what they were
community.
cutting us off for.
Yeah.
This is the biggest community hole there is. So anyways, go ahead.
So they start coming at us, and they cast over Chris's line.
No, so we are on the trolling motor, just trying to.
You're like Surgeon A, Surgeon
We
B, or what?
are on the troll.
This is why we're doing this show tonight. We're just getting shit out there.
I am on the trolling motor. I'm just trying to get away from these guys. I'm like, we just want an area to fish. This is like
Yeah.
we're
I got
fishing
you.
here.
Yeah. I've been.
So these guys keep casting at our boat, and I'm on the trolling motor trying to go away, and we don't say anything. And for once, he's being calm.
I said to Chris, I go, you deal with this problem. So I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. I went to the back of the boat and sat on the motor.
I'm trying to fish going away from it, and all of a sudden a jerkbait crosses my line like 4 feet off the end of my rod. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I give the guy, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, we're fishing here. I'm like, you're fishing this whole spot? I'm like, give me a break.
Yeah.
Where would you like?
Gussie's like 200 yards away laughing.
Yeah, he's laughing at us. So, anyways, I reel this thing in. We got our baits in the air. We're like playing
Tug of war.
I'm still sitting at the back, minding my own business.
So I'm like, let your line out. I'll bring it in, because otherwise I'm just gonna break it. He's got a jerkbait on. I got like a tube. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I bring it in, and I have to cut his line because it's a mess. I'm like, come on over. I'll give you a jerkbait.
This guy's losing his mind after he just cut us off. And
No, time out. I bring the bait in, and I didn't want to screw with the jerkbait because he pulls it, and the line's coming in.
For sure.
I get it. Corey walks up, and cuts the guy's line. So I forgot that. So then they are losing their mind. I'm like, I'll give you the jerkbait back. Come over here. I untangle it. and they're like 10 feet away, and I go to throw him the jerkbait, and it goes over the guy. He misses it, and it goes in the water, and they almost fall in the water.
Both of them jump over the console trying to get this
jerkbait,
and I am dying.
So at this point, I'm kind of laughing, and Gussie is over there. He's laughing.
They're like on the deck of the boat, keeled over, laughing.
So this guy loses his mind, and then Cory starts. He couldn't.
I did
he
what
couldn't
I do.
restrain.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
restrain it. And anyways, so these guys call a tournament director, and I don't even know what they said.
The guy's name's Ken that used to run the tournament.
So they call the tournament director, comes out. He's like, "Oh, I heard you guys in an argument. You cut someone off."
Hang on. He goes up and he goes like, about 86. We're like, yeah. He goes, prepare to be boarded. I'm looking at him. I'm like,
We're laughing.
I'm like, really?
Oh. So, anyways, the tournament director's like, "Oh, I heard you guys got into a scuffle." I'm like, "Yeah, I casted on my line. I cut the bait through to him. It was a sinking jerk bait."
This is funny because on one of my Instagram posts or whatever, like for the Stray Cast, this guy wrote in and he's like, ask him about the sinking jerkbait.
Oh my God.
And I really wasn't.
That's
like,
amazing.
He threw my jerk.
Yeah,
I
you
literally
were.
threw it
Yes,
to
you
him,
were.
and it went like through his shoulder, but it went over the deck.
That's awesome.
In the water.
I would have threw it in the water.
You would have. I would have believed.
100%. He would have
If there
threw it
was
at
a
the other side of
rumor,
the
if
boat.
there was a rumor, I would have believed that
Yeah.
Cory would throw it, but I would.
Absolutely, I
That
would.
Chris would give it to them.
Yeah.
There it is. That's the contest. You come up with that guy's name, the sinking jerkbait. You're gonna get but people got to research it.
There's no way they're finding
way.
that
No?
Because I can't
Oh
even
my God!
verify what
so
it is.
I want
Looks
to
like
throw
I
this
get
out
to
here.
keep it.
In Ontario, there's some like what is it like a 50-yard rule?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we should have that, or do you think that that's like watering
Rubbing
this
grease.
down to like?
I like the rule. Well, you have to enforce it. How do you?
Yeah, we don't never.
How do you,
well, here's the thing
how
I
do you
don't like,
enforce
and I've talked about this 100 times. You shouldn't. There's an etiquette game here, but there's also like, would you let somebody win who you're like right there watching? Like, I wouldn't turn my net around in hockey and be like, "Game's over, boys."
Well,
here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. So let's say you two are out there. I want to fish this spot. You're on the spot, and you and I got to stay 50 yards away. But Chris shows up, and you're like, "Hey, come on in here." That's the part of the rule that bothers me, because or the opposite. If it's me and Sean, and I'm like, "Sean, come on in, Chris. The hell out of here, or I'm paying my $100 and you're screwed."
Yep.
That's the part of the rule. And I'm just asking you guys because I know FLW, Bass, you guys are sometimes fishing on top of each other.
Yep. Step in each other's boat.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yep.
Like, what do you think of that rule? I often think that, like, if you're prepared to listen to me scream at you for 8 hours,
here's my opinion on that. If you're the first one on the spot, you find it, you're catching the fish, no one else is around, you have the decision to say, yeah, you can come fish, or someone you don't know, absolutely not.
I would agree to that.
But
I would.
What if
I
that
would
guy
agree
found
that's
that
etiquette.
spot? What if that guy found that spot and he showed up to fish that spot?
If it was later,
We're racing. Let's say we're racing.
guy on it gets it.
Yeah, but what he's saying is if there's no rule, he can come fish 10
For
feet
sure.
beside you.
If there's no rule, absolutely. I'm
But-
saying if there is a rule.
Yeah.
So is this like a watered down Ontario rule, or is
Here's an example for you. Rice Lake. There's a rock pile out in front of Margaret's. Him and I have fished
I'm
it
hitting
for
the point right now.
Him and I have fished it before. There's two other people that I know of that fished it before we did.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
Barstow, sorry.
What do you, can you put those
No,
light
he
points
never-
at the
no.
bottom
What
of
do you
the
mean,
screen?
no?
Yeah, what do you, can you record this part?
No. It was.
They have a lot of them. But
It was.
this one,
What's his name?
Jack used to live there. Jackson and they owned it. They owned
the tackle store. Jackson
They have a
and
cottage on the
Mike
lake.
Jackson and
Esterbrooks.
Jim Esterbrooks.
Okay.
Anyways,
So
I know what you're talking
doesn't
about
matter. We raced to this spot.
Yeah.
And we were fishing there first. Chris hooks a fish, and this little white and black nitro shows up.
I know. I think this is the one I threw the fishing rod at.
Unbelievable.
We're talking like 90 on it.
So yeah.
Yeah, I threw that.
So
the one I threw the fishing rod.
I'm on the trolling motor. Chris is fighting this fish, and I'm on 100, right beside their boat, trying to keep them off this rock pile. And we're yelling, like, I am viciously upset at this point.
Yeah.
Again,
Like,
Chris had the fish on.
but that's
one for Chris.
if they were on that spot,
Ooh,
and they
somebody came
have
up with a
been,
name.
and they have been multiple times, I would never pull in on them.
No, I would. So there's an etiquette and there's rules.
There's an etiquette
and there's a rule. Dude, that's what I told it. Like I fished grasshopper 100 times, and I really like fishing deep at grasshopper. And I've watched Jared and Gerard flip that weed line 100 times. I never ever had a problem.
For sure.
But I've also been there where somebody tried to cut in between us.
Yep.
And Gerard and Jared went nuts.
Yep.
Right. And so there is an etiquette here of like. I never even talked to them about it. I like to fish from 12 to 21 feet. They like to go way up there shallow.
Yep.
Never had a problem.
Yeah.
Which I don't think there is a problem. Now, there is a part of me that believes that, let's say I'm in the 21, somebody pulls up and they want to drive back and forth beside me, and we're catching them. I think that if you are prepared to listen to me scream at you for the entire time that you're there, well, fish it, right? Like, you shouldn't just let me watch. Do you know what I mean?
You never keep everyone happy on that.
You can't, right? It's a total. But I'd like to have that like 50-yard rule. Like, I wouldn't pull up on you guys.
Yeah.
Right? Even if I saw you sitting there and I knew you guys were crushing them, I would drive past.
And that's the etiquette part where the 50-yard rule shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
Right?
There's times and places where we're going to do this, and when we get out there, if you're going to fish there, I'm going to fish here. That's
For
it.
sure.
That's right.
For
and if
sure.
somebody else pulls in, we're going to yell and scream until they leave.
Yep.
And in saying that, those guys, he yelled at them or whatever. We talked to them after, and they said, we had a talk, like, you guys have fished that before, or like was near us. We have never pulled in when you're on the other rock pile.
Yeah.
And they said, well, yeah, you're right. So they said, okay, you're right. So we have never pulled in on them, and they didn't pull in on us ever again.
That's a lie. Until hang on,
in that spot.
In that spot.
So they would fish off, and we would fish one. We might catch them, they might catch them, but we never went in on each other again. So in that case, you almost had to say, you put the person in their place and say, listen, this is how you kind of do the etiquette thing. If you guys are here first next time, then, hey, we won't pull in on you. So you don't want to fish
There's got to be an etiquette, and then
there has to be an etiquette.
But like, let's say that you and I were pre-fishing, right? We're fishing the same rock hump, and during pre-fish, we were both catching fish. I would
That's
think
the first mistake. You shouldn't have caught them.
No, you know what I mean. Like we both know the fish are there.
How many checks
right?
did you cash?
I got 5 this year. Anyway, like in the tournament, do you think that you should be able to both fish there?
Yeah.
Even if you were both yelling and screaming at each other during pre-fish, right? Like I totally think that you got to do
with that. If I think that
it's touchy, right? You got to have some real players of the game in order for these to
if that
work.
guy legitimately found the spot, did his own homework, and didn't see someone else there, and he pulled in.
That's
you know
another
what I'm
thing
saying?
too, right? Yeah.
That's a different thing because we've had so many people that, they see us and they'll stop, and not just us, but
everybody,
and they'll stop way out. I know what's there. There's nothing. It's mud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're fish there for an hour and a half, but the next time
they're in where you were.
They've grafted all. Now they know.
Yeah.
And if they beat you there, is it their right to be there?
No.
In my opinion, absolutely not.
No, and in that circumstance, you guys should get to push in and screw the 50-yard rule, right?
Yep.
And it's a thing in the U.S. too, especially with the ledge lakes. Typically, if you don't start on the spot, excuse me, if you start on the spot beside someone, then you both found the spot, you both work together, you fish it. But all of a sudden, if that guy's on the spot day 2, you don't get the rights to that spot anymore. And it's one of those things that people get in battles all the time. That
look at Haynes and Lambert.
Yeah.
That was
the
they both fished
biggest
the spot.
battle of the year.
They both fished the spot. Who's right? Who's wrong?
You can never, never.
The guy that's wrong, the guy that threw it.
I guess
went home.
in order for how I would like it to work, everybody would have to follow the etiquette, and that's just not going to happen.
You got to catch him.
Though. Here's the thing with that. Randy Haynes is old school. He's by the book. He's, he feels like he had the right.
I think Randy Haynes, he was mad, he was angry. Okay, leave the spot, go to the other 50 spots, in the lake, and beat them.
Yeah.
And then rub it in your face. Say, hey, I just beat you.
Yeah, but if you're gonna rub rails with the guy, just outfish him.
100%.
Oh, there's that point too. But if you have to leave, go to the other spots and try and beat him.
Right.
Like
His whole
Randy
thing,
Haynes
there
is
was
the
20
best guy
pounds
on the
on the
lake.
other boat before he pulled a fish.
Yeah.
So.
But he still could have pulled 22 pounds.
100%.
Yeah.
He never
Rumors?
chance.
No, somebody
I got a
found
rumor.
the name.
What? No, you're way.
Sturgeon Bay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's the name?
Is it that guy?
I don't know. He found it on the Straycast Insta.
This
No way! Whoa!
I'd give it him just for effort.
I don't know if the guy's wrong. What's the guy's name?
What's the guy's name?
His name is Travis Terry.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Done.
I don't know.
Sold.
Done. That is unreal.
That
If you
is
track
Brad.
that,
him to PM.
Brad, maybe.
Gusty knows the guy's name. He could.
Gusty could verify.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's an A for effort.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's our winner.
That's deal.
That's a winner.
This
You good
guy,
with that? You're good with that?
What's his name? Absolutely.
Sorry, buddy.
Absolutely. What's the guy's name? Brad Maybe.
Brad, maybe.
All right, you tell Brad Maybe to PM the details. We're gonna double check this with Gussie. Is he awake right now?
It is an hour behind.
Mr. Mom.
He's
right?
probably snuggling.
Really?
Yeah.
We could call Gus.
Gussie, no, he
Call him up.
Gussie cuddles.
Is
Wanna
he?
call
Oh
Gussie?
yeah.
Let's
Call him up.
Gussie.
I'm a hugger.
Ian cuddles too.
Do you think he would know the name?
Gussie would. Gussie knows everything.
Yeah.
Gussie knows everything.
He's one of those. Eh?
Hey, call him.
So what was the guy's name again?
Amber?
Terry something.
Travis, hold on.
Well,
Travis
Gussie
Terry.
was-
Terry.
I talked to Gussie today. He was,
Photographic memory, come on.
he was in Winnipeg, so we'll try him.
Text him.
No, I'm calling.
Put him on the speakerphone. And
Let's just get
You might want to let him know he's on. He's on.
It's all right.
Amber.
Hey, what's happening?
Jeffrey, you're on a podcast right now, so don't say anything
Live.
stupid. Live. We got a question for you for a guy to win a reel, and you need to verify this because I don't know if it's correct or not.
It's
All right. Remember that your last lifeline? Hey,
Yeah.
remember that time on Sturgeon Bay when Chris and I got in the argument with the guy and Chris cut his jerkbait off and threw it in the water?
And we got boarded.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name?
There were two brothers from
Last name
Amber.
Terry?
Amber, read out the name.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
He got it.
You got
Travis
it.
Terry.
That was
Travis Terry.
That was a question. That guy won a reel, so he's gonna be thanking you.
Done deal.
You know, he didn't kick the shit out of you.
Fought tougher hangovers, Gussie. You know that. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and Caleb, our buddy, said, yeah, those guys are kind of big boys, and probably don't want to run into them again. But yeah,
You know better now, though, right, Gussie?
What's that?
You know better now, though, right?
You know Corey's all talk.
Say a word. Cory did all the talking.
Yeah, thanks,
Gussie, I'm a lover, not a fighter. You're in the same boat, bud.
All right, Gussie, appreciate it,
Yeah,
buddy.
thanks. Good luck on the classic, my man.
Take care.
See you, bud.
Bye.
That's awesome. Done
Yeah,
deal.
we got a winner.
Done deal. We're gonna have to put another name on this Daiwa reel over here.
Who?
The winner of the guy that just won it.
That was actually pretty sweet.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Hey?
That was solid.
Amazing, like
you
what
guys
you can
happy
find
with
on the
that?
internet.
Yeah, that's
you guys are good.
awesome.
Absolutely.
That's dynamite.
How many
So
searches do you
what
have
was the
to go
guy's
through?
name again that won?
I don't know. Amber went a little
Travis
further.
Terry.
No, maybe. Someone.
Maybe?
Brad
Maybe.
won.
Brad
Yeah,
maybe.
Brad Maybe?
Brand new.
Amber will give us the
He
Travis
lives in
Terry.
New Zealand. or
I
something.
tell you,
Expensive shipping.
buddy, when you open up this package that comes in the mail, it's going to blow your mind. You're going to have to write us a letter and tell you how much you appreciate it. Everybody in the room here knows what's going on, but nobody else does. So
There's really not a reel in it.
surprise!
It's those lucky underwear.
Not washed.
So here's a question.
Here. Can you do that? I gotta have a tinkle. Can you do this?
You got to pee? Yeah,
I'm a trendsetter.
I got questions. So everybody knows you guys bass fish. You fish for anything else? What's your deal?
Yeah.
You walleye fish? You crush
Walleye
'em?
fish. We
We used to fish the tournaments on Rice Lake, and we had a blast. We won a couple of them, and then it kind of put that slot in, and the tournaments went away. But we used to love those walleye tournaments. My dad probably did better in those walleye tournaments.
My old man's probably
me
won
the
more
bass.
walleye tournaments than anyone.
Really?
He lit
we
it
had
up.
fun.
He was one of the original guys to start fishing weed lines.
Really?
Yeah.
Mark, maybe he could go fishing with you.
Yeah, maybe. I
Give you
can
a
give you some
couple
pointers.
Give him a dinger, he'll slap you in the face.
He's all
I'll take
bucktail.
One of my earliest wins was Canada-U.S. walleye in Tri Lakes with
Really?
the old man. Yeah.
So you guys grew up ripping bucktail.
Ripping hair.
How did that translate to flipping and pitching a jig?
It didn't.
No.
And then before it opened.
Totally different deal.
Yeah, we had crappie fish.
You hair jigging for smallmouth?
I've got a couple on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it honestly we started using that in Sturgeon Bay, and I don't know how many years ago, it was 7 years, and you couldn't keep them off. You'd go catch 50, 60 bass a day. It was stupid.
And that was the big thing then, and it was the biggest kept secret. Nobody said nothing, and all of a sudden word got out, and now you guys got new secrets.
So, but the funny thing is, you take that same bait and you go up there last couple of years. I'll have one tied on for a tournament, but I probably won't make a cast with it in the tournament because I probably won't catch anything.
And that just goes to show you pressure, right?
And
They've seen it, now they won't eat it.
You go throw another bait out, like we've actually tried it. We'll go and catch 5 or 6 fish in one spot on one cast, and then you throw that bait out, you don't get a bite, throw something else in, you get bit again. It's just they get educated.
We found a spot last year, and it was during the tournament, and we were catching them. I said to Chris, I'm gonna throw the hair jig out. I made 10 casts, never caught a single fish, and he's still beating on him every cast.
It's crazy. I wouldn't have believed if I didn't see it. But it still works, don't get me wrong, but just
what are we talking about?
That bait,
hair jig.
That bait
for smallmouth.
used to be
like a marabou jig or like a bucktail?
Hair jig. Yeah.
Bucktail.
But no, whatever, marabou, bucktail.
7 years ago, if you didn't have
the
that
first
bait,
time I ever came across a marabou jig, and I used them for steelheading forever. Great bait. You guys passed me on Margaret's Island, and all I could hear is. And
that probably wasn't a hair jig.
That was not a hair jig, I can guarantee.
Really?
Oh.
No.
Whoa!
Spill the beans, boys.
No. No, it wasn't a hair jig. I have never in my life caught a bass in a hair jig in Rice Lake.
Really?
If it is, it's like one schooner.
Do you guys know what I like? I obviously don't know what it is, but do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Really?
No.
I could hear you guys just like flicking your like so hard.
No, that lake there's lakes that it works.
That is very
lake,
true.
It does not.
Yeah.
That's
It does
just
not
how
work.
they do it different.
Dude,
I don't know.
You go to Lake Erie and throw that thing, they'll swim the other way.
Really?
100%.
But then Lake
Ontario?
Lake Ontario, they eat it.
Sandy Lake up in Buckhorn?
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
It's really interesting though, if you stop reeling it, they'll bugger off.
So you
Like-
think. Keep stopping. Or keep reeling it.
Rumor.
Well, that's the thing. I spent a lot of time learning. I really like fishing it now, but it seems like when you see them coming, if you stop reeling, you're done. But if you slow down, they'll keep it's almost like
They follow it.
they follow
Yeah.
and they follow it and follow it.
That's the nice thing about baits like that is there's so many different ways to use it.
Absolutely.
And everybody does it different.
I find the best way for myself is just like burning it. And they're either going to drive her or they're not going to do it.
Yep.
Because when they hit, it's on they don't miss.
No doubt.
And usually it's a good hookup ratio.
For sure. Yeah. That's a great bait for hookup ratio because it's all hook.
Yeah.
Like
a spy bait does the same thing, and you might get more bites, but just
Sean, remember when you had the spy bait?
keeping them on.
Tell them the spy bait story and how proud you were of this spy bait. Oh, you got to hear this. This is he bought one.
Bait story for you.
He bought one
So I bought a spy bait.
for the
Spy bait.
classic.
Spy bait is the way.
This was this year?
No, 2 years ago.
Spy bait. You got to get a spy bait. You got to learn how to use the spy bait. I go out there and I tie the spy bait on.
No, but he's
and I got a spy bait.
mouthing me the whole time about this spy bait.
Like, how
Pulls
come
it out
you
of
don't
the
have a
packet.
spy bait? I got a spy bait. You don't have a spy bait tied on? Watch this. I got a spy bait. Snap. Fuck.
And it went like 4 miles,
There
right?
goes my spy bait.
And I look at him, and
never
I'm
caught
like,
another
how's that spy bait going?
Had all the 6-pound lines
that was the
spooled
end.
up. You're good to go.
Fluorocarbon later did them in.
That was the end of the spy bait.
I got a good spy bait story. So we're on Lake Simcoe, and I got my old man with me, and we're just going out for, look around, whatever. And I got this spy bait, and he always stands on my left, and I go to whip this spy bait out, and the line gets caught around the reel, and it goes and spins around and hits him right in the barrel. He's like, oh God, it's in me. I'm like dying laughing, right? And it's through his t-shirt. And he's like looking at me, he's like pissed, right? So he's like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna get it out. And he's like, oh God. And I am laughing so hard.
This is your dad.
Oh yeah. And I'm laughing so hard because the spy bait's stuck in his gut. So I had to cut his t-shirt and
my
like
God.
cut the hooks off the spy bait and like do the line trick, pull it out, and continued fishing. But
So you like cut through his clothing? See, I've hooked Ian a couple
Yeah,
times.
he's got me twice.
And I don't care. I just grab the pliers.
The only 2 times in my whole life I got hooks in me was with Sean McCall.
Yeah, you guys talk about like
Hey.
learning the fish
Wanna go
and stuff.
fishing?
He should learn to pull hooks out.
Yeah, so I got one pike fishing where he set hook on a jerk bait.
first of all,
We
pike
have-
fishing's stupid.
It-
You shouldn't pike.
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Well,
whoa,
Bass
whoa,
Master-
whoa, whoa.
So he sets hook, and we have it all on video. He sets hook, the jerk bait's coming flying back, and we're like beside each other and knows my boat. He lifts his leg to dodge the jerk bait, and it goes through my jeans into my leg deep.
That's awesome.
And we have.
I don't blame you.
He does. He gets pliers because we don't do the magic line trick, and he tests it. He gives it like, and he's like,
God, that's
We get rid of the Canadian rep.
Is it in there?
he's like, bro, that's really in there, right? The next time,
Grab the camera.
So how
Yeah,
quick
yeah,
did
yeah.
you just rip it out?
yeah.
It's like an old one.
It used to be in our old
Yeah.
opening. The second time we were at Balsam Lake, and I was making fun of him about. First, I video recorded him sleeping, snoring, dragging a tube, and I posted it online. Right. So about 15 minutes later, I have a siesta. He's catching them on a jerkbait, but they're all little guys,
Smashing
right?
them.
Smashing them.
Lighten them up, boy.
So I get up, my bait caster, and I'm like dancing on the front. I'm like, look, anybody can catch them on jerkbait. So I got one, I get it in the boat, and he gets me like in the finger deep. But
Well,
he's attached.
Taking the bait out of the
Yeah, right? So he's attached.
Yeah.
And the bass starts freaking out, and I just hold my hand out.
And you're laughing.
It's frozen.
He goes, oh, no! And he holds it out.
Right?
And he's got the jerk bait.
Yeah. Right?
That's funny.
So we get the fish off. Sean cuts the hook off, and we're sitting down. And it's like, the first one I couldn't see how deep it was. The second one I was like, oh my God, right?
You had 2 hooks in you?
No,
the
the
second
first-
time.
The second time. So it's gone. So we have a rusty pair of pliers in the boat because I'm too cheap to buy a new pair of pliers,
Yeah.
right? Sean, I got 2 videos on my phone. I got the video we shared and the video before that where we have a 15-minute conversation. Do you think you can pull this out? And Sean's like, I'm pretty sure I can pull it out. Are you sure you can pull this out? Well, I'm not sure, but I'm going to give it a try. Do you think I need to go to the hospital? You don't have that option.
Yeah, we're
right?
not going anywhere. We're
So,
fishing, right?
and I'm like, I don't know if I can record this. He's like, you have to record this. This is your whole life, right? So in the video that everybody saw, I'm like holding my finger out. He gives it another test ball.
Why not? If you did a test pull on me, there'd be a fight instantly. No
Right?
test pulls ever.
And because we're rolling film and I know we got to use this, I like bite my tongue. And
You're trying to be a man.
I'm trying to do and he just lets this rip and I scream.
I was laughing.
Yeah. And then he's like, that's what you get for filming me sleeping. I got the snoring video already on my Instagram. Oh yeah, he was fine. A little blood.
Yeah, it was good.
Ruined my hook on my Mega Bass jerkbait.
Oh, Mega, you always need to change the hook.
Yeah.
They're reverse barb.
Yeah.
So bad.
It is.
Right?
So bad.
Right?
Both times Mega Bass hooked.
Oh, you
What's
can't do
the
it.
worst you've been hooked?
Oh God.
I've never had one past the barb.
Really?
Knock on wood.
Really? In all your years of fishing?
Wow.
No
Nope.
nets, no
Those are the only 2 I ever got, and they were like 1 year.
You did do another one. You did do another one.
I
for
got
our
one.
dad though.
No, that's not true.
Tell him about the
The same year on Lake Ontario, I caught a bass on a crankbait, and I did the drop thing, and we were hammering them. I was with Scott Walton. And Scott, being the great friend he is, he's like, you really need to go to the hospital. I have no problem leaving. And I was like, oh, no, we're not going anywhere. And I grabbed the pliers myself and gave her a yank.
Yeah, good on you.
And he was like white, like ready to pass out, sick to his stomach. Like,
I feel like that's how he would be.
yeah, I was like,
He's
no,
a whiner.
you know,
Here we
a
go.
Balsam Lake, a whole bunch of 14 inchers, I don't mind getting off the pond at all.
No.
Lake Ontario, a bunch of 4s and 5s, no matter what, we're fishing.
We're on Lake Ontario, and what were we practicing for? It's some tournament, I don't know. Canadian Open, whatever, it doesn't matter. So I get a fish on a jerkbait, sticks it in my hand. It's like a 4.5 pounder, and it's flopping around, and the hook's stuck in my hand. And we're way out in the middle of the lake, and there's no cell phone service. So finally I get a hold of him, like, dude, you need to come here and pull this hook out. Remember that one?
No.
It was buried in my hand, and there was blood everywhere. And I had to get you to do the. I had to get him to do the line thing, right?
Yeah.
And he's never done. Well, the last time he did it, my old man wanted to kill him.
I gave it a test ball.
It's all about time on the water, baby.
No. Lynn was wanting to choke the piss out of him.
He was angry.
The test ball is the worst thing in the whole world.
So I'm yelling. I'm like, if you pull it like a man.
So I wrapped it around. I'm like, sure. It's not gonna hurt me.
He pulled it. It still hurt.
Yeah.
Came out.
There's nothing worse than the test pole is like as soon as it tugs and you're like, shit, this is bad.
Oh, I can't. I couldn't.
No, yeah.
I was like, hey, just.
But when there's some weird feeling when you get the test ball. It doesn't hurt. You just realize what's coming, maybe.
Oh,
right, like
you know it's buried.
Yeah. When somebody
I
can
did
do a test ball,
myself a test pull with a Berkeley 5-on Fusion.
Oh yeah,
right?
this is a good one.
I got her buried in the hand, like.
But didn't you get? It was that one in Toxica's boat when you sat on it?
No, we were in my boat, and we were fishing. It was the first hour. We were fishing Sturgeon Lake, and I went to flick off the front, and I wrapped my bait around the trolling motor, right, the wire off the trolling motor. I gave a little flick, and the hook was just out of the bait, and I buried it in my finger. And I look back at Chris. I'm like, pass me the scissors. He's like, they're right there. I'm like, Chris, pass me the scissors. He's like, get them yourself. They're right there. I'm like, Chris, I'm pinned here. I can't reach. And he's like, I'm good. He's like, I'm gonna watch you all day. I'm like, Chris, give me the goddamn scissors. So he gives me the scissors, and I got this hook just buried in my finger right here. And he's like, oh, we gotta go. I'm like, what do you mean we gotta go? I'm like, we just started fishing. He's like, well, how are you gonna get that out? I'm like, pass me the pliers. I gave her the old test ball. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, that ain't coming out, man. He's like, see, we gotta go. I'm like, it ain't coming out, but it's going through. He's like, no. I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, so the hook's out here, and I can't get the leverage on my finger. I'm like, Chris, come here. I'm like, I hold my finger. I'm like, push it through. He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, push it through, man. We got to fish. So he pushes it through. And you know, like when you whack a deer with an arrow,
yeah.
It's that pop?
Yeah.
It's that same kind of sound.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Absolutely.
It pops. His eyes roll back in his head. He almost passes out. I'm like, whoa, hold on there, buddy. I'm like, I need the side cutters. Right?
I feel like he should tell that story because there'd probably be a different twist there, like you passing out as he.
No. He lives for this stuff.
I'll tell you right now. Look me in the eye. My mama didn't raise no pussy.
Hey,
all right.
My mom raised one.
Wow.
So the only other hook incident I ever had, you guys know when you're going down the Hastings River and it gets narrow, and on the left-hand side there's like the rock point with the boathouse. Marley and I stopped there first thing in the morning, throw the trolling motor down, and he had been catching good-sized smallmouth there on a DT20. First cast, he whacks me in the back of the head with the crankbait. It goes in, and through the cast, it cuts all the way up. He gets a backlash, right? He pulls it out. He never says a word. He never apologizes, nothing. He pulls it all out, reels his reel in, gets a crankbait, and he goes, bro, you're bent on my hook. So straight face, like, and I'm like, I reach back, and he's like, bro, you got blood on your hat.
So this is a very similar story. We're on Kentucky Lake practicing for a Coastal Championship, and all the shad were pushed in shallow, so you're catching them on top water and schools of bait in the passer feeling. And my old man's with me, and normally he stands on my left, right? So they're busting, and I got a big spook on, and he comes around, stands on my right, and I haul off the wants to sink right in the back of the head, and he's got his hat on, and it's same thing, stuck in his head, and I had so much follow through that it ripped him right up his head, and his hat's laying in the water with the spook on it, and he just goes like this. He looks at me, he's like, I'm like, did I get you? He goes, did you get me? And like, his hand's covered in blood, and I am like pissing my pants laughing.
It's tough. Like,
Dude,
when you got to get in a system when you're fishing with somebody on the front of the boat, like I'm tall. When I start hearing them, like, whoosh, through my, like, I start ducking. I went, like, when he starts casting, I start ducking.
I hawk him.
Oh, yeah.
You guys know. And you know what? I know that he's going to enjoy pulling this hook out, 100%. So he gives no cares, like nothing.
Looking for it.
Yeah.
Like worst case scenario, John's happy.
It's really good content.
Yeah,
it is.
Good TV.
Amber, do you have any questions, comments, or anything over there?
Brad maybe wants to know where he should PM you the address.
PM me at Sean _McCall_ or you can just.
You get a hold of
Hey, follow me on Instagram.
Just give him your cell phone number.
Yeah.
We gave out Mark's email a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. What is it,
Laker72.
That's
at hotmail.com.
That's it.
Yeah. I remember
Send
that
it to
one.
Mark's email.
Yeah.
Amber owns a salon. At one point, we gave away discounts on beard trims, too.
Anyway, just PM
Just
one
throw
of
it
us.
out there.
I could
PM
eat a
one of us.
haircut tonight.
Yeah, see? We could have fit that in. Live on the show, you could have done Corey's hair.
Yeah. I needed a fresh one.
A freshen.
Coulda, shoulda.
So you guys are keeping her short, eh? You're like right there. You're ready. You're not going on, right?
If I grew a mullet, I have the straightest hair. I had one when I was like a kid.
We should bring
it
him
was
pictures
sick.
of when you had a mullet.
It was sick.
Oh, it was bad.
Bring those to the Peterborough show.
Yeah.
Give them a Woody. Woody will get them on the show.
Seth would be proud.
Really?
Yeah. I had like
Seth's
the
mullet is
original.
awesome.
I had the original.
I showed.
Did you give him a mullet ride?
No. No, but there was riding them.
But I was impressed at his stripes on the side.
He had the racing stripes?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
He did them that night or something.
He was-
that day.
He
before the
generally
tournament.
enjoyed.
They were like the originals when he had his, I think it was Peter, Polish Peter from Minnesota do them.
No, he did them himself.
Did he?
Yeah.
I feel like
I was
Fider would
impressed.
do it himself.
I was impressed at how accurate.
Yeah,
Was-
he's a self-made.
He's on the ball.
Yeah.
Fider's on the ball.
I was
He is.
impressed.
He's a great dude.
He kills
He is a
ducks,
good dude.
yeah. He kills greenheads and gets his wife pregnant.
That was one of the best lines.
You know who we met Seth's dad outside the Classic.
He's a weapon.
He is. He's awesome. A great dude.
Yeah. I've only met him once, but first thing that came to mind, weapon.
that is very. I've only met him once too, and I thought weapon.
Do you guys duck hunt?
We kill everything.
Nothing safe.
We
Nothing safe.
We used to do a lot more duck and goose hunting, but now we fish until basically deer season. It's too cold. to
So
kill
yeah,
ducks.
so that's it.
Yeah.
So
We
you're-
kill a lot of turkeys.
Yeah, you guys smashed.
I like killing
I
turkeys.
seen a sweet video of you like cutting one off. Oh, I
We
think
just
I
call
saw it
him
on your
in. We
Instagram.
just call him in and kill
No,
him.
yeah, I think I saw it
It's
on your
probably
Instagram.
on mine.
Yeah, on
I was
yours?
sitting on like a stupid dirt.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of options there.
Sometimes you just get stuck.
Oh my
Not
god,
much
that's
that beats turkey hunting.
Who's the better turkey caller?
Oh, let's answer that, Chris.
He's a better turkey caller. Give him that. I just kill him.
Yeah.
No, I'll call him my own, no problem. But
Yeah.
he's a better turkey caller.
Sounds like a retarded turkey, though.
Yeah,
But
pretty
they
fun,
still walk in and I shoot them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
okay. So you guys know how Seth has got a great mustache.
Yes.
Check that. I showed Seth this as a
my
look
God.
at that duster.
That is disgusting.
You know what
Shot,
the question
eh?
should have
You
been?
put
That's
shot
wrong.
down.
Isn't that?
Hey, hop on. 3 of us are going to the Classic on that bad boy right I'm telling you.
I got a question. I got a good one.
Okay, let's do it.
The next time there's a prize to be won, what Zona calls Seth?
All right, I got a $20
good.
Ganyon's gift card in my truck right now.
I don't even know
Are
that
we doing this?
Yes, we're doing this.
You really have a gift card on?
I got a $20 Ganyon Sports gift card
Let's do this.
right now. Say it.
What does Mark Zona and his
Question.
wife call Seth Fider?
They might need
Okay.
a week to research that.
No,
Hey,
No.
He just
Hey.
posted it the other day.
He did.
Oh, he
I was
did.
just about to
Oh,
say.
the other day.
Yeah.
So what was the question again? What
Amber,
does Mark
Amber,
Zona-
what
does
for
Mark
this?
Zona call Seth Fider? What name?
There you go.
'Kay,
And then you
throw
come
it
up.
in.
You come up with that answer. I've got a $20 Ganyon Sports gift card right out of my truck that I was going to use for ice fishing this year, but I will give it to you just because that's how we roll at Fear Fishing.
That's right.
And you got to spell it right.
Okay.
Ooh.
think I
No
would do this.
rednecks. Just
You know
give it
what?
up.
Zona will probably win this.
He can't win.
Well, he's got to come to Oshawa to spend the $20.
He doesn't have a passport.
Seriously.
We can smuggle him into the country.
I'm like, Z, you coming up, Fish Simcoe? He goes, yeah, man, I'm coming. And then I go to his house, and his wife's like, Mark, you don't even have a passport.
I don't even know why I find
He's
that
never
surprising.
been anywhere.
That's pretty common for like a lot of Americans.
Really?
But, yeah, we go down there, travel for work, and same thing. Like,
Yeah.
come up and fish or kill a turkey. Well, I've never left U.S. I don't have
Yeah.
a passport.
They don't have
You
a
would
clue.
think Zona, though, who's told us for 2 years,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to come to Canada. we're gonna
And
shoot
being
your
buddies
show.
of Mercer.
Yeah,
everything
you would
like
think
that,
he'd be
right?
like,
But-
hey.
Yeah,
you
isn't
got a
isn't
passport.
Zona like the most followed?
No, his
got the TV show?
has the best Nelson ratings out of all hunting and fishing shows.
In life.
They did. Yeah.
Like in like the biggest.
And if I'm wrong there, Kyle Crothers told me that.
I got no comment.
Right?
But no, I'm pretty sure.
It is.
Yeah.
But hey, if Zona wins this, you come and get the.
He's got to
$20
come to the
gift
house again.
Yeah, he
Be on the
can, yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Zona's a weapon.
Is he? I've never met Mark.
I'll tell you right
He's a
now.
great guy.
I'll tell you right now. He cooks the best blackened steaks in the league.
Really?
All right.
Hands down. Hands down.
Really?
Yeah.
Like whatever you want.
Oh, unbelievable.
Like straight up Chicago.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. He is good.
We're trying to get him up here on Simcoe to shoot a show next
So-
year. We'll see.
When we went to Lake Fork, everybody in Texas knows about Lake Simcoe, and everybody wants like it's like the reverse, right? Like all us bass heads up here want to go to Lake Fork. As soon as we got there, they all wanted to come to Lake Simcoe.
No doubt.
Yeah, how do you guys get a lot of that? Like you guys got the monster smallmouth
All the
out
time.
here in the north?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yep. Everyone wants to, like, everyone down south of Florida, they hate it down there come May, like their summer months. They all, like, once they experience our northern fishing, they're like, we need to buy a summer home up north just because the fishing.
Yeah, no doubt.
We want to go down there. They want to come
They want to
north,
come up
right?
here.
So,
Amber, we got any hits on that? No.
No.
Is anybody even watching now?
Yeah, we still got
the
lots.
guy that,
Lots of
Oh yeah.
the guy that won that reel.
Let's keep rolling.
my
It's only been
money's on
3
him.
hours and 10
What?
minutes.
Hey, do we have any
Yeah,
questions?
it's 11.
Anything?
You guys are killing it.
What? Okay, this is a
This is a marathon run.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
We're in for the duration.
There's a snake.
I don't. I'm gonna read this verbatim.
We might have to have a sleepover.
Pillow fight.
Yeah.
Who wins the pillow fight between
When we were
Chris and Mark?
designing the big
That's
room,
not happening.
I thought about bunk beds instead of a couch, like some
much
double
more room
futon.
Activities.
No, we're gonna go down to the creek and have a night fishing
Yeah.
steelhead derby, and I'm winning.
You-
Look at his eyes. Though.
Hey, me
Hey,
too.
look at his.
Now,
He's not
He
joking.
did spend a lot of time with that hot water pipe, but that's off limits now, isn't it?
I can catch.
do you
steelhead.
remember how good Cobra used to be, like from the
Yes. The answer is yes.
the gazebo?
Yes.
When you could walk out on the strip
Yes.
and hit. Oh my
Yes.
God,
I haven't been there in so long.
it sucks.
I know, but
But
I
it-
haven't been there and.
But here's the thing: when I talk to kids today, and they're like, "I had a great day on the river. I caught 3 fish." I'm like, "You don't even understand what
Yeah.
good steelheading is." Like,
It was stupid.
do you think that steelhead fishing when you were younger has helped you be a better smallmouth fisherman?
To an
Like fighting big fish on light line?
No.
It all
No.
it all helps in, I think, being versatile and going with light line and just trying to figure out the fish. I think that all helps in the grand scheme of things, but no to like
not fighting the fish, but to look at things from a different aspect. And,
Yep.
and being able to
change
to
it up.
relate some steelhead techniques to bass fishing.
Yep.
Yes, but not fighting them.
I noticed when we, Marley and I did really well at FLW Canada on St. Franny. We got big fish at the tournament. I really thought that our experience dealing with rivers helped us because we had hardly any pre-fish, but I kind of knew like where they were going to set up based on, if this was a
Current
steelhead
and
river,
whatnot, yeah.
that's where a steelhead would be
Yep.
sitting. And
Yep.
there was bass there.
In that aspect, yes, when you're fishing heavy current, but
Yep.
I mean, as far as like the setup and stuff, not really. But it does bring some small things over to the bass
Yep.
fishing side. But my old man always says it did. Like he's always.
I've seen your old man down there a lot in my younger years.
With his spinning
Just
rod.
pounding them.
Yeah, well,
I got a couple of answers to that Zona question.
Oh, here we
Yes, so
go.
do I.
Is it
Do it?
Zaffs?
No.
Z-A-F-S?
No.
Is it
No?
skullet?
No.
Is it llama?
No.
There's one more, I think.
What were we giving away for this again? You got cards?
$20
I'm
candy
giving
card.
away a $20 Ganges
The
gift
first
card.
one. The first one was close.
Yeah?
We have
Close.
Dalton, which I don't believe it is. Zaz.
S-E-S?
Joe Dirt.
SES.
Joe
We'll go with
Dirt.
that. We'll go.
Yeah?
with that.
Really?
That's the winner?
Call-
We got a winner. Ty Robideau.
There you go.
SESS would be how I would spell it.
Ty Robideau, you're the winner.
Ty
Robideau.
Robideau. Congratulations.
We were at Zona's house and Karen, Zona's wife's like, she calls him Sess too, and he's like, Karen, can you please not call me Sess anymore? She's like, okay, Sess.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay, Ty Robideau, PM us and I'll give you my ice fishing $20 card because that's just how we do it here.
Yeah, man.
What else can we give away?
Oh my God.
We got some fear fishing swag?
We
That-
could give
that
away
wiener
we could
dog?
give away a
No, I
masturbator
took the wiener
koozie.
dog upstairs.
Yeah, we could.
Kyle's got good stuff to give away.
Yeah, Kyle.
Wait, my
You want
garage
to
is
step
empty.
this
Let's
up?
give away Greg's boat.
Yeah, let's give away your boss's stuff.
Hey,
Anybody
whoa,
want
whoa,
to?
whoa.
Give away a date
You're
night
not.
with Gerg.
You're not giving away my boat. That's gonna.
No, let's give away Greg's Garmin wrap boat.
Why don't we give away a full
Yeah,
guided
it's no
trip
big deal.
of Greg McIntyre?
Yes, yeah.
One full day.
Includes
Full day.
lunch.
Like
All right.
like 9 till 3.
This has got to be like the impossible task,
Will you call him right now?
right?
Yeah. Can you get him on the phone?
Give me 5 minutes. I'll make it the most.
Give us a
ridiculous
John Wick
contest,
question.
but-
There's no way he'd answer his phone this time.
Do you want to take the over-under?
No,
it's-
I'm betting you your shirt to my underwear.
You're right. He won't answer it.
No, he's in bed by about 9.
Yeah.
I'll ride home, Buck. I don't care.
Hey, I'm driving with you.
Yeah, you're driving. Right?
Oh my God. You got any more comments or questions there, Amber?
Oh, there's tons of comments. What's their live scope beta choice? I've always got a grub on for when I see them on my live scope.
Oh.
Well, I heard that wrong.
Grub. I said grub.
I think they're asking what bait shows up best on the live scope.
They all show
They
up
all
well.
show up.
Yeah, they do.
All hide down.
But it depends if you're fishing spotted bass, smallmouth, largemouth.
I've never
It's
caught a
thing.
spotted bass, but I like what's the jam with them?
Deep brush piles usually.
Really?
See the
Deep-
brush on
deep
the live
points.
scope. Deep points. You see
Do,
them.
are they more like a largemouth or are they more like a
They'll
smallmouth?
do both.
Really?
Yeah, it's the
They're kind of like in between.
in
You
between.
can get them up shallow on the bank. You can get them in 4
Really?
feet of water. Yeah.
So here's another question. What's the most outside of your wheelhouse?
I think we
Oh.
touched on that. The reservoirs, like fall fishing when the shad are migrating and stuff.
It's just something we don't know a lot about.
There's no grass and it's tough fishing. We don't.
Here's a question for I'd like you guys each to answer this separate. Is there a game fish out there, saltwater, steelhead in Russia? Is there like a dream fishing trip you guys would like to take?
My bucket list is go catch some sailfish and some tarpon.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd say
Those
probably
two.
the same.
Tarpons.
Marlin, sailfish, tarpon.
Nice. That's pretty, yeah.
Tarpon.
We know a guy who can make that happen, Lloyd, Captain Lloyd.
Oh, buddy.
You know what? We should make a plan next fall for you guys to come on Big Quinny Walleye Charter with us.
It's probably deer season.
That's what I was saying. I'm like,
We need
Yeah,
one
but
day.
Corey's
We
usually
can.
tagged out by then, so you'll.
Oh, easy, Kyle.
I like that.
You
I like
big
that.
buck slayer, you.
Me and Chris are texting each other late season. Any luck yet? No.
You're gonna
Think about it, boys. We went this year.
That's about how many inches Kyle's rack was.
a little bit bigger. It was a little bit bigger.
Think about it. Next fall, Sean and I went this year. Sean caught his personal best 4 times that day. What'd you get? A 9, a 10, 11, and a 12?
Yeah.
Shot the
Got
shit.
43 pounds for 4 fish.
That ain't bad.
Yeah,
That's
Oh,
good.
it's all right.
Okay.
That's fun fishing, but it's really cold, and I don't want.
No, we got heaters.
Oh,
I don't
back in
troll.
your
I
vagina.
don't troll.
Give me
Really?
a nice Under Armour suit. You'll be good.
I don't troll.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll make it
I'd rather sit in my thermals in a deer stand.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
I am, yeah.
Like it's just a walleye. It's like
I-
reeling in a log.
I really like tree
cold.
birds.
I hope I'm not hunting in December next year.
I do.
December's my favorite time.
Yeah,
It is,
absolutely.
but
Late season.
I do-
It's all about
It's my
late
favorite.
season.
Okay, all right. I'm
The
gonna.
the better.
So I suck at deer hunting. I start really late in life. Terrible. I have the worst luck in the world. Mark and I
Make your own luck.
Listen, Mark and I actually put our bows down one time. We walked into the bush, and while we were having a conversation, we had an 8 and a 12-pointer stand up about 7 yards from us that I could have tackled. This year on the closing night, I've never told anybody this story, but we're there.
Story.
We're there.
Except for me.
I told Kyle because I had to call him
Free phone
64
calls.
times in a row because he didn't have some foam.
I screened it.
I get up there, New Year's Eve. I get to my tree stand. I didn't tell you, did I?
Look me in the eyes right now and tell me this story.
This is a true story.
This is a true story. I get up,
You literally
I
called
get
me
up my tree
64
stand. I check
times.
my trail camera. There's been nothing there. Right? Shooting hours end at about
That's the first time.
5:07.
No checking trail camera.
And
I
gave
know,
him,
I
and gave
shouldn't
him
do that. That's a
I
bad
know what
habit.
Ian's
Bad
biggest
habit.
problem is. He always leaves the stand like 7
Yeah,
minutes.
listen.
Yeah.
Every hunt, I give him shit for it every
So
time.
I am in my stand.
7 o'clock. You don't leave your watch till like 7 o'clock. Tell him
With the snow on the ground, get out about 9.
you're good.
I'm
Wait
sitting
till
up
they
there.
leave.
I'm sitting up there. So I'm at Bearstool's property.
There's the slant hill.
The old
there's
birds all
there's a
beat.
little
Stay away from there.
There's a little patch of woods, and there's my truck, and I can see the long field, and there's a grass patch that I got to walk by my stand to get out of there. So about 10 minutes before shooting hours close, I think, you know what? It's been a good season. I'm going to climb out of here. I'm going to head back to my truck. I'm not going to bug anybody to ruin their New Year's Eve.
10 minutes
If I
till the
shoot
season
one,
closes.
Amber's probably going to divorce me because I've been here 63 days this
married
year.
yet.
So I'm feeling good about myself. I have had a good season. I've seen a couple hundred deer from my tree stand. I filmed all kinds of deer. I take my boots off, my Under Armour boots, take my Under Armour coveralls off, my Under Armour coat, I put it in, and I put I put my flip flops on because I like wearing flip flops in my deer stand. And as soon as I slam the tailgate, I watch the giant 7-pointer stand in the grass patch, walk by my tree stand the last 10 minutes, run across the field.
Yeah, that's a pet peeve.
And the only time in my whole life that I wanted to throw my bow, I was about to have a meltdown.
You sit for like 3 hours, but the best time is the last 10. You're like,
But I was being considerate.
So I'm out there.
trying to be
I
considerate.
go up to Dave's Ponderosa. I think
That's what we call it now.
I named it that night.
Yeah.
So I go up there for a night, and Mark's, he lets me sit in the stand because he wasn't able to go there. So I go up for the gun hunt. So anyways, I get down out of the stand like 20 minutes early because my back was just buggered up, and I just didn't like the view. No offense where I had. I just thought I'd do better on the ground. I had the gun. I'll just stand on the ground in the long grass. The grass is like really high at this point.
You're soft.
Well, there's
Stand
deer in
fine.
the field now. There's some does. There's still at least 5 minutes of legal shooting light. I see Orange walking across the field. Ian, he's talking on the phone.
Talking on the phone.
Walking right
Sean
across the
McCall.
field. He's talking to McCall. And I'm like looking through my scope, and I'm like, what is this idiot doing? Like, this can't be Ian or Dave. What is going on here? And I'm like a little mad.
No way.
So
Yeah.
So then I started walking across the field too. And Ian's talking to Sean on the phone. I'm like,
I actually had to end that
I can hear his voice
conversation
across the field. There's
because there was a little
in the
buck.
corner of the field, right?
And I was like,
so and it was a Kyle Credit
Yeah.
too. Like it would have died.
Oh, yeah.
We're on the phone. But Adam had just shot the giant buck. That's why he shot a giant.
Ian
but
was
I
a little
was on
excited
the
'cause
phone.
we did shoot one.
Yeah, we did
That's
shoot.
it.
You guys know what happened. Your buddy shot.
Yeah. I was going to hell.
You guys are at work.
But listen, what I tell you on the phone?
We got to grab dinner, head up there, help these guys.
Yeah, we had a blast of a time.
Beat them, right?
But what I tell you on the phone while I was walking out?
Oh shit! There's a deer. I gotta go.
He's looking at it. And then the best part is
And Kyle Cruthers is over there too.
nobody.
I can see Kyle. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I don't know.
This sounds like quite the gang to go on.
We have a great.
So we celebrate.
We have a
celebrate.
great time.
These guys brought KFC. I ate buckets of it.
Yeah, they did.
I'm so hungry.
Not shocked.
So we celebrate.
It's no Chick-fil-A.
No. So
That's true.
nobody gets out of bed the next morning except for me.
I drove him to your
get
stand.
Ian. So Ian gets out. He's all his gear on his stuff, and he goes, I'm not going to hunt today. I'm going to go get coffee. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're up. Like, just sit for an hour and a half. No, I'll go get you a coffee. And I'm like, okay, whatever, man. Anyways, he went and got his coffee. I went and had a horrible set.
Yeah,
But
see, I got
you
coffee.
got to sit.
I knew.
I shouldn't really.
I knew that was in the
You
morning.
probably sat more this year than anybody I know. But
Who?
you.
I
So
love.
can't really
I
look
love
for you and not
340.
sit.
I love being there.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, dude, I did like
How many hours
60
you got on the
days.
stand this year?
A lot. Ask my wife.
You shot
A
two
lot.
nice bucks though.
A lot.
You shot 2 nice bucks this year?
Beauties. One.
It's abs. I love
putting.
tree stand season. I love being there.
Tree fort season.
If anything in my whole life, I wish I would have started a lot earlier than 35 years old.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anybody who would like to get me into it or anything. But I love going.
Absolutely.
I love sitting up there. I often don't bring my phone or anything, and I just sit there and take it all in. And I always tell everybody I meet who's a new hunter, I always tell them I couldn't care if I ever shot a deer in my life. I'm just really happy to be there.
That's all good. If I'm gonna sit there, I want to kill one.
I do too. I do too. And not like deep down, like
You're there for a reason.
I am there for a reason. But like I really enjoy going. I really enjoy the just the quietness and hanging out with everybody.
The big thing for us is the chase. Like,
Yeah.
you
It's
can
all
go out
about
every
the chase
It's a
for
chess
us.
game, man.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
You can go out every night, shoot a doe, and fill your tag,
Yeah.
but you have one or two
For
that
sure.
you're after, and if you don't get them, so be it.
Every year I
Here's
bow
a-
hunted.
I got a really good question now. So we all know you two work together and you guys share your profits
Oh yeah.
in the fishing game. But when you kill a deer, are you getting some sausages?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I don't think he killed one last year. I paid for the whole butchering, and then I gave him a bunch. I don't think that's.
So you guys are brothers, like
I still haven't got any this year.
Shoot something.
Here we go.
Oh my god.
And the worst part
I'm
is,
pretty
like,
sure he's a man repeating it.
after we shoot one, the guy who shoots one usually goes to the worst spot because there's 4 of us that hunt, or 5 of us, and the person that shoots one, you go to the second spot, and he goes there first sit. Another one walks right over the hill too, chasing the doe.
Don't judge me.
Okay, here's a rumor. I heard that you shot the second one like walking in.
No. Our buddy Gator.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't even tell you the story because you'll tell the story.
No, but just stay out of that area.
Yeah,
It's all together. Just don't.
But be like, well, maybe it works for him. I'll do it all the time.
Yeah. I don't
He
want that
walked
story.
out of the stand.
Yeah.
Like, this is a
20 minutes
really,
early.
really good spot, okay?
Yeah.
He gets to hunt it once in a while.
Once in a while.
So he walks out of his stand because he's frozen.
He's
he said.
frustrated. There's been no big ones on the trail camera, but it's the middle of the rut. There's like 8 does on this property.
Yeah.
So he walks out of his stand. He walks into the field and he looks, doesn't see anything. And he's halfway across the field and he decides, I'm going to look back. And a doe and then a buck jump over the fence right when he looks back. So, I mean...
And then they run to the end of the field like he's chasing her.
And they stop. So the gardener starts running across the field. And like we both like stop looking at him and he's still hoofing her. And he's like, this is the story he tells me. Dude, they're like 200 yards away. I got down on one knee and gives you the finger lick. He's like, I pulled it just above his butt, squeezed off on it, dropped, and da-da-da. So I'm like, sweet, is it a big one? And he has been known to shoot little ones. And we have a rule. And if, like, you're not allowed to shoot small deer.
Hey, I got that same rule.
Yeah.
You're not, and he has had 3 fupas. Like, I'm not talking like a borderline one. I'm talking like
a Kyle Cruthers buck.
Hey, let me go on record here. How many years have I passed deer? And then this
I
year,
have no problem if he shoots one on his own property, but on ours, we're trying to get home.
Fair enough.
So anyway.
But I wait to the last hit this year to pull him.
He doesn't.
So he shoots this deer, right? And he's fired up, and it's still like, 15 minutes of
I'm
shooting
getting
left.
text.
I can hear the shots from where I was, and we were so far away.
How many
Probably
shots?
10 kilometers. 3.
3.
Yeah.
And
3
so
shots,
anyway, I'm like, that could be one. I'm like, right after the kill shot, like you knew it was a kill shot.
Rifle
My
or
phone, shotgun. My phone starts ringing. I'm like, oh god. I look at it as Gardner, and it's before legal.
What's his name?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, all right, that was him shooting. So he's like, shot a giant, smoked him. Oh my god, he's like fired right up. So I'm like, great, awesome, we'll meet you there. So after the hunt, we drive. He's like, dude, I shot at like 200, like, So we're driving up in the truck. And he's like, this is where I shot it from. And I'm looking, I'm like, dude, it's like 120. Right? So the story's, not adding up as we're getting to this deer. So I'm thinking like, maybe it was a small one again. But no, he ended up shooting a great buck.
But awesome. Still, I don't know anyone that ran across the field and the buck just watched him. Flatten at him. He just watched it run up to him and then they look at this. Yeah.
He's an idiot.
And during the rut, though, they do some stupid things.
Stupidest deer in the county.
Did you guys find that your rut was a little later this year with the cold we had early?
No, I mean our best week every year for a million years is the second week.
Yeah.
So we could talk about this for hours, like the rut, because like there's people that debate like. Nope, the rut is the same time every year.
Second and third week in November are the two best weeks.
And I've talked to biologists that say it doesn't matter what the weather is, the moon, nothing. It's the same time every year.
It seems like the second week of shotgun and the week after, our deer are moving like crazy. You'll be driving middle of the day, you'll see bucks running everywhere.
Yeah, we typically always go into the camp second week of the hunt.
Yeah.
Right? We take that second week, and that's when I start to hunt hard from that second week. Right through.
Yeah.
See, I close on the 15th of December.
Yeah.
So I'm a quick season.
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks and it's over for me. I got to get my time in, right?
I think too, like a lot of guys mix up like pre-rut activity with like actual rutting, right? They're like, oh, my bucks are rutting hard. It's like the second week of October. It's like, no, they're not.
Yeah. Might have seen a rub.
We had our bucks disappear off camera, because I put a lot of cameras. I watch like right now. I got 15 different bucks on camera on one spot. I've got
When are we going hunting?
Yeah, when are we going?
When are we going fishing on Rice Lake?
All right. You get to throw the hair jig.
There you
We'll see how you make out.
I do it anyway, just to go out there. But we found that our bucks, they disappeared off camera. They were right on like does, because the bucks were all split off.
Yep.
All by themselves. The does kicked off all their fawns. Boom! All of a sudden, the bucks are right on does for a week, and then gone. Everything's just gone.
Well, they tend them, right? And that's
Push
a big
them on.
part of it, where they're in the thick stuff. They're tending the does. They're not chasing.
I think that's what happens in our first week is the bucks are bedded down with the does and stuff, so you don't see them. Like, they're not coming out of the bush. And the second week, they're like, I need to find some new tail. And let's cover some ground.
Yeah.
There's no doubt some guys can kill some serious deer in the first week. Like it's like bow season. There's guys kill opening day October 1st.
First week.
I love.
I shot it the first
big
week.
misconception with these trail cameras is everyone's like, oh, if it's not on the camera, I'm not going to hunt
Exactly.
there. They're still in the area. They just don't care about bait.
Yeah,
they don't care about food.
Exactly.
Like that buck he shot, there's bait in front of a stand, but he shot it 40 yards behind the stand. You would never get a picture of him.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's in a pinch point. Like, they have to go through there to get from bedding area to bedding area to check those. So it's in a strategic spot, and that's the second giant that we've shot out of the same stand.
Yeah, and that's what I have too. I hunt in between bedding areas, and I was fortunate enough to see my target buck on the last day of muzzleloader this year while I have my bow in my hand and I got 78 yards. So, but
I should have let one fly. I would have. That's why he says I missed. I'm not shy.
Like I will. I'll take long shots if I practice long shots. Like I used to practice 120 all the time in the archery club, and it'd be nothing for me to pinwheel something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I hadn't been practicing, and my lanes weren't clear out that far. So you know what I mean? I'd rather see that guy when he's high 150, 160 next year.
Yep. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that is the hard part. Like, I've had so many close calls, like with bow hunting, like with giants that just doesn't cooperate or not in range and stuff. But I'm so cursed when it comes to.
I wounded a giant before, and I looked for it for 3 days, and there's nothing like you lose sleep over it.
Yeah, that happened to us this year. We, my old man, we had a big 9-pointer, and he hasn't shot one in like 7-8 years. So we got him on it, and I hung a stand in the same tree and was going to video it and everything. And the thing came in, and he made.
There?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh yeah, he made a shot on it and smoked it, and
smoked it not very good.
Like, so shoot in the dick, Mark.
I shot a bear in the dick.
So he, I mean,
on camera.
Well, I didn't get it on camera because it happened so fast.
It was in the last 5 minutes. That's why he said to the end.
And I thought it was in a snowstorm, and I thought it was gonna come from a spot where it didn't come from. And I mean, I'm standing up waiting for this deer to show up because I mean it's been coming every night.
I passed it the night before, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna shoot it, but if my dad wants to shoot it, perfect.
Yeah.
Fill your boots.
And so.
You said it was?
What's that?
Oh, high 130?
Yeah. And I mean, it was a great deer.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure enough, it comes straight in, and I see Lynn like fumbling for the bow. And I look up, I'm like, oh God, it's right there. So I couldn't do anything. So he gets the bow, and it comes right in, and
the dinger.
I should have dang him.
He shot it, jumped up, like hit it good blood, tracked it for 2 days, and
so
now it's
there's
back on
a
camera.
funny part of this story. So that night he shoots it, not great blood. We back out. We go in an hour later. We're like, we got to back out. We go in the next morning. I got to fly to Garmin at 10 a.m.
The next day was the opening of muzzleloader, so we went in with our muzzleloaders.
We took our muzzleloaders in.
Yeah, for sure.
We're both following it. It was fresh,
not?
fresh snow. We want to get this deer. You hate losing a big one.
100%.
So we finally get on a fresh track. We're bedded down, and we jumped it. Still alive. I got to go to Garmin. He gets some buddies, and like we've done it before, where you get buddies to line the
cut them
block,
off, and you track it.
you finish them off. So, anyways, he follows this thing.
That's a part of the hunt, though, too, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you don't like to see a deer suffer, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
So coyotes got on it. He fought the coyotes off, kept going. What did you guys see him?
So we tracked this deer for 4 hours in this bush. It kept doing circles, and the coyotes were on it. So it's not like it could bed down or anything, and we could get a shot at it.
And there's snow on the ground.
Oh,
you can
just
see the story play out.
It was just a massive snowstorm, so it's fresh, right? And it's still bleeding, and long story short of it, it goes across the road, and I called this guy, and who I knew, it was a gravel pit, and I said, hey, man, deer went in here. He goes, no problem. You know, go in and do what you need to do. So we're standing on the road with a buddy of ours that's a cop, and he's like, you know, we should do this, we should do this. So, well, we're setting up how to go about cutting this deer off. This deer, which we didn't know at the time, was 50 yards on the other side of the fence fighting off coyotes. And we had no idea. So we went around, set up, and the one guy goes in, and he's like, what happened here? Like, there's just a mess of coyote tracks.
He got his
deer.
hind quarter.
No.
No?
No, he fought off these coyotes and went up on a hill and bedded down so he could see everything. So when Kevin finally got on his track to where he fought the coyotes off and got on the right track, the deer jumped up like 150 yards away, hopped through the bush, back into the bush where we just came from. He couldn't get a shot at it. And at that point, we just like,
So that
we
was
got to
probably
back
like
out.
3 in the afternoon. I'm at Garmin, and we have the cell cameras up. And I'm looking at my phone. It's like 10 to 5, prime time.
You're not even there.
No, I'm not even there. I got my cell phone. I'm like, the 9-pointer's out my trail camera right now. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
The deer that they were chasing all day went to get some food under our stand. So I'm like, what are you guys doing? And so, anyways, the deer's still living, and we watched him for like a couple weeks because he was on daylight again. And I'm like, I don't really want to.
So what, do you hit him high through the hollow spot?
No, so listen to this. So we find out that there's 2 identical twin 9-pointers that we thought was the same.
Oh.
Because the one night, like two weeks later, they both showed up at the same time, or we would have never known.
But they're both healthy, and they both keep coming. So we're like, let's let him
He
go.
shot one of them.
That's crazy.
So we're gonna have him bad.
We're gonna
I
have
got
2
that
giants
this year with
next
2
year.
10s. Because we were getting this like great 10-pointer. I'm like, oh, this is a great deer, great
Yeah.
deer. And we started analyzing the photos, all the different angles, and I'm like, dude, we got 2.
Yeah.
He's like, I think you're right. We got 2. And we started looking, and the G3 on the right side was totally different to both deer. And then all of a sudden, end of the season, boom, we get them both together.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah.
Done deal. We got.
Sometimes it's really hard to tell if they're different deer.
Sometimes it can be, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they're typical deer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Non-typicals, well, it's
pretty hard to mistake.
done deal, right?
Yeah.
You know, but you get those typical deer where you get the same kind of genetics running on a property, where you guys see all the different properties. You see the same kind of genetics, property to property to property.
For sure.
You get a lot of the same kind of looking deer, right?
Yep. No, this one property's been pretty special for us, and there should be two big dead ones next year.
That's beauty.
Really, eh?
I killed the last 2 years, not this year, last 2 years. I killed one both times at that same stand. I could have killed one again this year, but you don't get properties like this very often where it's all protected.
But it's that
a
one stand, eh?
It's
I killed one. I killed one off the same property 2 years ago as well, same night. That he shot one, and it's just a special place. It's
both of you took the deer the same night.
Same night. He was probably, I don't know,
400 or 500 yards.
more than that.
Wow.
800 yards away. He shot one on one side of the bush. I shot on the other side, but there's no other hunters around the perimeter.
So we can let them grow. We can, you know, manage
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
I had a special night with that with my brother. We were both out. We were bow hunting, and we were only a couple of kilometers from each other, right? And I was lucky enough to take mine first. I had my eye on this really pretty 9-pointer I wanted. He came in, and I let the arrow out of him, and I sent my brother a picture of the bloody arrow. Well, 15 minutes, I get a picture of a bloody arrow back.
Oh God!
I'm like, oh yeah. Like
awesome.
those are the nights you'll never forget.
Oh
the rest of
no,
your life,
special nights.
Right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And you know, I've been really blessed to share that with my brother. And of course, we went and got his first because I felt my shot was a little bit high and far back. I got him back of the liver.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't go 100 yards, but you know, it's always best to back out for a little bit because I push deer. You ever push deer?
Yep.
Well, you just told a story of pushing a deer.
Yep.
But have you ever pushed one that you shot?
Not really.
Because I just kill shit. I just go in there and I kill it.
We've had
Another check for Cory.
We've had lots of times where like someone has shot, like Chris or my old man or another guy we've hunted with that's, you know, made a marginal shot and
putting it right on him.
Well, yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah.
It happens. It doesn't matter. It's gonna happen to me, and you know, it doesn't matter.
That's hunting.
It's hunting, but it's one of those things where we've learned to be able to judge the blood and where you shot them and what you're seeing for the tracks, and
that's a big part of it too. After you make a shot,
100%.
to go into those first 50 to 80, maybe 100 yards max,
Yep.
and look at that blood trail and say, you know what? We're going to back out of here right now. We're going to give this animal a little bit of time.
For sure.
We're going to push it. We're going to lose it.
Yep, 100%. And
Right.
I mean, we've learned a lot over the the last 10, 15 years, and that's part of it. It's just like fishing, man. I mean, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
So other than deer hunting, if you could do like one hunt anywhere in the world, what are you going at?
Deer.
Yeah. All right. Other than deer,
Let the air out of them.
I'm addicted to shooting giant whitetails.
No elk, moose, nothing.
If I could do, if my second one would be a moose or a
elk
or an elk in the rut.
6x6?
I'd like to do an elk. Yeah. I brought up one time, I was talking to Palnick, and I was like, I'd really like to go fly fishing for brown trout and listen to elk bugle. And he was like,
kills some giant.
He's like, you should just come to my house. And he's like, that's what's going on in Idaho.
Yeah.
And I was, that's something I'd really like to, like giant brown trout and elk bugling is something I'd really like to do.
Yeah, I've never.
Maker Chris?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he
just made it. This turned into a marathon.
The story that he just told about.
Yeah,
you.
wow.
Is it still a deer hunting?
You're gonna have to watch the replay on this, Chris.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've never moose hunted.
Really?
Never moose hunted, and it's something that I definitely want to do.
For sure.
But I want to, like...
you remember Churcher had that big old moose that he got in the living room?
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
You remember that big old moose he had that he got with the crossbow?
Took his whole living room up.
Yeah, I did.
I do remember that.
That's a beast of an animal.
Yeah, what a weapon he is.
He brought a whole
He's
moose
one of a
into
kind,
his
eh?
living room.
I haven't seen
him in Peterborough.
Yeah.
It's probably the size of this room.
Right.
And the moose
right
was
here.
like, the moose was like, he would he could catch steelhead.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a teenager, I would skip school and Churcher would pick me up at the house, and I'd steal roe bags out of the backseat of his car.
Yeah.
So is that
You know what?
Did you guys start fishing on rivers?
Not start.
No, but I got addicted to it.
Just fishing on lakes. You
Yeah.
went and fished rivers as well.
Churcher was actually a guy that he showed me a lot about steelhead.
Unreal.
Yeah, he's
I
a
did a
weapon.
summer at the
He's a
Rockets Live Bait too.
Yeah.
Just catching minnows.
Oh really?
I did, like hardcore.
Yeah. You
Experience.
didn't go to jail?
No, we made her.
That's good.
I made the summer. Yeah. There wasn't summer too though. I bet you want to hear a good story. We got pulled over one time, and for speeding. And Churcher wouldn't speak to the cop. I never
That
seen
doesn't
anybody
shock me.
in my whole life hold the steering wheel and look straight forward while there's a police officer banging on the window, and I'm like,
He almost killed me.
I was like, you should probably answer that, and he was like, he'll wait.
Yeah. That's Churcher.
That's Churcher.
That's Churcher. Yeah.
Another time he rented a jet ski, and he got pulled over because he thought the 10K zone was 10 feet of deep water. The OPP pulled him over. I had to go to court with him halfway through our minnow day. We swing by the courthouse, and the cop's in there, and the cop starts reading the charges, and Mr. Churcher got his fine for speeding, and he was so upset that he took the piece of paper and crumpled it up and threw it in the bottom of the boat. He said, if you don't pick that up, I never write you a ticket for loitering. He says, you got to do what you got to do.
Keep writing them, he'll say.
That's right. You got to do what you got to do.
Really?
So a funny story about him. We were going crappie fishing on Lake Scugog.
No, we were going walleye.
Walleye fishing on Scugog. And there was like 4 or 5 of us turned into a whole gang of us going out in the bass boat. And Churcher comes. He pulls in late. And we're getting the boat loaded. He's like, we're like, oh, we probably need to get a life jacket. He's like, don't worry about it. Shit floats. He's talking about himself, so we all laugh. We're like, whatever.
He could catch steelhead, though.
Yeah.
He had...
the cops pulled us over
So
that day.
that day, the cops pulled us over.
Really?
Absolutely.
So they didn't have the same sense of humor when he said that. He's like, don't worry, shit floats.
Don't worry, ship floats, we're good. And we're like,
Really? Here's your one.
Yeah. Here's your ticket.
He's a beauty.
$500.
Well, I don't know anybody who caught as many steelheads as that guy.
No, he's probably
like,
one of the best.
Like he had like just a whole nother level gear than everybody else. But I remember you know Lloyd. I told you Lloyd used to run those steelhead tournaments.
Yep.
I fished a steelhead tournament down there against in Churcher. Caught more fish than everybody who fished the thing. He had her so dialed in that he could have caught 5 fish and went for lunch and beat the pants off every. And like it's really like he could catch steelhead.
Yeah.
I was down the Cobra Creek too.
Caught him early, went for lunch.
Yeah.
Oh,
I heard about you going to a hockey game or something.
Yeah, the classic.
9 o'clock in the morning.
Shamong Lake, Tri-Lakes again. It was that weird tournament. Andy made up a new rule that we're gonna fish buckhorn, pigeon the first 2 days, and then have a top 10. Everyone zeros. So we're like, whatever. So anyways, we qualified. We made the final day. Everyone zeroed, and we're like, do we go south? Do we go north? I'm like, I shook off 2 fish down south at practice. Let's just go down there, and we started there. By 8 in the morning, we had like 20 pounds, and we had like a 6, 2 5s. It was stupid. Like we couldn't ever do it again. So I was supposed to have a hockey game at like
tryouts.
Yeah, it was tryouts 2:30 that day for junior, and they said I could pass it and don't go, but we're like, hey,
there's a game or something.
Yeah, it was a game in Wellington. So I was like, let's go to the ramp. I'll get a ride. We called her dad. We go to Andy. We called her dad. I'm like, hey, come pick me up. It's 8 in the morning. So normally when we call that early, he's like, oh, what happened? There's
Yeah.
We're like,
We got a 20 sack.
So he's like, we're like, we got 20 pounds. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we got 20 pounds. He's like, so I'm like, come pick me up. I'm going to go to hockey today. So we end up winning that classic. And anyways, he got all the trophies and stuff. But we know.
You weren't even there?
No, we know who caught him. I did catch a 6.
I got a good
six.
river. Tell me if this is true. There was some guys chirping about you fishing Tri-Lakes, and you went out and fished with your old man, and you stayed right at the bridge and whacked over 20 and went in and won the tournament. Like you didn't go past Bridgeworth Sports. You launched right there.
Like recently?
Oh yeah.
Recently?
No. This is probably I don't know.
Well,
5 years.
the only time I won with the old man, we had like 14 pounds, and it was a top bass, and we won within sight of the causeway.
Yeah. You didn't go past the causeway.
Yeah.
We blew a classic at there. We weighed in day 1. I blew my engine up, weighed in 15 pounds, and day 2 we ran home to get Marley's boat, blew his trim motor. In the south end of Shamong, we weighed in 18, and Marley at the end of the day lost like a 5 and change, and we ended up like, but that and Chris Van Vliet. You guys know Chris Van Vliet?
No.
He's like reporter for Fox Sports or Fox Entertainment. Great dude. He was like, we never even left. Like our whole plan was to go to Pigeon on the corner, and because my engine blew up, we didn't have a choice. We went to the North Shore and had enough. But on the last 10 minutes of the day, Marley flipped on a rock, and he set hook, and giant came up, and he lost it. And we would have the classic down there, and we would have had a giant bag of fish on day 2. It's unreal. Like everybody calls South End of Shamong like the biggest shithole in the world. But when it hits, it'll go.
Yeah.
I love it.
That same day, we had like an hour to kill before my dad came pick me up. So we went up to the north end, and I still remember it had like a top water on.
Popper.
And one took it. I set the hook, and I couldn't engage my button quick enough, and it was peel and drag. I've never had one peel drag. Like,
It was a big one.
It was
It's like a 5 or 6 pounder.
5 or
It's a
6
big one.
pounder, and I didn't get that in, but that would have just been silly.
Yeah, it would have been gross.
Wow.
It would have called it like a 3 pounder.
But anyways, yeah.
Boys, we got to wrap this up.
Yep.
Listen, before we let you go, you guys got a best fishing story.
Best fishing story?
We probably covered them all. You guys got one left in the tank?
Oh. What do you want to hear? I've got a lot of memories, like big ones, but they're nothing too exciting to explain. But just like a.
What do you want to hear?
Anything
Give
you
us
got?
an example.
Anything you got?
Give us a good.
I'm gonna tell you the story about what Gardner. I owe that bastard. Because I have yet to get him back.
Strip it off. Let's hear it.
A lot of the real names out now too.
Yeah. He's single and ready to mingle too. If anyone's looking.
Any of the girls out there, freshly divorced, small cock, big tongue though. Here's how it is. We're young. Like we're young.
Yeah.
mouth of the Indian River, Rice Lake.
Okay.
And we just like new cell phones, like I'm talking like fresh cell phones when they first came out.
Flip phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nokias.
And I should have been smart, but I wasn't. And I'm up on the deck flipping the biggest slot mat you've ever seen at the mouth of the.
Yeah. I know what you're talking.
He goes, hey, let me borrow your phone. I need to make a call. All right. Gardner's the cheapest guy in the world, so he obviously doesn't have a cell phone, right?
Back when you had like minutes and.
Yeah,
I got you.
100%. So,
Yeah, they'll use my minutes.
So I'm like, here you go. So he's like, woof, pushes me in the slot mat, and I'm up to my nuts in mud, and I couldn't get up. Like I couldn't get through the slot mat, and he's like, oh God, I killed him. I said, oh God, and he's panicking, and like I couldn't get out of the mud, so he pulls me out.
And when
of the
he
mud.
tells it, he's like, I pushed him in, and the mat opened up, and then just closed over top.
He's like, oh God, I killed him. So I am waiting. I cannot find a slot mat thick enough yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna kill him. Like, if Gardner dies, it was probably me. So that was one story.
We did have another funny story on Rice Lake again. We were with my dad, the three of us, and Gardner
That was
out
on
with.
Tri-Lake.
It was on Rice, and he had to go.
He had a date.
He had a date. So when we told him we were going out, he's like, "Oh,
And it was her birthday, and he had to take her out for dinner.
We'll have you off the water. We'll have you off the water by 3, no problem." So like 2:30 rolls around, he's guys, I gotta leave. He's panicking.
This is funny.
And he's like an hour late. He's like,
my old man would
and this is my old dad. He's like, "No, we're good. We'll keep fishing.
Yeah, you'll be all right."
And we're having a blast. I don't even know if we're catching anything, but he's panicking, so we're having fun. My dad comes up to a swimming dock. There's a bunch of people up on their deck, and there's a slider, a flamingo.
There's a flamingo
in the middle of the dock. He's like, if you jump on that dock, run around the flamingo 3 times, and get back in the boat, I'll take you home for your date. So we come up to the dock. We got good momentum.
He's like, okay, I'm in.
He's like,
I'm in. He's all into it.
He jumps in the dock, obviously kicks her up on high, and we're going. And these people,
this dock is just
it's almost flipping. He goes around the flamingo. He does his 3 laps while the boat's too far.
So he jumps. He's in the water. He's like,
oh my God.
And these people on shore are like, what just happened?
That's amazing.
And where's that guy going with our flamingo?
and we still didn't take him in.
No. He missed it was the girl's birthday, so he couldn't take her out for her birthday dinner. She lost her mind.
So probably
single?
she
He's
probably
single
dumped
now.
him.
He's single now.
Yeah. So if there's anyone out there that wants kind of a short, fat, chubby guy, works at Hydro, makes a lot of money, hit him up.
But he's also one of the funniest guys.
He is.
He'll entertain you.
The funniest guy you've ever met.
He'll be at the Classic.
Yeah,
He'll be the last.
I can't wait
He will
to
be at the Classic.
We will be at the Classic. We're going to meet him.
Last year we were at the Classic and we weren't fishing, we were working it, and hopefully it's the last year for that. But anyways, at 9 in the morning he was walking around with a beer in the Classic.
Nice.
The people at Bass.
I can't wait to meet
That is the kind of
people at Bass came up to him like,
It was probably
you look
free.
extremely fun. Here's some front row tickets. You need to be fun at the stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a weapon.
cool.
You know what? Sean and I in Houston got tickets from Swindle to sit in seat 1 and 2
Yeah.
for the final day weigh-in.
Yeah,
Awesome.
cool. That was
There's something special about that Classic.
Oh yeah.
You know, I can't wait to go down there this year because especially with you guys, we got some serious skin in the game. Like we're
Yep.
gonna be sporting the Canadian flags this year. It's gonna be the first time we've been down there with the Canadian.
Yeah.
Right.
I went down with Charles.
You went down with Charles.
5 years
Yeah.
ago, you were down
Yeah.
there with Charles, right? I was supposed to go to that one. I ended up, I think, in Mexico.
You missed that one a bit, eh?
Yeah, well.
With your feet up, having some drinks.
I ended up in Mexico.
Can't argue that.
You ever miss a plane?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yes.
I missed a lot.
Coming home from Las Vegas.
Right. Hey!
Yep.
There it is.
Been there.
Missing them all.
Sucked.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody's been watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Corey, Chris, thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
coming.
having us.
Thanks.
I hope you guys can at least do a segment of the Peterborough Tackle Show.
That's
Lord.
a long ways out. We're no
We'll
guarantees,
make
but we
something.
should be around.
If not, I'll talk to your old man. I'm sure he'll
That'll be a tough one. Good luck.
Yeah, but if he does it, I'm sure he has some Chris and Cory stories.
You have no idea.
Yeah. Whole new level.
Yeah.
Whole new level.
You'll be there till like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you 2 weeks from tonight. We got a special guest from then, too.
Brendan Polinick, no?
That's the rumor. Good night, folks.
Thanks, Sean.
Good night.